Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. We're glad you're joining us for day number 2. I'm Bravo alongside the fantastic Glitter Explosion. Glitter, I think we're ready for some good games today.
Definitely ready, especially after how yesterday went. I have been waiting all day, and I'm very excited to get into everything.
Me too. Not only did I find myself thinking about the matches so much, but also going back and watching some of the VODs of the games as well. Here's a weekend overview, and you're joining us for the final round of finals action here. You might have caught Apex South as well as Europe earlier. We'll talk about those. Those were some pretty fantastic games. Apex South ending with a pretty dominant performance from Wolfpack Arctic, and Europe in the end coming down to that game 16. Many of you joined us here on Twitch, catching that last game with Avant-Garde ending up taking the win despite exiting early, getting hot dropped on. Maybe a little bit of grief going on there. We'll have to see if that's the case. But now here we are for the North American Grand Finals. 8 matches down and 8 to go, Glitter.
And you guys can see all of the teams that won our first 8 matches on there. And then obviously we have another 8 yet to come today. So we have a lot to talk about when it comes to pretty much maybe like the second half of yesterday, because there was a lot that went down that we weren't necessarily prepared for. But in case you guys forgot, we have $100,000 on the line for the entire event. 15K going to first place here for North America and paying out into the top 5. And then of course our point system over on the right, you guys know this very, very well. 12 points go down for first place, and then it will go down from there, 1 point per kill on top of it. And we saw, Andy, one team in particular really taking advantage of those kill points.
We really did. We will get to it, and I think everyone at home knows exactly who we're talking about. Let's go ahead and look at the leaderboard right now. This is after 8 games. NRG out in front with 107 points. They started to plateau just a tiny bit in the middle of yesterday, but ended so strong with a big point lead there. 58 placement points to their name, but Glitter, you were just talking about him. Sheesh there with 53 kills on the board, your overall kill leader. That brings them to second place with 82.
Yeah, I mean, just look at their kills, and we're going to give them a little bit of love here in a moment. But moving on down the list, we've got TSM holding on to third place. They've kind of just been comfortable in this position so far. They haven't done anything crazy, so I'm interested to see how they handle their day 2 performance here today. And then Absolute Monarchy in fourth place right now, right at the end of yesterday, just jumped above Team Liquid by 1 point. So really, really strong finish to the day.
Right, and as a reminder, that was your team coming into Game 6 in 10th place. So Absolute Monarchy with an absolute run at the end of the day. In 5th place, a team we've been talking about quite a bit even before the finals began. It's Team Liquid there with 70 points on the board, just 1 behind that 4th place spot. And Liquid certainly on our radar as a team to watch, because we knew they were capable of much greater things than their semifinal, coming in on a tiebreaker to just barely make the finals. Not what you expect from names like the Team Liquid roster, but now here they are in 5th place. Another thing worth noting, now of course this is not always the case, but if you're keeping an eye on those Liquipedia tables that are so diligently updated, you do have not only wins across all the top 5 teams, you also have almost every single 1st, 2nd, and 3rd being scattered across the top 5 overall right now. And as we know, that's not always the case. Sometimes you have a little bit more of a healthier and more generous spread in terms of who's taking those top 3s. But so many, and specifically if you look at 1st and 2nd in our first 8 games, they really went to your top 5 teams on your screen. There's a big fall off after the top 5, only 1 win for TSS. Rest of the teams here are winless. So we do have a very tight stack up top, but let's not forget NRG's point lead. It's pretty serious here, Glitter, and it's if things continue for them, it's going to be a very difficult road for other teams in the lobby.
Yeah, and I think that's actually why I'm going to be watching Sheesh a lot today, because so as far as their placement points go, they actually didn't have too many super strong placement performances. They had 1 win all of yesterday, and then their next best placement was 4th place, and one of those was with 0 kills. So so they were actually leaning very, very heavily into their kills, and that is kind of crazy to me. At one point we saw them with over 30 kill points and single digit 9 placement points, but they're in 2nd by a decent amount. So they've held on to us solidly purely because of their aggression, and there's something to be said about that, because we talk about consistency a lot. I think a lot of the times we mean it in the sense of placement points and KP, but they didn't even need it. They just completely committed to the KP side of things, and they're now sitting in a solid enough position that they can catch up to NRG if we have similar situations to what we saw yesterday when NRG went out early in one of the only games where they went out early, and Sheesh was able to capitalize on that and close that lead a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we see more of that. And I think that brings us naturally to the topic of zones and ring pulls, Glitter. You saw a lot of players, unsurprisingly, last night take to Twitter after the matches, commenting on the consistency of those Western pulls, unsurprisingly, and also pretty far Western pulls specifically, not just a little bit west, but really pulling towards that Spring's End finish. We had one that was right around Countdown, and of course also up north, but really everything across 8 games, a hard Western pull. And a lot of players even saw the NRG players. I think it was Sweet coming to Twitter and saying, you know, even in first place, I want to say the consistency of ring pulls has been surprising. He might have used different words, but I think we were all surprised by it. And the question is, what on earth are we going to see across these 8? Because if you look at the North American semifinal Group 1 that we casted, that was 6 Western pulls followed by just about 6 Eastern pulls, and it was the polar opposite. Now, of course, with these being randomly generated, we shouldn't see something like that today, but you have to wonder how that will factor in specifically to the rotations that we see today, because they will undoubtedly, if we get different pulls, they will simply be different routes for these teams, and it will challenge them in new ways.
Yeah, it's something that I think we're definitely going to be looking out for, especially when it comes to teams like Complexity and HRN. They are teams that we had talked about at the beginning of yesterday because they had such strong semi performances that we expected them to do well. Now their drops are on the eastern side of the map, right? And so it's possible that the fact that all of those zones were hard Western pulls, that because they had to rotate so far, that may have affected some of those outcomes. So we'll see if any of the zones switch up and maybe favor some of those other squads.
Certainly, that will be the first thing we keep an eye on. Of course, normally that's going to be the case in games anyway, but I think a lot of players are going to be wondering how on earth are these going to pull? How will this impact the last 8 games? It's going to be interesting to see. It sounds like we do have players loading into the match right now, so excited to drop in just a moment. Once again, welcome along to the final day here of the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. Only 8 matches to go, and we say only 8, but really, you know, we have the latter half, the back half of all these matches, and anything can happen from here. Even if you look at a team like NRG with the point gap that they have, they are still a team that needs to show up today, because 8 games provide so many opportunities for TSM, Absolute Monarchy, Liquid, all these teams to rally back in.
That's why I was saying, like, I also do want to watch TSM, because I almost feel like we're waiting for that massive TSM performance that we know they're capable of having. It's like they just set themselves up in a solid enough spot for today that they didn't have to stress too much, and now they can really focus on nailing down whatever small things they need to as a squad and coming out strong here at the end of the day.
And here we go now, dropping in with NRG. It's match number 9, match 1 of the day, match number 9 overall, and we're going to be dropping into their staging drop. As we said, NRG, the team to beat in this tournament. We don't just say that because of their points total right now coming into day 2, but also what we were saying, and I think all of NA has been saying since that big ALGS Winter Circuit win, and also such a strong semifinal performance as well. Let's take a look here as we see that dropship cutting across and everyone heading to their usual drops. And now here we go, Glitter, right away, a little bit of an Eastern pull, and the gods have blessed us. It's an NA first.
Okay, but this is exactly what I was talking about. HRN in this area, that's going to be huge for them. This is an opportunity for them to see what they can do when they don't have to actually go that far. They should be able to loot up and be able to hold a decent position for a long time. Meanwhile, you can look up at the northwest corner and you can see the teams that we were watching hold, like Liquid around over by Trials. We watched them do that for how many different zones. Now they are going to have a journey ahead of them to make it all the way across the map.
Yeah, you mentioned Complexity and HRN. Complexity's route is still pretty complicated. HRN, though, like you said, they're going to be able to loot all of Lava City to themselves. Then they'll be able to get choice of which kind of rooftop building they want to hold there in Lava City. You have to think it might be the westernmost one that's just outside that vault that we've seen a lot of teams prefer over these past 2 weeks. NRG already on the move. And of course, we did also see, keep in mind, MST and Vibes exchanging just a little bit of shots. They are still battling over Countdown, so we'll keep an eye on that off your screen as well. And now taking a look also in the top left, you're also seeing a little bit of action here at Sorting now. As you take a look at this now, Sentinel's in a little bit of trouble as well.
I'm surprised that we've got some early action here with Sentinels. They pretty much had sorting to themselves for the majority of yesterday. That wasn't something that they really had to worry about. So this could change up how their early game goes if they decide to kind of push up on that. It looks like DePresley's deciding if he really wants to take this engagement or not. But right now, it's just a little bit of poking.
Yeah.
So you can see some shots coming out of Crust. Nothing too crazy, though. They're feeling each other out.
Yeah, Dogefather's trying to see what they might be able to do here in terms of getting some action. But right away, you're actually seeing some good angles coming from Retzi, as we see. Just sitting down, he's going to be able to have this Sentinel in hand, blue armor as well. Maybe going to have an opportunity to get some of those opening damage bits to help them get the right kind of push here. But like you said, not what we saw. Ooh, right away, taking some big damage, forced to pop some cells, and he will take that angle back, and very thankful that he is going to have enough heals to fight through that one as well. Senox and Crust, though, in a very different armor situation and will need to be very careful. Sentinel's going to need to decide how they want to play this one, because when we talk about where they are on the table, right now currently in that bottom half, and going to want to make sure they have a good run today.
And to be fair to Sentinels, they started off the first two games pretty strong yesterday, and I don't think they want to start off on the back foot today. So right now we can see them just kind of backing off a little bit, seeing if they find a little bit better loot for themselves before they decide to take this engagement. But if Dogefathers continue to land there, it could switch everything up.
But now KSZ taking a look here at Lava Choked. As we talked about with this route here into Lava City, it's going to be so punishing everything Fragment and above. All the teams that are coming from Frag East, Frag West, Overlook, Epicenter is going to be a little bit tight around these chokes, and now this is exactly what we're seeing already develop with KSZ. And also on your screen, that's going to be absolute monarchy. This just starting to get some distance there.
And as we were saying earlier, absolute monarchy, that team that really picked it up in the second half of the day, able to close out their day with a win, which means they might be able to come in today with a little bit of momentum. We can see them deciding to go through Harvester and get some more loot for themselves. But we also have MST in the area, and that's another squad that towards the end of the day, and I don't understand how they did it because it was a long day, but both of these teams at the end of the day really picked up their gameplay. And
let's not forget MST. We'll keep a very close eye on this battle here as well, also taking a look at Dome just to see what things might look like over here. But MST, a team that we saw them actually lose that battle off of Thermal against Sheesh 3 games in a row, placing 20th in your first 3 games. Keep in mind, we only played 8 games yesterday. So for MST to still be sitting in a position where they are a threat to the lobby is quite an accomplishment after placing 20th 3 games in a row, not just points-wise, but even mentally.
Absolutely. And I think there was a game where I was like, Andy, this isn't even the same team anymore, because they just turned a switch on and they turned up their aggression. Their engagements are so much more successful. So this might be the squad that we end up seeing today as well, if that's the type of gameplay they're going to be trying to do. You can see how many squads are starting to rotate into that second zone now, trying to find a safer position for themselves. Now, it seems like Sentinels did make their way out of sorting. Okay, they decided to back off that fight with Dogefather, so they're probably just going to be finding a nice place to hunker down for a little while as season rotates around the edge of the dome.
Yeah, I think Sentinels actually went all the way to top station building. I think we're seeing them hold top station, like you said, avoiding that battle, but maybe continuing to hold there. Interesting zone here, just because within that beacon zone, we do still have teams that are getting comfy, as we see all the way in Dome. We do have teams at Lava City and teams that are holding at sorting, indicating that there could be a few different chips on the table in terms of exactly how this next poll will go in terms of direction. But now taking a look here at the entire Dome area, just a lay of the land so far. One thing to note is that we no longer had that geyser battle between Farm Boys and Cruelty that we seem to have at the latter half of yesterday. That one has subsided, so we'll keep an eye on exactly where Cruelty has been bouncing around as well. But here's Energy just continuing to hold down.
Looks like they're trying to decide how they want to move through this area. Sweet does spot out a player and takes a little bit of damage, instantly decides to back off and re-heal up his shields, as I believe we saw an EMP about to come out from Season here, Andy.
Yeah, needs to be careful. Lots of damage coming. You already saw Clane go down. Now Fun in a dangerous position as well. Has to try to hold this, but now it's going to be right away on Muscuri and Vayne. Bottom 20, the ones that are that.
Bottom 20 being much more aggressive than we saw them yesterday. This is going to be a nice early engagement for them as Season does end up going down. Huge win for Bottom 20.
Yeah, Bottom 20, we're very happy with that. And as we know, when we're playing in that edge, in terms of that back part of the dome, a lot of real estate to play with, and they're able to make that push. Perfect timing there. Now taking a look here at HRN to see their exact move, as they've already departed and now already on the move to try to claim some different ground here right around that southern cave exit. And also we're thinking about peeking into Dome to see what might be going on to the south as well.
Yeah, HRN definitely heard that engagement and needs to decide if they want to push up on it. They were a little bit late to the party, so there's probably enough time that the squad that you know, bottom 20 was able to heal up, so HRN isn't pushing it too aggressively. They also know that there's the possibility for people to be rotating out of literally any of these areas. Cave is potentially going to be very scary, so they're just kind of keeping their eyes open, seeing if there's any available engagements from to third party right now. Otherwise, I think, especially after we saw how yesterday went for HRN, I think that they might actually start off a little bit more conservatively today.
Yeah, we certainly could see. HRN was, like we said, one of our teams to watch in the semis. 6 top 4 finishes, pretty strong considering we only had 6 games there in those semis each day. But weaker in those latter half of the game. So like you said, going to want to look for a very consistent performance today. And they're one of many teams that are going to be looking for that, as it's, like we said, it's a marathon of games. But now checking in with Complexity, it's a team that we've talked a lot about. We didn't get to see too much of their gameplay yesterday, and you could say that part of that was due to the ring pulls like we talked about, having to move all the way from Survey, Epi, Refinery to those southwestern zones. Pretty punishing for them in the end, not just in terms of the routes, but also in terms of the scoreboard. They will make their late rotate here through the central choke.
Oh, this is one of those areas that I think every team is going to be a little bit sketched out by not necessarily wanting to have to push through if they don't absolutely need to. You can see there are a couple squads in the general vicinity, but Complexity looks like they should be able to make their way through here unscathed, which is going to be a saving grace for this one area of the map because they have a long rotate ahead of them.
Yeah, a lot of teams just trying to get through early. You kind of saw how easy KSZ's route through was initially, just because a lot of teams just saying, let's get through here. Also taking a look here at Sentinels, by the way, like we said, still hanging out at sorting in the station building. It looked like momentarily when we got a look at the mini-map, they were holding the north stairs, which is certainly preferable compared to the angles that they had now. But Retzi just doing a little bit of scouting here. And no, I'm sorry, that is going to be right. We do have Crust and the rest of the team, so just a little bit of scouting there. But look at NRG here at Dome in a whole bunch of trouble. What is Nathan going to do here? Sweet goes down, and now Nathan has to just try to get out of dodge. We'll see if he can do it. He can't even tap his toes against the lava here. He's going to get around the corner to pop the bat. And what will NRG do here? Once again, if you were writing the script to be as drama-packed as you possibly could, it would be NRG under threat and being full killed there 2 out of 3 here in the early game, in game number 1 of the day. Nathan's able to just get away, doing it with about 5 HP. But what will he do here as the solo Bloodhound? And we only caught the latter half of that. I'm not exactly sure how it all developed, but going into a situation you can bet that they did not expect to be in, given how strong they've been.
Especially because I'm pretty sure that that fight was actually up against Vibes. Vibes being one of our squads that had an incredibly tough day for themselves yesterday. They are currently in 19th place when we started this overall. So the fact that they just went up against them and pretty much demolished NRG is going to be a huge boon to them, not only for their points in general, but mentally. That's a very, very strong start for Vibes, and that could maybe switch their entire game here today, considering they did have a strong semis performance. Now, it's just going to be down to Nathan decide what happens for NRG. This is, to be fair, they're in an area where he could rat for a good chunk of time if he wanted to, but it's still less than ideal for NRG.
Now taking a look here at Team Liquid, a team we talked about, off of a poor semifinal performance, now in 5th place and looking to perform even better today. Gonna go ahead and just rotate through the ring here. And we saw some very good late game performances and coordination from the likes of Nock, Flanker, and Alberlily. Impressed with their late game yesterday, and we'll have to see how they play this as well. Just trying to get a little bit of scouting going on the other side. Now also taking a look here at Vibes. This is the team that you were talking about, Glitter. This is the team that had 2 wins in the kind of arguably more stacked semifinal lobby. So they had a very, very strong showing. 4th place overall, upsetting quite a few teams. Not the case so far, though. 19th place for Vibes overall. They need a very, very strong day today. It needs to start here with game number 9.
Ooh, already see the Spitfire coming out of Voltic, trying to put some damage down on the squad across the way. Is that Liquid? Did Liquid push in on that?
This should be Liquid here on that battle. Yes, indeed. As we take a look at the other side. Now taking a look, 88 there with the Sentinel from Nock. He's going to be happy with that one. We'll see. Trying to see if we might see a Gibby around the pipe. 75 as well. And the damage as well. Not afraid to hit the second one for 75 again. Aberlely's going to take that as a green light, an opportunity to go. Flanker there with the scout as well. They're going to think about flying in, but instead just reset just a little bit. You could tell they had their foot on the pedal, wanted to take that opportunity, that 150 damage as an opportunity to go, but instead they will slow down just a second and stay patient here. Liquid ready to go, and Knock hitting those Sentinel shots through very, very small sightlines.
That Arc Star that just came out of Vibes is the only reason that they are currently alive, and that Liquid backed off, so that was a huge play from them. Checking in with Sentinels now still on the top of sorting, trying to hold off squads at this point because people are starting to push in. You got a bombardment coming out. They're going to hide inside, take a little bit of cover until that is done. Retsy's health is dangerously low, so you're going to see the med kit get dropped for him so that he can heal up. I mean, this is a little bit rough for Sentinels. There are a lot of people in their area right now, Andy, so this is going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of actually action in the feed as well. We're seeing not only My Little Phony, but TSM and a few other in the feed. So let's go ahead and see what's going on right outside of Banana and also inside Banana Building here at Sorting. You saw a few notes here, TSM grabbing a few, and looks like he's not going to let a fellow Octane get away there. Some good shots. That is going to be Sheesh. There on the receiving end of that, you see a Prize and Wig in the feed. So TSM capitalizing. We saw a little bit developing in the feed. And now Sheesh will be out, only catching the tail end of that one. So that will be Season, Doge Fathers, and Sheesh out of this one. But that's a big note here for especially the fact that we have NRG was in a dire situation and Sheesh out this early as well. It is once again going to open up the points table for the rest of the lobby. Now let's take a look in Complexity here going up against MST up top on the high ground.
Complexity, I have seen their names come up in the kill feed a couple times too, so they've definitely been dishing out some damage. Now, depending on how this goes, Reptar has already taken a little bit of damage. We see the bombardment, and MST decides to make the push. Pander's staying up above, so he's got a little bit of a height advantage here. It is a 2v3 down at the bottom. Pander decides to push down and wrap around to the right and see if he can get a better angle. All of the Complexity players are shieldless. Monsoon able to get a quick bat off, and oh my god, it's gonna be rough for Complexity.
Oh boy. That Metro push there, you knew that was it. Once the angles are closed down, that will be Complexity going down there in the feed, and MST getting that right opening damage. As soon as you saw Reptar in the back, they knew it was trouble, and another nice break there for Metro from the ground with the 99 as well, but they know they're in trouble as well. They came off of the sorting height to take this, the sorting height into this low ground to take that battle, and then in doing so now have exposed themselves across the way, and now Sentinels is going to be the one that wants to claim that this is their territory here at Sorting Ground. Whether you're on the low ground or the high ground, it's all theirs, and some good damage coming in. We'll see if they can continue here now with this Volt to get that wipe, and now it's all going to be up to Senox and Retsy. They're going to be happy with that one. MST will be going out. Sentinels picks up those kills and still looking pretty strong here, Glitter.
This is a really, really strong play for Sentinels because it essentially boiled down to TSM above with them or the teams down below that they knew they could most likely third party. So they did decide to push down here, take a little bit easier fight just because of the damage that had already been dealt into MST. So they clean up 3 quick kills for themselves. Now it's just going to be about whether they can escape from TSM. If TSM even decides to push down to where they are, or can they get out of this area from any other squads that might be rotating through. It seems like there were a few shots that rang out, and TSM is on the other side of this rock, but they are currently distracted by other teams. So this is going to be interesting to see how Sentinels handles this push. Yeah,
this is going to be tricky here for TSM as well. Ooh. Nathan's still alive as well, and he's still doing some damage here with the charge rifle from the back, so doing whatever he can here, but also on the receiving end is a 1 from the distance, so needs to be very careful if he wants to put points on the board. He's already grabbed 1 placement point, but might have made a little bit too much noise in the end. Let's see what TSM does there. Instead, just going to go ahead and rotate just a little bit towards the south. They know that Sentinels has a little bit of height on these rocks, and now Sentinels versus TSM. This is an edge battle that could be developing right now. Yes, indeed, here comes the action. Now TSM, once again, as you said, fighting from different angles. They're going to have to retreat just a bit, and Sentinels wants to take advantage of this. Let's go ahead and take a look at Reps here with some very strong shots out of that Spitfire of his own here. Now going to go ahead and try to get that all going down and also pop some cells. We'll see how they play this. You can see just in the distance, Sentinels still trying to get the opportunity to push in.
Yeah, Hal definitely is on an off angle trying to see if he can catch anybody from the side, but if I'm not mistaken, there's also a team in the cave, I think, that has been trying to pop shots every once in a while. TSM decides they're going to push up on Sentinels and force this engagement to happen. You can see how low Snipe Down is in the back. He's able to get a bat off, and I was right. You can see in the corner there, Stomps, probably the person that's been taking pot shots the entire time at this squad, making it so much harder for both of them.
Yeah, it's going to be Farm Boys there that are just trying to do whatever they can. Bubble Fight is down, though. Take a look at this TSM right away. We only caught, it looks like it happened so fast, but don't mess around with TSM, some Mastiffs, and a Bubble Fight there as they're able to wipe that one there. and picked that one up pretty quick, made it look too easy from the third-person view, and we'll have to see what they could do from here. But Sentinels was the quick victim as TSM's able to get that, and now they turn their sights to that cave, like you had mentioned. Now they're going to be ready to go, and they're going to want to get out of this open territory that they seem to be stuck in. And I was going to say, Nathan has been joining this party as well. He continues to deal damage with that charged rifle as well, continuing to be a pain for TSM, who's now trying to make this push on Farm Boys through the choke.
I'm surprised that Nathan is being this ballsy in the situation, because I mean, he's alone, right? And you're going up against TSM and Farm Boys, who are currently in their own engagement, but Nathan has no fear right now. He is able to wrap around, but you can see as he wraps around, he is very, very low and does end up going down to Abe's. Dude's not out, able to pick up the kill on him. But TSM is now in an insane engagement with Farm Boys. Hal goes down, but it seems like TSM is unafraid and they're able to come out on top once again. I don't think they're going to be able to get Hal though here, Andy.
Yeah, they're going to have to run real quick here in the end, and it's going to be a battery for Reps, and Snipe Down and Reps able to stay up. Hal, of course, doing a plenty of damage before ultimately going down, and now going to have to just continue on moving forward. Now 7 squads left here. We're actually seeing in the feed Absolute Monarchy will be ones going down as well, but some good kills here on CLG from the side of Reps and Snipe Down.
They have just not stopped since they started their engagement in the banana building over on sorting. As soon as that happened, they decided to go full pedal to the metal. Now we can see them trying to dish out some more damage. That might be the rest of CLG, as we saw Reps get the 1 kill onto the first player. So they decide to back off, though, see if they can get a little bit of a better angle. Yeah, Lou, that was at CLG. Lou is the one that's currently down, but CLG should be able to maybe grab his banner as long as they don't get sniped off of it. Yeah,
we'll see how they play this one. Also, still taking a look, like we said, Dude's Night Out still here. Also, HRN now playing the limited real estate that they have here. And as you could see from this free camp, not a whole lot of playable space. Everyone just grabbing the rocks on the ground that they can and trying to play a little bit of elevation. TSM, the 2/3 of TSM here with Reps and Snipe Down, still trying to figure out how they want to play from this slight low ground. But there is enough cover in this route where they might have some opportunities depending on how this happens. And looks like not going to take any damage as they move up just slightly a little bit closer to the dome.
This is a rough situation because right now they obviously know that they're potentially surrounded by 2 squads, but there's still 4 other squads in this lobby and they just don't know where they are. So they're going to have to constantly be watching their sides behind them, as well as seeing who's pushing in from any other weird angle like that, because there might be another sneaky solo for all they know. Nathan dishing out all that damage before he went down for NRG. You see Uri's trying to peek and pop a couple shots across the way as you saw some of those players rotating out of the dome area. The bubbles come out. We've got the caustic traps down as well, keeping them safe in that. Oh, there is so much chaos now.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely crazy here on this close. Take a look. TSM just running straight into HRN. You're also seeing madness in the whole TSS part of the party as well. Dude's Night Out finding 2/3 players going down. It's going to be all up to Rolders now trying to heal. He cannot. 5 squads left just like that. We're seeing HRN also go down in the feed. TSM picking up a few of those kills. They're not done yet. Liquid also joining that party. Let's see what Snipe Down and Reps could do here. Reps also taking so much damage as well. Going to try to pop a bat just like that. 4 squads left. It will be Knock that is going to get the knockdown there on Snipe Down. We'll see if Snipe Down is going to be able to get around the corner, but Liquid still looking very strong here, potentially their game to win as they look across the way as well.
Ooh, loot looks good on Liquid right now. You just saw the shield upgrade coming out of Albrelelli. Flank does get knocked. I might have just jinxed this entire thing. Albrelelli goes down as well, and Knock needs to decide how he's going to handle the situation.
And now Knock, look at this, has to go all the way back. You're going to try to see what kind of swap exists. There's a purple swap he's able to grab, but still in a world of hurt, needs to be very careful there. Also keep in mind, bottom 20 with some good damage there onto Liquid as well, and also taking down Albrelelli in the feed. So now that will be TSS right here on your screen. They're going to have an angle. You're still going to have Snipe Down able to get back in as well, able to get all these heals off. Still bottom 20 on the left side, and now Nocturnal still trying to be part of the battle as well. Those are your top 4.
Oh, does TSM know that Knock is right here?
They know.
Yeah,
they know.
They absolutely know. This is going to be rough for him, but TSM should be able to secure themselves yet another point here with this kill and more points by moving up the placement ladder. This honestly Knock's holding up really well, and of course all of the action is going to draw some more attention, and Blur is the one that gets the credit for the kill at the end of all of that.
Yeah, TSM not able to get that. They were going to be able to grab the truck, but they're not going to be able to grab the kill despite some very good shots there out of that shotty. But now look at bottom 20 coming in around the corner, and still TSS here and TSM still part of the party. Those are your final 3 squads here in game number 9. Somehow TSM still with those heals. Bubbles are going down. Bombardment's down as well. Bottom 20 able to get all of their bats off. They are ready for this final battle here, as they're going to be ready to poke out just a little bit and trying to get a little bit of damage around the death boxes. Not able to get that angle on TSM just yet, but they know they do still have more opponents across the way. Taking just a few ticks in the back, and TSS trying to time their move as well. Now bottom right in on TSM. See what they might be able to do. Taking the bubble. They're able to grab one. Their Reps is the first one to go down. Where's Snipe Down is the question. Can they come in? TSS says, not without us. We want to be part of this party too. They're going to fly in, and TSS is your champion, playing it perfectly. And Glitter picking up where we left off there. TSS winning game number 1 overall in our North American finals. And after a pretty slow rest of the day, they win our game number 1 here in day 2 as well.
Once again, they win in 2 with his Watson on horizon, flying in from above. I mean, that is like their favorite finishing play so far for any time they are able to get a victory, because they time it so well, and they just wait and rain down carnage from above.
They really are. It's the only Horizon in the lobby, and like you said, when we have seen her in the late game, she's made a difference, and TSS able to play such a different angle in that scenario, especially when you already had the likes of bottom 20 already pushing in on TSM on that cover. It gives them so many opportunities, and if there's ever a time to utilize that Horizon ult, now's the time. The clock is ticking before that patch hits, so make sure to make the most of it today. Here's just an idea of what that battle looked like as you saw that bombardment going down. That's what forced that first bubble, a big determining factor, because then it forced that push for bottom 20 onto TSM, and as you'll see in the feed, they're able to take Reps down, and they're also able to get the wipe on Snipe Down. So they will grab those KP, but then TSS is just able to push in, clean up, and take all of the pickings in the end. But like you said, able to play that so well to close out our game number 9. And let's keep in mind, let's see where TSS was going into that game. They had slipped all the way from originally, of course, first after game 1. They sat middle of the pack yesterday, right around 4th and 5th. And by the end of the day, they had slipped to 9th. So that's a big win for them, and might suggest a shifting of the tides for them throughout the rest of day 2. We'll have to see. We'll come back with the scoreboard and the overall leaderboard after a quick break. Don't go anywhere. More Apex coming up in just a bit. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring. It's a fantastic game number 1 to start things off here on your Sunday afternoon, or perhaps late Sunday evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Bravo alongside Glitter Explosion. And Glitter, it's TSS back on top in our first game of the day.
Yeah, and honestly, they played that so well. We were talking about a little bit during the break, and in that scenario, in my mind, whoever made that first push onto TSM, knowing they were 2 players, was going to be the person who did not win, because all the third team had to do was wait for the third party after that fight was 60% of the way through. So TSS does come out on top with yet another insane little crash in from the horizon. And you can see the overall, or the score, sorry, from this past match here, Andy. And TSM actually matches TSS in points because of their insane kills. This is what I was talking about. They've turned it on now.
They really have. They are stepping it up, and if that's a sign of things to come, it could be quite a day for them. Also, it also tells us that really, if you have a T and an S as their first 2 letters of your team name, you're likely to do pretty well today. Tinfoil hats. No, put them away. But
look at the points that Energy had. Energy only had 2. Oh my God, look!
Look at that, and right away, it's a very different story than when we even started the day today, when we're talking about can Sheesh catch NRG, and instead it's a huge rally from TSM and lackluster performances from Sheesh and NRG that opens the floodgates for now TSM to only be 13 points behind the likes of NRG, and this is setting us up for quite a fantastic day number 2, Glitter.
I mean, especially because TSM literally just got 12 kills in that game. They're clearly more than capable of getting 13 points in a game when they need to. You can see Team Liquid does jump back above Absolute Monarchy as well. And Sheesh is still holding on to a decent spot in that top 3, though, solely because of their performance yesterday. So they'll be able to turn it on here. They still have a lot of matches left. But then TSS is going to have a little bit of a battle uphill from here for the rest of the day. They're going to need at least one more really solid performance out of them to get themselves back in like a top 4 position. Definitely. A big jump, though, for them. 9th to 6th. In one game. I mean, if there's one thing you wanted to do to start the day as a team that's really in that 9th place spot right around there, you got to be very happy coming into 6th after just 1 game and 7 more games to go. But man, once again, we could not write this any better. It seems that whenever one of our teams that's within that top 3, 1 or 2 of them starts to falter or maybe exit early in a game, it's almost a guarantee that a team that's also within the top 3, top 4 kind of pops off and has a game that really resets the point balance. So we really could not ask for more of a tug-of-war scenario in between these games, and maybe setting us up for a nail-biter throughout the rest of the day, of course.
Many of you caught the Europe matches as well as we get into match number 10 here of our North American finals, starting things off with TSS to catch them on their drop. But you might have caught the European finals, that game 16. The fact that we had, you know, across 16 games, Glitter, you and I talked about it, it's a lot of games. But the fact that you can still end up with a game 16 where your final end zone can determine the end result is pretty fantastic. In the end, it's going to be Avant-Garde that does close it out despite exiting early, getting a little bit griefed at the beginning of that game, but they're able to hold on because Nessie was not able to get enough KP on the board. We'll have to see if things are going to be just as tight here in North America.
Yeah, and speaking of being griefed, now this was one of the areas that we had seen Cruelty going up against TSS. They decided to switch from Overlook and then went over to Geyser. We're going up against Farm Boys. Drum roll.
Drum roll. Oh, you know what? Whenever OBS is playing with us with some teasers, it's usually not a good thing. And by not a good thing, I mean it's pulling west. So here we are. It's a zone that we did see yesterday. But let's keep in mind that we are thankful that we did see a slightly eastern pull here today as things went over to the dome area. But what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about how we had the potential for TSS and Cruelty to run into each other at Overlook. You can see there on the map that they are close, but they haven't really committed to either. They're kind of in between Geyser and Overlook now, deciding they don't want to take the initial engagement with TSS or with Farm Boys, deciding it didn't really work out the way they had initially wanted it to, so they're just going to play it safe for now. Good to see them making those smart decisions, but this is one of those zones that, when we're looking at the map, could actually be huge for Liquid. You see that MST has completely decided to go nowhere near Thermal anymore. They're now up by countdown, which means they'll not be in a nice safe position as well with this zone. And those are spots we talked about at the beginning of today. Oh no.
This is now going to be particularly Doge Fathers actually against Sentinels, and what is going to happen here for Cross? Big shots there with the Mastiff, and we'll have to see if he's going to be able to get this bat off there. It's a huge win there against the Presley with that Mastiff, keeping Sentinels alive here in that game. Now with the blue ready to maybe charge back in here, but instead going to go ahead and pop a little bit of heals. No, cancels the heal, instead goes for height. Now taking a look, and once again going to resume that syringe. You're going to go ahead and see what he might be able to do here. And once again, Sentinels under pressure, under fire early on at the sorting factory, an area they've been holding down, and no longer can they be comfortable here because Doge Fathers force what and Euban going up against Crust, and now just going to hold that doorway to try to get to Presley back into the action, which could be now a 3v1 in just a second. We'll have to see a little bit of a pop there coming from Crust, and you have to think that Doge Fathers might just all in this in a moment. And now Arc is going to go out there. We'll see if it's going to be able to connect. Shots coming down there, and yes, indeed, a little bit more damage. Going to try to fly over. This should be it for Sentinels. Yes, indeed, Sentinels going to be our first ones out. The Doge Fathers Sentinels battle continues at Sorting Factory, and Sentinels will go down this time. And once again, we resumed it late. You thought maybe Cross was going to try to hero that as he's able to get the one knock, but certainly not enough there. A very difficult battle for them. So that will be Doge Fathers claiming the ground here at Sorting Factory, and also seeing some engagement here from Cruelty Team, who has made their way. You saw them start to make that rotate. They dropped No Name. You had pointed it out, Glitter. They came through the choke right away, and now they won a little bit as a team of two here. Not sure exactly what might have happened to them trying to get into this battle here with the Doge Fathers as well.
This is an interesting play considering they are down a player, deciding that they probably don't want to push up on that squad right now. But this is what we were talking about in game one. Will Doge Fathers leave Sentinels alone on their sorting drop? And the answer seems to be right now they don't have any intention to, and it went well for them this time around. So this might be an engagement that we see all day, early game, like we did with Farm Boys and Cruelty. But right now, Cruelty's made the smart decision to back off and maybe just go get some loot for themselves, considering that this might be a little bit of a rough game, having to play with two players the entire time. And now looking at the map, so many teams have already rotated into the second zone.
And one thing I do want to point out, take a look all the way at the bottom. It's going to be Vibes. Actually, we'll look at the top first. No, we'll come down the bottom. Thank you, Oz. Take a look at Vibes. Let me tell you, the amount of millisecond delay between San Francisco and Stockholm is punishing in a scenario like that, so apologies. But to talk about one drop that did change, MST was going up against Vibes. Vibes changes their drop away from Countdown all the way to Dome, and actually we get a circle pull like this. So that's an unlucky scenario for Vibes. We'll have to see if they run into HRN, but now we'll take a look here. Keep an eye on this top left. Pull Energy slowly making their way in on the edge as well. Liquid already cozied up a little more central. That's going to leave CLG for that whole northern side.
I'm surprised that they actually left that northern side. They had seemed pretty comfortable there yesterday, but they did take a little bit more western when the zone did shift a little bit farther south. So maybe they decided they were comfortable here now. But you can see at the bottom, you see Timmy dishing out some shots as Sheesh is rotating into train yard area. And that could be a sign of the aggressive Sheesh that we saw yesterday starting to kick everything off here today.
Oh, and here is that HRN battle up against Dogefathers potentially developing still here at sorting. And Dogefathers, like we said, able to win that first battle, but HRN looking very good in terms of armor, and it looks like they're instead just going to nope out of that. Might have been hearing some footsteps, and we'll have to see. Instead, they're just going to fly through. Yuban going to do a little bit of scouting, though, wondering what's going on with this HRN side. Are they going to engage? And shots will be exchanged here. A little bit force what trying to engage, and Yuban is way out here, and now RKN and Hill are forced to take a look at this battle as well. So neither team committing just yet, but HRN realizing they do need to stop because Yuban is flying right in and getting very, very curious about what's happening here. And right now, HRN might be able to take down Yuban just because he's overextended so far. He's going to have to pad all the way out, stimming as well. And it looks like Yuri's going to try to hit that on the flesh, and they're not going to be able to take him down just yet. They get very close to doing so, though. So HRN will heal. A little bit of an awkward battle between Dogefathers, and HRN. HRN looking like they were ready to just skip across sorting, but Dogefathers kind of pushing the issue with Yuban coming all the way to the circular building. Now we'll go back over here a little more central, and here's TSM now finding Scissors out. And keep in mind, that was our squad of 2. That was Cruelty. They should be able to pick up this second one as well. They make easy work of Oi Senpai, and that will be Cruelty team. That squad of 2 out, running into a team you don't want to run into at the middle of the map. TSM picking up a few more kills to their name.
That was super unfortunate because I don't think Cruelty even knew that TSM was just kind of lying in wait in that scenario. And it looked like they didn't even have the best loot to really even take that fight, even if they were aware. So that was just an unfortunate situation for Team Cruelty. TSM looking to see if they can get into any more engagements here as they continue their wrap around the edge of what is going to be the second zone, seeing if they can get themselves in a decent position, maybe hold on for a few minutes.
Absolutely. Just going to cozy up here, get a little bit of a reset. But now we're taking a look here at Vibes. This is one of the teams that we were talking about is going to have a little bit of a different route. And they actually took a pretty wide rotation here, coming just up Thermal over to Spring's End, and now going to have opportunities to play Edge and see what they might be able to find that path.
I'm surprised that they played that one a little bit more conservatively. They had some pretty open shots there on the team across the way, decided not to take them, decided they want to push up, and in the process take the damage themselves. So should they have stayed across and maybe popped a couple shots, who knows? But Vibes does have to heal. He's going to try and get some cells off so he can get his shields back while his teammate wraps around and tries to see if they can scout where they happen to rotate to.
Yeah, Mooney going to be happy to see no one in that scan right above him directly on height just yet, allowing them to continue that rotation. You could tell, though, that they are just foot on the pedal. They want to get out of that low ground that they were on, and now also taking a look at Dude's Night Out, who's holding just those southern buildings of Fisher as well. They're going to have to battle with that soon, but now HRN actually in a battle here as well with that side of Depressly, so now just going to continue on here. A little bit of chaos here at Harvester for the HRN side, but that is going to be a bleed out in the end for Dogefathers. So that battle did continue off screen, and it's Dogefathers who actually exit. Keep in mind, they were the ones that did push that battle and kind of got the attention of HRN as they were just trying to scoot alongside Sorting Factory, but now also taking a look here with the Fisher battles. It's bottom 20 trying to deal some damage. Nice 99 damage coming out here of Vayne, and also going to try to set a portal for the squad to see what they might be able to find and then come across this way.
Looks like they want to make this push in with how aggressively that Wraith has pushed up and ready to take these shots, with the Mastiff instantly decides to take the portal back because Vayne is very, very low, but his team seems to be in a decent position, and he did get a decent amount of damage, so it's going to be up to his teammates to decide what they want to do here.
Yeah, absolutely. Still a little bit of chaos over there. Rollers, as you see, just going to wait this one out. It's going to be Aves that does come back as well. So Dude's Night Out still trying to play this a little bit cautious against the side of bottom 20. Now Complexity, though, still over here at Trials and playing Edge as well. And looks like they're going to try to hold forward here on the doors of the Trials entrance, and going to be peeking around the corner. Spitfire and Eva 8 here in the hands of Ice Shiny. Thermals will go down to try to deny that door, but it looks like on the inside, it is NRG, like we talked about, the team to beat here in North America. Still your points leader, but early exit for them in match number 9 means they need to continue to apply the pressure here throughout the matches and the rest of the day. They will then reset once again inside Trials.
Was that not that the corner that we saw Complexity, or no, was it Liquid that wrapped around and
just
completely
yeah.
that destroyed the team in the corner? That's going to, I feel like that's going to be a dangerous area if we're going to keep getting these northwestern zones for those teams because no one is safe right now. And checking in with Liquid, speaking of Liquid, here's where they are right now. They are holding this area pretty comfortably right now. No one's actually too close to them, and they have a lot of cover depending on any of the directions that these teams might rotate through. And moving back on board with TSS, they are in a rough engagement, using the gravity lift right away and throwing down so many arc stars, hoping to deal some damage, but Blur is already down.
Yeah, they're going to have to play this very carefully. It looks like that's going to now be 2 players down. Now just the Gibbs Sung here, trying to stay alive on the height. He's also in a return to battlefield timer as well. Needs to be careful of that and just trying to get around an angle. And looks like it's going to be a very difficult scenario for him. Bombardment is coming down as well. Going to pray that the bat hits in time. The bat does, and we'll have to see if he's going to be able to get out of this. It's a very, very precarious situation. Tries to bubble, but you have to think that's going to be it. Sung will go down. NRG capitalizing on that coming out of trials to clean up that kill. They're going to be happy with that and then return inside. They'll be happy to be the gatekeepers. But speaking of gatekeepers, you mentioned it, Glitter. We saw it earlier as well. Liquid continuing to hold that central choke and gatekeeping all of the different angles. It gives them such good opportunities to gatekeep anything coming in from Skyhook, anything coming outside of Trials West, and really control that area all outside of Countdown. But it's also Dudes Night Out that have made their way out of Fisher. They've come north to now challenge NRG here in the Uncharted Territories push, and Bottom 20 also part of that party.
I mean, Complexity's over there right now. This place is just where all of the teams are, and I think NRG might be in a little bit of a rough spot if any of them start to jointly focus down NRG. Right now, NRG has Complexity in their crosshairs, dealing a decent amount of damage coming out of Nathan, and Complexity tries to rotate and back off, but potentially they might be rotating into the hands of Liquid, so this is going to be rough. They are! Look at the kill feed! Look at the kill feed!
Yes, indeed. To TSM, you see Complexity also on the receiving end of those kills coming in from the TSM side. So now taking a look, NRG just going to pop out, and we'll see exactly how they can hold this off, continuing to hold this area on trials and still finding players around their crosshairs.
A lot of these teams actually just backed off. I think there might have been a little bit too much action for their liking. Now that they did see some of those squads go down, everyone is taking the opportunity to reset. You can see Rocker just trying to loot up a little bit more here. Checking in with Sheesh. We were hoping they were going to be able to do well today. It looks like Timmy is healing from whatever engagement they are currently in, as a prize is taking some pop shots across the way onto the tracks. Timmy, though, you can see him starting to YOLO already over there, Andy.
Yeah, Timmy, if there's one thing we know, the man is not scared, and right now having to play this in the ring, not the situation they wanted to be in, but keep in mind with that thermal drop, a pretty long route that they had to take all the way up into that Trials, Sniper's Ridge, Skyhook territory, and looking to see what they'll be able to do coming out of this, up through still on Bridge, and coming into Train as well. We'll keep a very close eye on them, but also still seeing Vibes trying to get into the action at Fisher as well, and they're now running into Bottom 20. You see that battle developing on your screen as well as the obs cut right to it, and we'll see what Bottom 20 might be able to do from this height.
They're going to have to play this one smart because they don't want to be sloppy and accidentally fall down into any of the lava or anything like that. They're deciding on what the best play is going to be for them. This whole area right now is a little bit rough. You can see off in the distance the solo Aves left on Dude's Night Out is just going to be trying to hold it out for his squad, see how many points they can get, and it's going to be down to Bottom 20, I think, to really decide if they're going to push in and try to take this fight with Vibes or if they're going to back off and rotate through the area that Liquid's gatekeeping.
Only one shot there with the bow hitting for Scurry, so not enough damage to give them yet an opportunity, but pings are coming down there. You saw from Vayne, they know exactly where this squad is hiding, and they're going to be able to get some damage there. Look at all that flesh damage as well. This should be the green light for them to think about dropping down. And right here you see Vayne thinking about it, but instead just going to go ahead and get those finishes. That's going to be Mooney, and that's going to be the side of Vibes that is on the receiving end of those wipes.
So they do get the good points there. Able to pop a couple more shots on players that are trying to balloon away. That was the solo. That's Aves. That's Dude's Night Out. Their last hope. It's now been taken away from them. They're cleaning up a few good kills here, but what they don't know is that now they're going to be forced to deal with Liquid as they go through this area. Yeah, this is going to be a challenge to come out of this eastern side of Fisher. They know that there's going to be action developing right here, and this will be the area that is being gatekept now. Is actually Liquid still going to be holding that area, and we're keeping an eye. It's going to be My Little Phony who's going to be holding there, as well as Absolute Monarchy. Those are going to be your teams that are holding in Countdown. As well as Vayne, we saw Vayne put down the Porter for Bottom 20 and decide they want to push into it, checking in with Absolute Monarchy. They start dealing damage And Nocturnal is now focusing. He's able to get the knock onto Onmu. I mean, this is a rough spot for these teams.
It absolutely is. Now taking a look at the Liquid side, a team that always seems to be in such good position and also looted up in the late game, and they are ready to make sure that they're able to see this one through. Lots to prove for this squad, such talented players and a lot of tournament accolades for them. But as of late, 88 with the Sentinel from Nocturnal there. A little bit of opening damage there, and also going to take the opportunity. No! Going to just swap it out. Going to arc instead and try to see if he can force a little bit of peeks to the left. Able to force it, and it hits as well for 74. So the arcs are going to continue for him, and they're going to continue to arc that out. And looks like those are no hit ticks there. So instead, just going to go ahead and turn around, head on a swivel right now, because now over to the side of Sheesh. And right away, big damage coming out from the EVA 8 of a prize, and they're going to be able to pick up that first kill there. It's going to be Hill that goes all the way down. They're able to get the full wipe on that, and just going to continue holding here on the southern side of this edge.
This is the aggression we're used to seeing out of Sheesh. Love to see it. You can see that the zone has shrunk down. A lot of teams have already claimed some buildings for themselves. We see Liquid trying to rotate in and find a good spot for them since they kind of held that choke for so long. They're going to have to push through a squad in order to get the building that Albreleli's on right now if they decide they want to do that, because they will be going up against MST in that one spot.
Yeah, lots of options here for these teams. And you just saw the NRG still able to hold that side, essentially hold Trials the whole time, just poke out to be able to get the damage they needed to. And now they do have that eastern exit, of course, which will give them a little bit of a pick of the litter to determine which of the western side of Skyhook they want to enter through. So we'll keep a very close eye on their movement through there as well. But let's not forget, still action here on this edge at Countdown between these squads here. Going to be My Little Phony as well as Absolute Monarchy still in this battle.
And with the performance that we saw Absolute Monarchy close out the day with this could be an opportunity for them to start picking up their aggression in the kill feed. You actually see MST getting a knock onto Liquid with that engagement that I said might happen at the same time that everything is going insanely crazy for Phony and Absolute Monarchy. Pringles is knocked, switching on board with Sheesh now. Sheesh is going to be jumping into all of this battle. Oh my, I love when this happens.
And here we go. Sheesh is thinking about being the third party. Not just thinking about it, but they are, and they're into the action as well. Look at this once again. Timmy with that EVA 8 and the stim combo just doing such damage across the way. They're able to pick up those first few, and it looks like if they're able to also grab this last one, they should be able to get the wipe. Yes, indeed. That's going to be both of those squads out. They're going to be happy to pick up all of those kills, and Sheesh able to play and maybe pick up exactly where they left off yesterday, as they're able to pick up each of those KP. Now still doing some good damage here across that choke that we talked about, as they're going to now need to think about their move up into Skyhook as well. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at the 301 damage there from a prize. We saw chat popping off for a prize yesterday as he was able to do such damage, and that's going to give them a great option because of the damage that he just did. They're going to be able to move across this route maybe even faster than they would have had this not happen. But look at this now. Timmy flying through. He's actually going to go down and land on the rooftop, though, so Wig and a prize need to be very careful. Look at this. Wig wastes no time. Bubble down right away. Res right up, and Timmy is back in the action just like that. So moving together as a unit, if they were just a second or two off of each other, that might not have been possible. Here's your team tracker with the teams remaining in match number 10.
That was such a solid insta bubble to get Timmy back up into the battle. You can see MST is at the bottom of that building that they just threw themselves into the fray on top of. And this is where things are going to get interesting, because teams can decide to wait and see who starts making the first push. Everybody has a decent amount of cover right now, so they don't have to make too many crazy choices. You see Fruit Ninja off on the side. You've got a solo from CLG off to the left of your screen, and things some of the teams want to take this engagement. I think that's going to be NRG.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, such good timing there. I can just picture Nicewig saying, "Got you, bro," and getting him right back up into the action as well, which was great to see. But like you said, pretty intense end game we're going to have.
Oh, we're jumping. We're on with KSZ right now. Zach is so low for his squad. Oh, however, we see an EMP come out. We've got a little bit of an overview here. You got Naughty pushing up, trying to get as much damage. Klain is taking so much of it and is somehow still alive.
And Season, after an early exit there in that last game, they're doing everything they can to hang on here in our match number 10. And we know when we see these Skyhook end pulls, when they do pull into the open, it just gets absolutely punishing. Players playing any fence, any cover that they can in this late game. And now we'll see what Madness and CLG can do, a team we've been keeping a very close eye on as well. They're just going to go ahead and port back. One of the few teams that's still able to use that portal just so effectively, as we start to see less and less Wraiths overall in the lobby, but CLG still able to get into and out of the action so quickly. Taking a look at the rooftops once again.
Oh, there are quite a few teams holding the edge, trying to let that big cluster that you see in that one building just battle it out. You see MST trying to make a rotation. Six does his best, but does end up going down, getting punished by Albrelelli because of it. NRG also trying to dish out as much damage on any of those players trying to push into this building as they make their move. And Nathan is able to take out Metro. The Ring ends up getting the credit for 6 though.
Yeah, take a look at NRG just looking so good. Everyone on red Evo, just the damage coming out here for the Spitfire EVA 8 of Sweet. They've also got a full armory up here with the armor swaps ready to go. You have to wonder what it would take for a team to take down NRG. Rocker actually getting pushed on the stairs, though, also with the Spitfire EVA 8. And this is what you don't want. You don't want everyone on red armor with the EVA 8 Spitfire combos in hand and just even pre-firing that doorway as well. It's Liquid downstairs trying to make something happen for them. Now, just like that, Zach Mazer will go down, so 5 squads left in the game.
Liquid recovered nicely because they did end up taking a little bit of damage from MST when they made this first push into this building, held them off very nicely, and now they've recovered clearly and are in a decent position. You see the Kraber in the hands of Nocturnal. This could be fun.
Here we go. I don't know if you caught it yesterday, but Hotsick talking about not sure what a returnal is. Maybe a returnal is when you want to return your Nocturnal, but I tell you what, with the way Nocturnal's been playing, that is not the case. He's been on fire, but look at how tight this is here. You see Sheesh also tucked into that building. NRG still holding height. And in the distance, you do have Farm Boys in that other building as well. So CLG is going to be northmost on your screen here, but also everyone just getting ready for this move. CLG going to have to determine exactly how they want to get this rotation. And Madness going to have a few different options in terms of how he wants to maybe TP the team in and give them some options if they do want to take that TP or take a slower route in. Farm Boys is going to be the bigger question as well. Speaking of, here's a cue from Madness as he's going to fly right away and see what he might be able to find on the scout. Going to go ahead and go right in. And also the TP is set, so they're going to go ahead and go in. Now CLG pushing in right away has to almost and certainly ensure that's going to be a battle, if I'm not mistaken, against the likes of Farm Boys. And right now, looking like they are winning that. Have to wonder what is going on inside. And now taking a look here, it's actually going to be Liquid that gets the first kill there, going in on Stomps, back on board with Sheesh.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Impulsive Dream tried to back off to see if he could maybe hold out for his team because some of them were quite low. NRG does know where he is, though, and Nathan is not about to let anybody hang out on the outskirts of this area as everything starts closing in. You can see 10+ hostiles on the scan coming out of Nathan, and that has got to be exactly what NRG wants right now because, honestly, I think they can take this on themselves.
Absolutely. They're getting ready for this. Just going to continue holding their Rocker, wondering if anyone might come stairs. Looks like they are not, so instead just going to go ahead and poke out, taking a look at what carnage might develop below. You have to think Wig and team here with Sheesh finding a battle. It's actually going to be Nocturnal that goes down first. Liquid here versus Sheesh, and it's all going to be up to Timmy here. Now popping a little bit of a stimmy and wondering what might be going on. Both upstairs and downstairs needs to be very careful. Ready for someone to come up. Instead, they don't. So instead going to hold for just a second. Still 5 squads left as some partials go down. Wig will go down officially. Flanker also in the kill feed. So now everything happening below. Once again, it's NRG with the pick of the litter. They will drop down right away into the action, but no, they go down right away. Rocker also in a little bit of trouble. Needs to be careful, but not Rocker and Nathan cleaning up. CLG will go down just like that. 3 squads left as well. You're going to see Liquid go down in the feed. Timmy goes down, so it should just be our 2 squads left. NRG from height is the champion. Absolute carnage there in the end, but you had to think with NRG's vantage point off of the rooftop, they knew exactly when to drop down into that bubble. And even though I think we saw Sweet drop a little bit earlier than the NRG side would have expected, they still close out that game and proving that when those zones pull west, it's right now NRG. I think if I actually had it written down, NRG had top 2 in 5 out of 8 games yesterday, which is really wild. And now we're seeing them continue to just pick up the pressure and hold the position they wanted to for the whole late game, and they close it out once again. It's another win for NRG.
How they followed that at the end, especially because when they dropped down, I think they were expecting the 2 squads, but you saw right at the end there was that one solo that was putting in damage from behind that they had to turn on as quickly as possible to make sure that they didn't go down to that player, and then still had to drop down yet again on top of Timmy. And they were doing that one player down because, like you said, Sweet had went down before them and had instantly kind of dealt whatever damage he could on the way down, but then took a lot of damage himself as soon as he landed. That was insane. I thought they could do it. They do close it out here at the end. Just insane plays coming out of NRG.
And how about this for Sentinels in the beginning as well? We only saw just a moment of it there, but a tough result for Sentinels as they're continuing to get dropped on by Doge Fathers at sorting. Not what we saw yesterday, so they're going to have to determine how they want to battle with that. You have to think with the length of time that Sentinels has been dropping sorting, they will not be quickly forced off of that, but you have to wonder what the first 2 games have caused. As we talked about, Liquid holding that central choke so long during the game, wondering how much KP they might have been able to get. In the end, Sheesh was able to push up through that area as well. We saw Season much later into the game than they were in that game one, and those are points that they need, but this really was the story towards the end of the game. A lot of chaos in these second levels here. CLG ultimately making the push in as well as Liquid, and there's exactly in the feed how we did see Zach go down, but here was that final bubble, and you could see Timmy also getting all the way to top 3, by the way. Got to talk about that. Eberle was going to be the one that gets the credit for the kill in the end, but Timmy staying alive as long as he did, going to continue to get even more points on the board for Sheesh as well. It's a pretty fantastic game number 2, but as we said, you have to wonder NRG in the end how many kills they got in that final zone. We know they're going to have a pretty healthy KP, but they were also arcing from that top. We'll have to see how many kills they got, but all that information and an overall leaderboard is coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. More Apex action coming from the GLL Masters Spring. Welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. 2 games down today and still 6 to go to determine the title for North America here in the GLL Masters Spring. Bravo alongside Glitter Explosion. And Glitter, it's NRG once again, and it seems to say that when things go west, things go the way of NRG. That's not to say that's the only zones that they can play, because we know how talented they are, but it seems to be the case. We have to call the tournament as we see it. When things go to the west, NRG takes the title now in so many of the games. Let's take a look at the totals from that game. Actually, NRG and Liquid tied with 13. That gives you an idea of just why they were so happy to hold that choke for as long as they did, and then also make that push for some late game KP as well, each of them with 13 kills apiece.
That's actually huge for Liquid. That should give them a really big boost up in the overall leaderboard. Sheesh showing us some of that aggression that we saw yesterday as well, with 7 kills themselves and 7 placement points. CLG did have really good positioning, so they were able to hold for a few placement points. They weren't that aggressive this time around, so they were only able to get 1 KP. But this is what I wanted to see. This is what I was talking about. Liquid jumps up to second place after that. But look at the lead that NRG has now secured for themselves after that game.
And this might officially be the biggest lead they've had. It's right around, certainly right around it, if not now, with a 32-point lead that's commanding after 10 games. Still a very close race for second between Liquid, TSM, and Sheesh. But Glitter, that's also the second time today across just 2 games where we've seen the second place team, as you were alluding to, get swapped out. So this is getting pretty tight here, with Sheesh getting leapfrogged twice now to be in 4th. Not where they wanted to be heading into game 11.
You know, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu too, because TSS won our first game today, but they won our first game yesterday. Then NRG won our second game yesterday. Now they won our second game here today. So are we going to see a repeat of what happened yesterday?
That's the question. We'll have to see, of course, if that plays out. But right now, the one thing that's for certain is that NRG will continue to put up those points on the boards. And you have to think, I mean, we saw a lot of players, like we said earlier, take to Twitter last night to talk about the zones. You have to wonder, the last 6 polls that we see, based on what we've seen so far, there's really no doubt that they really will determine NRG's ease, at least, of getting into the holds that they want and getting the rotations that they want from that western side, of course, with the staging drop that we've seen them hold, as we take a look at this early drop and now wondering where the ring might pull here in match number 11, Glitter.
This is going to be interesting, because even our first match yesterday, our zone was the one that was like right over our Harvester Central Choke area, and it was like the one different.
Oh boy.
Yes, it says guess. Okay, I'm going to guess Spring's End. Then if Obs is messing with us, I'm going to guess a Spring's End.
I'm certainly going to guess West if we're getting indicators, and it's different. I mean, South Central would be generous, but now let's go ahead and take a look at Farm Boys actually getting into a battle here at the Ridge, which is an early game battle that we haven't seen. It's actually going to be Cruelty team, as we have seen earlier, a team really without a home over these past few games, not just at the end of the day yesterday, but leading into today as well. They're going to try to find the remaining player, and they're going to just continue to fly south here at the Ridge, looking to see where they might be able to find it. It's actually Scissors, and you have to wonder, and maybe we do not. We can get an update from the tournament admins, though. Maybe they have been forced to play as a team of 2 just due to something that we haven't been notified about in terms of player availability, or might instead be DCs. We'll have to get an update there from tournament admins, exactly what's going on with Cruelty, but poor Scissors is going to be the one that's going to have to run here at Sorting Factory.
But somehow Team Cruelty has once again found Farm Boys to have this early game engagement with, and they just cannot catch a break. Now they're taking some damage there from Sentinels as well. You can see stomps over in the distance, but I don't see anybody right now, Andy, but is this the first time that Sentinels finally has sorting back to themselves again? No more contest?
This is the first time today that we have not seen Doge Fathers drop and contest them. You have to wonder, keep in mind, they are all on station building and pretty stacked banana. We should have known. Let's actually go ahead and see what the rest of sorting looks like. Yes, indeed, they're going to have sorting to themselves instead as we take a look at the lay of the land and teams now having to make their very long routes. CLG, Complexity, and Liquid going to be your teams with the longest routes from the north. TSM already have exited Frag East, and they're actually going to run into Scissors almost certainly at Ridge, and I think we're going to see his name disappear pretty soon as he will be the solo for Cruelty team as TSM is going to likely hold forward. Yes, indeed. And before we can even get to it, unsurprisingly, at those Ridge buildings, TSM is going to pick that up on the way. So just loot Scissors' box and continue on that path as they continue southwards.
Of all teams to run into as a solo, just trying to survive for as long as possible, TSM is not the squad you want to see. They're going to be clearing out anybody who is in their path, as we see a lot of these teams making very early rotations, trying to get as far south as possible, knowing that this could potentially be another messy end zone like we saw in Game 1.
Absolutely. Like you said, a lot of teams having to move down this way. We really haven't seen the South Central pull in our, I won't even say it just in our finals, but even in the semifinal that we covered for North America as well, semifinal number 1, we did not really see a pull that was too much like this one right around the exact area that we're seeing. So TSM is just going to cut straight across the eastern side of sorting and continue due south as we take a look at Dude's Night Out. They're already cozied up here down south.
Popping Beasts of the Hunt, giving themselves a little bit extra speed here, but also seeing if they can find the squad that was right on the side and in front of them. So this is going to be huge. They instantly clear them out. Andy, that was a little bit rough.
It's going to be Season as right away, and we saw Season with an early exit earlier in the day as well in match number 1. A little bit of a later performance. We saw them just playing any cover they could in that last end zone in game number 2 today, match number 10, but another early exit for them is really going to be troubling just because they are in 8th place right now, and it's a pretty close gap there right around 7th, 8th, and 9th with CLG and Farm Boys, so they're going to need to be careful.
Now they're actually, they had bottom 20 across the way. You can see them just holding out in the building right underneath your camera there, but I also saw NRG in the area. We're now on board with Sheesh as we see the Arcstar coming out of Timmy, trying to deal some damage right in front of them. And in the kill feed, we do see a lot of players from Farm Boys going down.
Yeah, Farm Boys as well as TSS. It's going to be a battle there on your screen, so we'll have to see what's going on there. But unsurprisingly, she's just able to hold this build, and they're going to be happy to able to hold anyone who's able to hold these tree buildings right now is going to be in a very good spot to just play into the late game and see how this one plays out, see what kind of damage they can get as things do unfold. Now it looks like Wig trying to see if anyone might be pushing on that opposite side of these buildings as well. Keep in mind these tree buildings are a lot to cover in terms of being able to hold this entirety 3-piece building. It's an example of an area where you'll continually need to hold each side of it a little bit bigger than some of the other kind of options that teams are going to have as we take a look. And now also going to look at what bottom 20 might be up to in the distance as well. Timmy trying to see what might be going on from this rooftop. And this is what I'm talking about, held now by multiple teams. Energy also on the low ground, as you see, a little bit lower in between tree and sorting. And then in the distance, that's going to be Dude's Night Out.
Yeah, and on that team tracker that you can see that in the end, Farm Boys does completely go down to TSS. TSS still continuing to be aggressive and successfully so that's going to be huge for their points overall. Everyone is just kind of waiting this area out, knowing that they have decent cover for now, but this is going to be a very much sought after area. We see some shots coming out of Sheesh going off to the right side of your screen, trying to keep people away from their building. You can see just how many teams are trying to rotate into somewhere safe right now. NRG in the dead center of all of it, though.
Energy able to move just as we saw off of that ground just by the tree. They're instead able to just get in that southernmost building, and CLG is actually going to have that very similar building but without the circular structure just to the north of them, as we also take a look at My Little Phony, and they're going to try to figure out exactly how they want to move out of this, thinking about maybe ballooning out. Yes, they will, and I think on the minimap we actually did see a team that wasn't too far away, so we'll have to see if they do come under any shots. But yes, here comes the shots actually, and they're going to be on white, so very dangerous shots coming there from Flesh as well. Aberlele trying to shoot fish in a barrel from distance, and Unfortunately for him, the rest of them are not going to connect. So we're actually going to see My Little Phony able to balloon out, but with a little bit of damage and a little bit of hurt. And let's see how many heals they even have to reset. It'll be a difficult road and one that they'll need to continue holding W on just because they do not want to have Liquid at their back. TSM also trying to be on the prowl here, going to be picking up and finishing some kills. That's going to be Vibes. Ack of Vibes that eventually goes down as well.
Was he by himself, or did they just catch him out?
I think he got caught out based on 17 squads still remaining, and based on the fact that, yes, we're still seeing Mooney here still alive as well. So Mooney will now be South Dome and try to desperately maybe head west, maybe head east, spin around, maybe go north, I don't know. And you can tell he's not exactly sure how he avoids this battle with TSM at the Dome. And TSM's thinking, we need to go ahead and find this last player as well. They're going to know that there is a partial team that is going to be down here. But once again, taking a look at the route that they might take through Dome, and Hal just taking a little bit of poke damage, so gonna pop a cell and try to figure out exactly what might be the situation. They know that partial team is still around, might not know that it's just Mooney in the bottom of the map here at Dome.
They've got some nice building cover here right on the edge of the zone that they can hang out in for a little while. I did notice we were looking at the map too. Complexity is going very slow. They're playing the edge as much as possible. They're very, very far north, which when you take into consideration how few buildings there are right now compared to when it was all the way over to Dome, the teams are going to have to start battling out, as we see Team Liquid here trying to do for themselves, and it might prove to work out very well for Complexity.
Yeah, right now just Liquid here holding on this Summer Ridge for the moment, and Beast of the Hunt popped for Flanker as well. As you do actually see, that's going to be now Absolute Monarchy that's going to be in the thermal station, if you will, just holding down, and Sleepy Panda under some fire. Fratford Ninja as well, just trying to see how they might be able to play out of this one, because when you have a team like Liquid on that height from thermal, it's pretty dangerous. But instead, also going to keep an eye on the Harvester side as well. Scans are going to be coming in from that central building, so not afraid to hit the ult, and here they go. Bombardment's going to go down, and some nice little chip damage here coming in from Abilele on the break as well, and now might provide an opening for them to make that push. Those last shots do not land, though, as the Gibby's able to get away momentarily. Now taking a look, triple take back out on screen. Boom, there, hitting some beautiful shots there and not missing anything is Aberlily. Now swaps for the 99, is able to come around the corner and also get a little bit more damage here, just about 50 or so. And Flanker is also there with the EVA 8. Aberlily will eventually get that first one on Rambo with his 99, and players are desperately trying to pad out, and Flanker wants to make sure that they do not get away. They're going to continue with this push here. Let's go ahead and see as he's going to start to get tagged up pretty soon. Yes, indeed, from behind. Finally, he doesn't know it. Nocturnal tries to time it as he turns around, and it was going to be Voltic that ends up going down, and in the end, Fury and Phony. So that will be My Little Phony going down, and Liquid just moving around in numbers. But now MST wants to be part of this party as well, and some decent damage coming out of the 301 of Panders. He's going to do some damage there onto the Liquid side before they're able to tuck inside that tip of the Harvester building. So now also keeping an eye out. Pad does go down as they're going to be ready to make their move as well.
That was very, very well fought by Liquid. They spread out and got as many angles as possible to go for that push, and we're not afraid of that fight. But now we're checking in with TSM, who was getting into some action of their own. I believe I saw a knock coming out of Reps in the kill feed before we switched on over here. So they've got a good angle on some of the squads right now. I think it was on the Sentinels, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yes, it was. Getting some helps from the OBS there. Appreciate it there. Big shout out to our entire GLL production team, as well as our OBS team and everyone behind the scenes in Sweden, the GLL team, just helping bring this tournament to life. And of course, it's been quite a show from the players as well. An amazing set of games here in North America. We thank you so much for hanging out with us here at the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. It's been a fantastic set of games. Still plenty to go for the rest of the day. So if you're just tuning in, you've picked a great time to join. It's a marathon where truly anything points-wise can happen. Nothing guaranteed. Energy out on top so far, but they will have to continue to perform given the fact that we have 6 games, including this one, remaining. Taking a look at the zone once again, and things do pull launch sites. So a lot of teams that were trying to be happy with their tree positioning, of course, will need to move towards the east. And teams like TSM, Complexity, HRN, as well as the likes of his Watson and crew, of course, that's going to be TSS. They're going to be very happy with their current positioning, and even Mooney still alive on the Vibe side.
See, Mooney's still alive, but his position actually worries me the most because technically that building is open, right? If there's a solo in there, in my mind, that's an open building. If anybody wants to push in on that, then he is going to be in a lot of trouble, but obviously he's just going to try and be quiet and hold it out for as long as he possibly can. Most of the really good places in this area are taken, and the way people have to get into this zone, if you see the way that it obviously cuts off there on the east side, is treacherous to say the least with how many people will have angles. So this, I'm interested to see how a lot of these teams handle this. Complexity already making a move on the north end. You see Liquid trying to balloon in from above, see if they can get themselves in a little bit better of a position, but they're going to be landing exactly on top of MST, and they might have a battle here.
Yeah, let's see. Liquid should have landed on this height here. We'll see how they want to play this one. MST going to have an opportunity to poke as well to join the party. And let's not also forget they do have some company not too far away as you're taking a look on screen here. It's once again Sorting Factory continuing to be a hotspot regardless of what time of the game. It's MST versus Liquid here, a very pivotal part of this game, an important part of the tournament for both these teams as well.
Honestly, Doge Fathers has the opportunity to third party if they decide to go for this fight as well. They're another team that is close enough to do so if they want. So that's going to depend on how they decide to play this out. Liquid doesn't look like they're going for anything. They're just kind of scouting the area, trying to decide if they can take this engagement. They do spot a team across the way that might be Doge Fathers across the way. Oh, no, that's...
Probably going to be yeah, they're looking at Complexity right across the way, yeah. Who's going to just continuing to be holding that. Pings are actually going down, though, so pings are down, and that means that they are going, and they're getting ready to hold this. They're going to have to traverse this area. We'll have to see if, with this Spitfire, Nocturnal is able to get the right amount of damage to give them that green light. Not coming in just yet. Also, scans coming in. They're going to be very careful, and it's going to be a bubble and a bat to reset here for them, and they're going to need to decide how they want to split their attention, because MST has taken this opportunity, as they do see Liquid sandwiched in between Complexity, that they might have an opportunity to try to engage here. Now, how will Liquid play this? Aberlily already taking a lot of damage. They're going to be forced to, as you might expect, into that low ground and have to decide how they want to play this one. Now, a wise decision is Complexity unlikely to poke just because you do have MST on the other side. So it's going to be a little bit of a, not just a shield reset, but a mental reset for Liquid. But keep in mind, Monsoon here, and getting curious about what might be around the corner. Reptar as well. Reptar is not afraid to bring the toes to the edge because he's wondering if MST might engage and see if those shots come in from across. And Monsoon also just watching the bottom of the ramp, making sure that no one's trying to get them on the flank as well. And he knows right away, sees that players are coming in. Bombardment's going down. Big 301 damage coming out of Mon as well. He's going to stim back to the team and say, guys, there is a team on the way. And they're named Team Liquid, and we'll see. Team Liquid likely going to have to reset. Yeah, they go all the way around, unsurprisingly. Between that Bombardment and the 301 of Monsoon, those are two things you do not want to be pushing into. So Complexity's still going to have this height here.
That's definitely a rough position for Liquid. I think they actually didn't know that MST was below them when they were on the banana building, so they just thought that they would have a safer engagement with Complexity across the way, and now it's definitely going to bite them. But I don't know. Okay, in this scenario, they have the opportunity to wrap wide all the way around here to the the bottom right of your screen and kind of try to go that way, risking some potential shots coming in from MST or Doge Fathers who are also across the way, or they can try to push up to the side of Complexity like they did. They took a ton of damage from Monsoon, but now they know he's there, so they can handle the situation a little bit better while knowing there might be some people also looking down on them. This is a rough spot for Liquid to be in.
And let's not forget, if Liquid does take the route that's actually to the west, of course, they will also run into everyone that is holding launch site. So that will be tricky. But now taking a look at MST, speaking of, they're into another battle here of their own, as they're actually going to be running into the likes of also CLG. Now, CLG going to win that one against MST. We saw CLG playing that edge. They're still just at that tip of sorting at edge, and they're able to win that one. All three players going to reset as well. They're going to be happy with that. But now let's go back over to the Sheesh side as they're trying to win on this western side.
And this is the choke that I was talking about that was about to get really sketchy for this team to rotate through. Sheesh is doing a good job holding people in it right now, but this is a scary area to be in, especially when you consider that the teams you're going to be rotating into are TSM, who've already had a building in that area, and a few others. Sheesh is deciding they want to take the engagement on the northwestern side of it, though. Probably smart because they can gatekeep as many people trying to do the exact same push they're trying to do. They see people, they see knock players coming out of that portal, going to clean those up real quick for themselves and get them out of the way, and that's going to be bottom 20. That does go down in the end. Timmy trying to make some more pushes, see if there's any stragglers left behind, throwing out a thermal, hoping to dish some more damage onto these teams that still have yet to make their way, but we see two frags in front of Liquid for them.
Oh my goodness, look at this now. Very difficult circumstances here. Nocturnal and Flanker needing to work together in this TSM battle. Need to be very careful, trying to get heals and just holding on to a pipe and a prayer here, trying to get all the heals off as they can before TSM might try to wrap here. As we said, Aberlily already down, and now on both sides, as you can see, not many options for them. They'll need to work together to try to play out of this one. We're also seeing the likes of CLG continuing to battle against complexity as well, and TSM just looking down here on this bubble. Some big damage out of the flat line of Hal is able to connect there with many shots on multiple players, and more as well. Not done, going to pad right out away from that arc, able to come back up down, not take any damage as well, and then come back inside to pop a cell.
TSM have such a good position for themselves right now, and they've been able to just dish out damage or pick players off as everything else is going on. You can see right now that Snipedown is the current kill leader, 6 kills to himself. This could be another massive game for TSM.
It really could be. It is shaping up to be one as we take a look here. Still complexity, if you were wondering, on that low ground here, and it's actually going to be HRN that instead scoops up into that high ground as well. And TSM, as you now see, going to still have that height, and looks like now Lou is going to go ahead and TP right back into, be ready to try to fight this battle with Madness as well. And it's going to be a crazy late game again here, Glitter, in our match number 11.
I am excited, though, to see HRN right now in this stage of the late game. I think they're playing much better today, and I don't know if that's because of their decisiveness or what. We jump on board with Timmy as he absolutely shreds Vayne. Bottom 20, I believe that might be that was their last player, and they are now out.
Yeah, it should be it for bottom 20 in this match, but Sheesh not stopping, continuing to be ready on the push, and we'll see exactly how they want to get in here. TSS also on your screen as well. The question is also if we'll see these teams on the low ground engage each other. Complexity and CLG definitely scouting each other out just a bit, and just as quickly as we say that, Lou is the first one to exchange just a little bit of shots back and forth, and CLG trying to decide exactly how they want to play this from low. Also keeping an eye here on those stairs, making sure that they don't play that low ground and get caught down low. Now that should be some decent shots. They're going out to the liquid side coming out now from CLG. You have to wonder if CLG might decide to make that push. Ticks do not come in. That does not give them the sign to go, so instead just going to hold off on this dome, but they do have to decide how they want to make this push. Momentarily we'll see if they decide to try to clean up the pickings here on Liquid, or if they try instead to get around the corner there on TSM. More nades going to come out here for Madness.
Poor Liquid is just stuck at the end of an alley, essentially. You know, they can't back out because the zone's going to deal too much damage. Jumping up board the NRG, I was wondering where they were and what they were doing. You see Rocker dishing a lot of damage. Nathan's already knocked, and Sweet and Rocker both need to get some bastard cells off so they can heal their shields. No, Rocker goes down to the Gib. It's Depressley that takes him out. This is going to be really hard for Nathan.
No way that Nathan somehow gets the melee kill. Are you kidding me? Looks for a swap, and he gets the swap. You have got to be kidding me. We were sure that was going to be it, but instead wraps around the corner with the heirloom out and is able to pick up the kill, then gets the swap and a reset with the team. We have got to watch that again. You have got to be kidding me. I need to see that entire fight. Holy crap. Now on board with HRN as we take a look at them still continuing to hold this building just like that. We do see Timmy going down in the feed. 8 squads left.
HRN able to dish out damage to a lot of these players as they're padding across their way. You can see kills are going down onto Sheesh in the kill feed as well. You've got Arcan dishing a ton of damage into that horizon, and this time the play does not work out for TSS. They're going to clean up the final kill here, or maybe not. There we go. TSS unlucky.
Also NRG there in the feed going down as well. So now taking a look here at the TSM side, it's a 50 with the Mastiff there for reps off of that first battle. Now switching on board here to Hal, also watching that same. We're going to now try to get a little bit of foot into the door. Going to get ready to break this one down, and all sides of that are going to be surrounded there. Snipedown also going to come in on the flank, but Hal is forced to retreat here because we do have an EVA 8 coming in from the other side as well. Things are getting tight here at the end of the game as we're now seeing Snipedown just trying to wrap around, work with Hal against this door guarding as well. They are not going to slow down. EVA 8 still out, swaps to that Volt. Should be able to get this finish here on this Bloodhound. They will. That's going to be Flanker who goes down. Going to try to get a swap off of that. Is Snipedown if he can, and we'll see if it's there. Yes, indeed. It's a gold one. Now going to go ahead and get reps up right away. 4 squads left.
You can see the other players pushing in on TSM, though, so hopefully Reps is going to be able to get his heals off before they make the play. Decides, I think it looks like everybody is just doing a nice little reset. Nocturnal is actually still alive for Liquid right now, so he's probably going to just try and play it safe, let the rest of these squads battle it out. You can see HRN is right above CLG, and here are the shots coming in on Nocturnal.
Yeah, just trying to do whatever he can. He's going to go ahead and get this battery off. Also bubbles and knows that he has to decide what he wants to do quickly. But before that can finish, HRN does poke right around the corner. It's going to be RKN in the feed that actually picks up the final one there on Nocturnal. So now looking at how HRN will make this move onto TSM and already engaging just a little bit here. Slapdown watching that furthest side, and they're going to be ready to make this push. CLG, of course, still on that low ground. These are your final three.
Do they not know the CLG's down there? Okay, well, obviously TSM does. I wasn't sure if HRN did, though. CLG's going to have to make a decision when to go up because Hal is forcing their hand as he dishes out damage and takes a little bit of his own. Madness is getting ready to make the plays and be setting up their portal so they can decide how they're going to use this. Hal is ready and waiting, though, for them to do just that.
Yeah, go ahead right away. And now this looks like Vax is going to come through. Also, Lou going to get that green light. Instead, actually going to just take this long road. So now still having an opportunity to play this however they'd like from that bottom ground. Hal earlier trying to force maybe HRN to drop on CLG. Would have loved to have seen that and just being the ones to clean up. But they have reset completely, and they're going to be holding inside. CLG, you have to wonder when they're going to hit this time. Keep in mind, Madness did just spend that portal on that move that really might not have been necessary in the end, so they will not have that TP for a little while. So it's going to be a little bit of a trickier route for CLG up that ramp, but TSM and HRN both seem to be distracted enough. So here comes that ult as that Snipe Down going to be ready to make this push. Scan does go down as well. Just going to be playing these crates here will be TSM. HRN just playing that outside right away. Bombardment is seen, so Bubble goes down almost simultaneously both sides. Pad goes down as well from Hal, just trying to see if we might be able to catch team off guard. Keep in mind that Bubble will expire just 1 second earlier on the TSM side, which will expose them right here. Here is that Bubble just trying, that Pad, as Hal's just trying to get above the Carnage and stay alive. Somehow he's able to do so, and right now you're actually going to see two players on HRN are the first ones to go down. Can they get the third? Yes, they get the third. Now it's just CLG versus TSM. Will CLG be the ones to come in and close the gap? We'll have to see. It's all up to Vaxlon, but no! That's going to be it. CLG in the end takes the victory here in our match number 11 from the low ground Glitter. They're able to close that one out, and my oh my, absolute carnage. HRN, the first team to have actually two players going down, but in the end, it comes down to just Vaxlon on the CLG side, able to close out TSM in the end. We got to watch that one too. A pretty wild late game circle there, and it looks like that pad and that pad that Hal set, just trying to get a little bit of height there at the end, and they were able to get the first 2 kills, but in the end, CLG is able to push up from that low ground, and like we said, taking advantage of the fact that they knew that TSM would be distracted with that HRN battle, and they're able to kind of time their entry, and in a weird way, that low ground actually gave them really the opportunity, the choice to time when they wanted to be the third party in to that final ring.
I did not see it going that way, considering that the low ground was literally dead center between both of the other two teams, between TSM, between HRN. So I thought as soon as CLG made their move up that they were just going to be toast because both teams were going to have, the sight lines on them to be able to deal whatever damage they needed to deal. And it was pure chaos. I mean, there were caustic traps down, there were jump pads, there were multiple bubbles, and in the end, CLG comes out on top. And this is that was that fight, Andy, that we saw. That was the beginning for NRG.
Absolutely. Now we're already taking a look here at how all these battles went down here as well, and you have to wonder, one of the big questions is, I want to know where exactly the CLG bubble was, because let's see, they're able to keep in mind, they're not taking any damage here throughout that entire time. We'll have to see if they even bubble up, or if they just instead kind of come up. Like we said, they take advantage, great little third-person view here. They eventually do bubble, and then that's when they exit there, and they're able to, in the end, take a look. I believe we're going to see, first of all, it's going to be Lou and Madness, yes, indeed, go down, and then it's Vaxlon in the end with that melee that's able to pick up that final kill. And they were also, I was wondering, the one thing we didn't get to see the first time was where exactly that CLG bubble was. And you have to think, because we did see TSM get their bubble forced 1 second earlier due to the bombardment, then we saw the HRN bubble. You saw CLG actually able to play that grading of that bridge to avoid that bombardment, and in doing so, they delayed the use of their bubble so late that they were able to bubble, not just last, but bubble much later, play the edge of their bubble, let the whole battle happen, and then come in. And even in the end, it did come down to just Vaxlon closing it out. CLG will be your winners there of match number 11. We'll check in on the scoreboard and the overall leaderboard after this. Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals here. Bravo alongside Glitter Explosion. We've had 3 matches today, and now moving into the rest of the games, and we'll have to see what the scoreboard says after that game, because we know there's a few teams, Lauren, that probably had a few KP along the way.
Absolutely. And I thought TSM was going to have it. And as I say, that matching CLG, who does win for 11 kills apiece, TSM getting second place for themselves, while CLG is able to close that out in the end. Huge game for CLG. HRN having a much stronger performance as well. 9 kills to them with 7 placement points.
Look at that point shelf, too, after third. You have all the way, right away, Sheesh with only 8 points. So double that into third place. So a lot of points being starved from the lobby and being taken by CLG, TSM, and HRN. We'll have to see how that's going to impact the overall scoreboard as we head to almost the halfway point in day number 2. And it's still NRG. Their lead is trimmed by just a bit here. Now they're up by 21 at 140. Keep in mind, that takes about 10 points off of their lead, which is considerable at this stage of the game. TSM going to be at 119, Liquid at 110, Sheesh at 106. Once again, second, third, and fourth are pretty tight. NRG maintaining a comfortable lead, but nothing that one game could not upset.
CLG making a nice jump for themselves as well, now in 5th place above Absolute Monarchy, above TSS, teams that we had seen starting off the day a little bit higher in those overall rankings. So that's going to be huge for CLG. And they also have a nice cushion above those teams so that they can continue to have strong performances. They might start sneaking up on Sheesh if Sheesh continues to slow down today. We do still have a lot of matches left, so their teams have some time to adjust and get some more points on the board, but excited to see that TSM is slowly chipping away at that NRG lead.
Absolutely, and like we said, a 20-point lead here for NRG, while it's considerable, and NRG is going to be very happy to continue having it, regardless of who is only 20 points behind. You know, this lobby is absolutely one that's capable of catching them. So NRG, like we said, still with a long way to go in this game, and you made a great point there, Glitter. That win for CLG does bring them from 7th to 5th, and CLG is a team that we've been talking about even before the semifinals, when we talked about how they came out of the ALGS winter as well. 4th place there, 5th place in their semifinal, so they've kind of been on that top 5 window, and we know that all 3 players on that team want to prove that they're even higher, not just part of the top 3 conversation, but a contender for the win, and they've got several games yet here today where they could still make a run for it.
Yeah, so let's see how they decide to start off our match here, as we are jumping on board first here with Counter Orange Gaming. Now, this is a team that I think this is the first time so far. We won't ever guess the zone. Okay. I can't tell if they're serious now. I'm actually gonna ask Geyser. Let's go crazy here.
I don't know. I mean, OBS tend to be pretty cheeky. I think it's gonna be a Western pull again. That's what I'm thinking. Let's go ahead and see. Oh boy. You know what? They're right. They're right. We won't ever guess because it is pretty hard to guess. And we are headed all the way up to the northeast. It is going to be an Epi refinery survey, of course, which off of the initial drop is all split by complexity. We also saw in semis that My Little Phony was dropping up there, but complexity actually has the whole lay of the land. Occasionally, you'll see if that is contested, one team just gets refinery, but that has not been the case. So complexity is going to go ahead, get that beacon, and know that they are going to need to loot up quick and then determine how they want to gatekeep, as right now, of course, they have the lay of the land. If you think about just amount of percentage-wise of the map, that is all of theirs right now, and every team that you see on your screen is going to be wanting to make their way. CLG also is going to probably loot Rain Tunnel pretty quick too. Matt is going to make his rotation pretty quick, and we'll have to see if they go straight for survey or what the option might be for the CLG side. But on the other side, it's teams like Vibes, Dudes Night Out, Sheesh, who are going to have the longest routes all the way to the north.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting. I mean, you can obviously see TSM is already pushing up pretty hard into Epicenter to get themselves a spot. They're going to end up cutting off TSS in the process, so it's possible we see an engagement there. Complexity might back off and just hold refinery. You see Monsoon doing some scouting above survey camp. And as I say that, KSZ is also making a move along the western edge of what will be Zone 2. So TSM is aggressively going to hold a position here, though. They're trying to get it early.
I think they're going to go back refinery. I'm worried about KSZ and CLG because I don't know if you just saw CLG is split. Vaxlon Lou, but Madness is actually going to try to fly in right away to get with the team, and we'll have to see how they're going to reposition. TSM definitely going for a refinery right away, but there is action afoot at Geyser, and it's HRN actually pushing on Farm Boys, who's going to be forced into that vault tunnel. They're going to have to make their way through, and likely going to have to keep their foot on the gas all the way through, just because if HRN is at their back, they're going to have to make their way up, out into No Name. We'll keep an eye on that battle, certainly, as HRN will be able to continue over there at Geyser. Now, Sentinels actually has already gotten that first knock. I think if I got it just in the feed at the last second, that's going to be Euban of Doge Fathers, which adds up in terms of the last battles that we've seen with them. Retzi is going to be the one that gets the final kill there on Euban. That's going to be 19 squads. Doge Fathers will go out. So Sentinels, once again, reclaiming their ground here at sorting as they already make their rotation all the way out.
And that's got to feel good for Sentinels, as they did lose that engagement last time. Senox finds another player and goes for the ultimate disrespect. I thought he was going to go for the finisher.
Absolutely. Force was going to be the one that finally goes down there as well. So Dogefather's not going to be the actual first team out. So that's going to be, we'll to see the team tracker, another team that would have been your actual first team out in the game overall. We'll have to actually see as we take a look. And of course, things up north getting pretty crazy already. And Complexity actually going to be stuck all the way up top. We have TSS already making their way into Refinery as well, so we could see things get pretty thick and messy along that Refinery and even towards that eastern side of Survey, as well as so much open space between Epi and Survey. You have to think that the Epi height and all of that is going to be a factor, but not surprised to see these teams instead go for that back corner for now. KSZ also going right away into that action. But now let's look at Liquid here, who's actually all the way up north at Rain Tunnel. They're making that move from Skyhook, trying to get their way into Survey as well.
Al Bralelli with the triple take. I mean, he has been crushing it with the sniper all day. Liquid, though, obviously no stranger to gatekeeping teams today. They did very, very well for themselves last time when we were over by Sniper's Ridge. So they're potentially going to be looking to do something like that here again for themselves. See if they can hold a spot and just pick teams off as they come through. Getting some height here from Alvarelli, seeing if he can see any of the teams down below, of which there are many. They decide to just continue with this little rotation. I don't think they know that they might be dropping on top of both Complexity and possibly TSM right now. Yeah, right now they're just hoping and banking that the teams are already set up in Refinery. They don't have to worry about this. But like you said, it's a pretty big open scouting rotation from them, and Complexity is actually going to be a team that tries to take advantage of that. Beast of the Hunt activated for Reptar and now getting flesh damage as well, and might be able to capitalize here. We'll have to see. It looks like Shiny and Monsoon actually not joining the party, so actually going to just reset just a bit, but finding that last player that's going to be trying to fly in, and Reptar going to come right over the top. Scan does go down as well. I'm going to see what he can find along the corner, but like you said, Liquid probably not ready for what was actually developing along that northern side. Teams were not holding Survey and Refinery only as they might have thought. Teams were actually out in the open here. That bubble's going to go down as well. Arcs going out from Reptar, but some shots being exchanged. Liquid in a world of hurt here. Bombardment going down as well. Flanker needs to be very careful. That will take him down. Nocturnal also goes down. What will Aberlele do in this situation? The answer is nothing, because he will go down as well. It's all going to be up to Nock. What can he do from here now? And that will be it. Liquid out in that scenario, and my oh my, as we take a look, a unlucky rotation, like we said, not ready for the teams to be posed up already way outside of Refinery and outside of the Survey buildings. You have to think Liquid was thinking they might instead just have an easy northern route into this exact territory you're seeing on your screen from KSZ, but that was not the case. They try to balloon out of storage all the way up north, and because this area is so packed already, they found themselves some trouble. Yeah, and I also didn't realize initially when we were looking at that KSZ had also rotated into that area. I mean, we're on board right now with TSM, who's got a solid position for themselves, as we saw a very aggressive rotation coming out of them. We see the Arcstars coming out of Hal as they decide to make this push up and try to take out the team that is, in fact, above them. This could be huge for TSM. Yeah, and we saw how fast TSM went for this building in the back and cut right across, like we saw, just cut right across TSS, who couldn't even move that fast at Overlook. And now taking a look, and man, the Refinery building already so tight. And this tells you why Liquid thought they might have had that move, just because they did not expect the KSZs and now Complexity to be already in this northern position, because they expected the teams to be already set up in the normal spots that you'd find them along these refineries and all of the miscellaneous refinery buildings as well. But instead, they got cut out just because this area was so busy already. TSM going to have to fight from the low ground here as we take a look at who else is part of this party. It's going to be Absolute Monarchy on your screen as well. Interesting. Absolute Monarchy is doing a good job holding TSM at bay as well. I mean, I think now that we see how aggressive a lot of these squads are being in Refinery, Complexity made the right call to just kind of bypass all of its Survey camp and Refinery, not look for a place to hold there, and just keep going a little bit north because of how many teams were going to be vying for the exact same positions. You can see how heavily east
Oof.
weighted it is with all these teams. Like right now, Complexity essentially has their entire west side. They don't have to worry about, no one's pushing them in. You see MST going through towards the station, and they don't have to worry about, they won't have to worry about them either. Complexity is actually in a really decent position for themselves.
Yeah, look at also the southwest outskirts. You do have Sentinels that's still on a very late loot zone, but I also want to talk about Sheesh and NRG still playing edge here. And to be honest, you could have, it looks like Sheesh will cut across before Sentinels gets an eye on them, as they're going to try to take Mine Pass, but you could have Sheesh and NRG at Train Yard. So this is a really precarious situation just because Sheesh right now still in 4th place, NRG of course in 1st as well. Battles still happening all the way in Refinery as well, so we'll look to the obs to tell us where the most exciting battles are going down, but we will keep an eye on that southwest interesting development happening at Mine Pass and Train Yard as well. And it's actually going to be reps here of the TSM side trying to see what he might be able to find up top. Snipedown's also going to peek Hal climbing there to see what angles they might be able to get Hal poked back down, and Snipedown going to continue to head glitch as well just at the top of these stairs, trying to do as much damage as they can there on Absolute Monarchy. And NRG still at Train Yard. Here they go. No idea was Sheesh that a team would still be at Train Yard, and definitely not expecting that it would be NRG, but Sweet takes a ton of damage, much more than he expected. Actually going to have to stim into the storm for just a second and needs to be very careful here. And Nicewig also doing some nice damage with that vault, but he will be one of the first to go down, all up to a Prize and Timmy here. A very messy late game edge battle here between Sheesh and NRG. Now a Prize, the last one alive for the team, needs to win this, needs to go absolutely huge, but it looks like they will be able to go in. NRG scans going down. They're going to get that battle. That will be Sheesh out. And just like that, NRG able to capitalize once again. And you could just tell based on the movement of Sheesh that the last thing that they expected was NRG to be in the rafters of Train Yard at this stage of the second ring closure. And that will be the end of Sheesh's run. That's troubling for them as they went from 2nd to 4th already today.
Look at the team tracker. We were watching TSM and Absolute Monarchy battle it out here. They're both gone. HRN is now in the position that Absolute Monarchy had, and you can see KSC. Zach is trying to get some damages from the outskirts, as is Stay Naughty. I mean, what happened in the amount of time that it took NRG to take out Sheesh? We lost TSM and Absolute Monarchy.
Yeah, we'll have to see if any replay exists there just from the obs, exactly what went down there. But we saw a little bit of, like, we saw Snipedown trying to head poke. We saw Hal trying to climb up on this circular building and taking a little bit of damage, was forced to reset. In the end, both of them are wiped, though, because, like you said, Glitter, HRN being that third party in there, bringing us to just 15 squads left here in match number 12.
That is going to be huge as far as NRG being able to maintain that lead, because TSM was the closest one. They had just cut it down after our last match and were doing really well for themselves, and now they're taken out of the running really early, jumping up over Sentinels, who is able to start finding an engagement here, and they come out on top against Vibes so far. But Retzi does have to leave as soon as the bombardment comes in. I don't even know if he's going to be able to get those banners there, so Voltic might have actually just saved the day.
Yeah, Voltic able to, in the feed, to get that last one on Crust in the end, and Retzi's forced to get out of dodge. A tough situation for Sentinels. It's a team we also have covered at length, and right now in 14th. They had a very good start yesterday, and keep in mind they were right around top 6 after those first few matches, but the success has not continued for them, and they will need quite a run if they want to get out of that 14th place spot.
Is he thinking about going for it? Is Retzi going to go for the banners right now?
Certainly looks like he is considering it. We'll have to see how he might try to play this one, and MST still going to continue holding right around Epicenter and might have something to say about that if the attempt is made.
I mean, it's going to be really, really rough to try to survive a... Wait.
The creep cam.
Is this...
The creep cam. Octane, not generally known as a tiptoer. He's not generally a tiptoer, let me tell you. But now we're going to go ahead and see how he might be able to play this one. Just tiptoeing around is Retzi. And knows that an MST is not too far away. And MST also knows that there might be a temptation to go for those banners. So they're going to continue holding there. And Retzi's going to have to tiptoe the other way now and think about how he might want to make a much longer rotation around here. Like we said, Sentinels just doing whatever they can to put points on the board. But Glitter, we caught it earlier, and just the fact that you did have that exit from TSM over that circular building, they were able to hold low, but not for that long. But Complexity and NRG is the battle that we are now thinking about focusing on, because Shiny and Mon with some great angles here from the north, forcing NRG even further into survey camp. Reptar is going to be throwing down some shots as well, and have to wonder exactly what's going on there at survey and just what the shield situation might be for NRG as they're trying to now get cozied up into one of those survey trailers. And Reptar is actually going to do a little bit more pushing. Looks like he might be on the receiving end, so might have to just drop back. But NRG and Complexity, the battle that we're certainly keeping an eye on here. And now taking a look at NRG, able to get into the trailer, get shield back up and try to pop some white health as well before they decide to make their move out of survey. It looks like they're able to hang on for now.
Yeah, they do have some decent cover, but looking at where the next zone is going to pull right now, looks like KSZ is in the most favorable position, so they're going to be able to set themselves up nicely moving forward. You can see some shots trying to find NRG as they peek outside of the door. Complexity is going to do a nice job of just slowly wearing them down and forcing them to use a lot of their resources that they were probably hopefully trying to save for endgame there in case they have to be in one of those insanely chaotic situations once again. Complexity is also in a very nice position for themselves. They're set up well. They've got the height. They haven't had to expend too many resources, and they know who's around them because they haven't had to worry about their west flank too much, and the zone is about to be fully closed anyways.
Yeah, they're gonna be very happy with their positioning right here. Like you said, not worried about what threats might exist, knowing the lay of the land here, being able to play edge in this scenario and wondering where NRG might try to make a move to, and Reptar actually gonna just reset just a bit and head up towards that northern route for them and keep an eye on how they might want to play this as we take a look once again. Taking a look at CLG, also the likes of Season on your screen as well, a team we saw exit a few times early in the tournament so far. Farm Boys here as well, as also My Little Phony playing just under the silos as well.
Ooh, we see the EMP come out, and Farm Boys might be in a little bit of a rough position. All of them did lose their shields, but it looks like they're in the process of getting them back as we speak, so they are able to recover a little bit. Season right above them. Look, I mean, it could be Vibes, it could be Season. There are so many teams right around each other in Refinery right now that this is about to get dangerous. To see Phony on the edge trying to just kind of wait it out, see what those squads are going to decide to do. This might be the group right here that, as the next ring pushes in, starts to go down.
Certainly, yeah. And also, let's not forget, we also do have a few other squads still part of these battles as well. Of course, Abe's on your screen there. That's going to be Dude's Night Out. Just in the distance, not too far off, ready to hold on that height as well. So like you said, Glitter, waiting for which team is forced to make this first move. We'll have to see which bombardments might force the first bubbles to determine exactly how the dominoes will fall. But a team like Dude's Night Out going to be very happy with this height. CLG going to be the team that is holding the opposite side from them.
See, CLG, I think there's also some bottom 20 players on the screen. So we've got a lot of people ready. You can see off in the distance, Stomps is taking a little bit of damage for himself. Not 100% sure what's coming out, but you see the arc stars going off in the distance. People are trying to poke each other and get them down a little bit. I believe we heard a Beast of the Hunt go off somewhere from one of these Bloodhounds, and damage starts coming in on Sprinkles.
And yeah, they're going to need to be careful there, just because Phony knows that there is danger afoot just outside. They're also getting dinged from that eastern side as well. So now CLG looking at maybe an opportunity here. Lou not afraid to go in. Also Madness already in here, trying to get right into the bubble right away. And the scout actually comes out from the hip. Lou with some great damage there, able to hit all those shots. And also the wing pops out, gets some help from Madness as well. That is going to be bottom 20 that gets pushed on. CLG in top form there on that push, wasting no time to get into the bubble right away. And even Lou with the scout from the hip, hitting those shots so nicely. Now taking a look at My Little Phony once again. They know that Farm Boys are just below them here, so it's a battle beneath these silos on these two different levels, and Rembo wondering what he might be able to find just below, and they know they need to be very careful here. Bombardments are going to be coming down. This is going to force some bubbles here on your screen any moment as we see Fun just trying to get back in, maybe get a reset for him, as here come those bombardments that we were waiting for, and also a lot of cover for both of those two teams. Now up on height, it's going to be MST.
There were bombardments. There was an EMP. We saw players padding in from above, and I think that might have been Dude's Night Out checking back in with CLG as they've now switched their focus to all of that chaos across the way because they have a ton of cover and great angles on anyone that's trying to take any of those fights. So CLG is going to be able to do a lot of work right here.
Nice 3-on-1 damage there from Lewis. Is able to just get 50 there from distance, and it's going to be NRG who's also here on height. Those are the ones that are getting actually dinged from that side of CLG, but they're going to be able to just keep playing these angles on these silos. Make sure they don't take too much damage from the CLG side, and they should be good. So NRG proving everyone who's been saying that they can only play the Western zones, proving them wrong as they're able to get into this late game as well. That's going to be MST at now 8 squads left, and it's going to be NRG that's picking up each of those. NRG will also drop off of height momentarily, and now Gatekeep here on these stairs being able to put in so much damage there. Flatline is out for Sweet. He's going to stim right back out there. Bait and switch pings are coming down for which areas he wants to make sure that they're watching. Also, once again, Sweet just turning around once again. So much more damage. You know NRG's going based off of that damage, but Sweet goes down early, one of the first ones to go down. They will trade with Hill now. HRN part of that battle as well. It's going to be all up to Rocker as well as Nathan. Nathan will go down now. Rocker the only one alive for the NRG side. Farm Boys is actually going to be the one that swings around. NRG goes down in the end. Farm Boys is the one that cleans up that one. Eva 8 still out for Elusive Dream, but he goes down actually in the end. Some great shots coming in from the other side. Farm Boys just doing what they can. It's all up to Farmer Lucas as well as stomps from this low ground. Just like that, 7 squads left.
I don't even know how you followed that. I couldn't keep track of who was alive, who wasn't, which full squad went out, which one didn't. You see Pringle still alive for Phony as he's landing a ton of Eva shots. Ends up getting it down, but starts taking damage in return. You can see Complexity all the way out on the western side, just kind of watching all of this go down. They are in a solid position as Farm Boys are in the process of getting taken out themselves. We've got HRN, we've got CLG.
Yeah, should be Complexity maybe putting this push on KSZ. We'll see if they're going to get the opportunity to do so. But like you said, Complexity just very happy to be out here on the prowl. Pings going down, knowing that they're going to have KSZ, maybe not knowing that it is KSZ themselves just yet, but knowing that a team has just moved in there. Mon Pad goes down, probably going for the height here to be able to play this rooftop, and they're going to just hold this for a moment. Now be very happy to have that high ground advantage. Also see exactly how they want to be selective in terms of the targets that they choose. CLG still playing from low as well. Like you said, HRN still on that building as well. So taking a look at these 4 squads here at the top and bottom of these 2 buildings.
Complexity is in a nice spot for themselves. It's probably gonna, I guess, boil down to whether or not KSZ is going to try to go for them on their roof, or the teams across the way. See the bubble coming out of CLG as they decide to push in onto HRN. Urice gets the first knock, and CLG is going down so fast. Manus the last one alive with no shields and little health to his name, and HRN does take out CLG after that aggressive push.
But Complexity also flying in as well. They're not afraid to go clean up on the other building as well. They're going to pick up those. So just like that, it is going to be HRN and Complexity now. Arcan already flying across. Urice taking height now. Complexity is going to be forced to play from low. We'll see what Urice and Arcan can do together. Should be a straight 2v2 in this battle, if I'm not mistaken. Now taking a look here, HRN. Urice trying to do all the damage that he can. Yes, indeed, he takes down Shiny. So can Arcan and Urice together make this one happen? Octane comes through, and yes, HRN able to win it out, make the late game push on Complexity, and that was quite a wild end game scenario. What we saw in each of those buildings, each of the teams making the push. CLG making the push from low, Complexity making the push from height, and that only left HRN and Complexity to duke it out. HRN, they didn't waste any time. They didn't wait around, and they're able to fly in and take advantage of that. That first knock on Shiny gives them the 2v1, and they close it out. Great stuff there in the end of the game.
HRN needed that too, literally for their points, but just for their mental state in this tournament. That was such a strong performance. Urice was doing a great job for himself, dealing so much damage onto Shiny there at the end. So strong performance coming out of HRN. This is that fight that we saw that went on forever between TSM and Absolute Monarchy, where in the end it didn't matter because both squads went down.
Yeah, and actually what you saw was as they tried to bubble and climb, look at HRN, and it's great. Big shout out to our ops team for getting us a look at that as it was happening at the same time as the train yard battle, but able to see that right as TSM started to climb, they just were getting burned and also took a lot of damage from the top. In the end, like you said, HRN padded right in. They took advantage of that. Now here's that Complexity push once again as they're able to win that against KSZ. But look at this play from Urice with the Spitfire from the hip. My goodness, with that spray. Octane comes through the door. It's too late. HRN closes it out. Wow. Big stuff from Maurice. Glitter, we talked about it yesterday. If we look at this lobby, there's so much talent across this lobby, but if there's a player that you want in a clutch scenario there in late game when we're talking about all odds against him, no shields, having to just absolutely spray, that Maurice with a Spitfire is definitely something that you would want to have on your team. HRN able to close that out, and it's not only big for them, like you said, points-wise, but they're also in 12th, and it's a team that we had certainly in our teams to watch for top 5 contention. So now with that win, with this many games left, can HRN make a run to maybe be part of that top 6? We'll have to see. Hey everyone, welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. We're getting down to the home stretch. Bravo alongside Glitter Explosion covering the great action here, and in the end, HRN picks up a win here in the middle of the day.
Some snaps here. Snaps for HRN because that was a clean game. They're able to pick up 7 kills, 19 points themselves. But KSZ also doing very well with 8 kills. The kills a little bit more spread out this time around here, Andy. I mean, all the way down in 5th place, NRG, even with 7 to themselves.
Yeah, it's a great point, and we're used to seeing the top 3 teams in double-digit kills, which is quite a statement, and it tells you how these games have been going. They have been kill-heavy and lopsided, with teams starving other teams for points. This is one of the first games I can remember in our entire North American final where we did not have at least one team with 10 kills. That kill column looking a little bit light and also a little spread more evenly, as you said, and KSZ going to be pretty happy with that result, especially just because they find themselves earlier at quite a different spot in the tournament, the place they didn't expect to be, at 15th.
Yeah, Complexity also getting a nice 2nd place finish for themselves, so that's going to be a good boon to their points. But now we're looking at our overall leaderboard. NRG still holding on to a decent lead above TSM, since TSM did go out earlier than expected this time around. But Liquid has jumped up for themselves here, doing well. Sheesh still holding on because they're insane kills last time, Andy.
Absolutely, they're still holding on to that, and you can see just how dominant they've been in kills. Finally, Sheesh does get surpassed in kills, by the way, over the past few games by NRG. NRG will take that title, but TSM not too far behind either. NRG, though, once again, back to a 30-point lead, and that's a story we cannot forget. There's been a lot of shakeup around the middle of the leaderboard and some interesting developments, but we cannot forget NRG continues to keep that lead. Every time we see it brought to within about 20, they answer back again, or at least the lobby responds in such a way that they maintain something like a 30-point lead. So it will be NRG on top, TSM in 2nd with 119. Liquid and Sheesh in 3rd and 4th, and it's still very tight here between TSM and Counterlogic Gaming. With this many games left, certainly anything can happen from that 2nd to 5th, and the question is, Glitter, can make a run to threaten NRG?
You want to know what's crazy, Andy?
Tell me.
This is after game 12, right? So we're 12 games in. How many games were in semis?
12.
Exactly, right? Look at the scores of NRG and TSM. 149 points right now and 119 for TSM. In their semis, they were at 150 and 122 after 12 games.
And it was actually 120. It was 120. So they're each 1 point.
Right, 120 or 120.
They are each 1 point off of their semifinals trajectory, which amazing find and thing to point out by you. Great call that this has played out so identical, a 1 point difference, but in terms of actual score, identically in terms of NRG and TSM in that semifinal lobby number 1. Pretty remarkable stuff, and you have to also think that you might say, oh, zones are a big factor there. And actually, the zones played out pretty darn similar overall in terms of day 1 being all West, and then we had much more Eastern pulls. So very interesting that this has played out after 12. The question is, in these remaining games of the day, will we continue to see the same thing from NRG and TSM as we get ready? We're hearing that waiting on one team to get into this lobby, and then we'll get underway with match number 13. Lauren, the big questions for us here as we take a look, I would say Sheesh and CLG and Absolute Monarchy. What are those teams up to? It's a 26-point gap between the top and the bottom of that, but those are 3 teams that we have not been able to ignore because they've had an ebb and flow of pop-off performances through these past 2 days, and you have to wonder what's going to happen to them. Also, TSS still part of that conversation. Like we said, not the same day they had yesterday, but really between 4th and 7th, still a lot of questions to be asked and answered for those teams.
Yeah. And guys, don't forget the payout is top 5. So that's what these teams are really, really fighting for if they want to go home with a piece of that pie. Okay. So, I mean, right now, CLG is holding on to that 5th place position. Sheesh has slowed down a little bit here today. So will CLG be able to surpass them? I'm sorry. I am just so stuck right now after realizing those statistics of the consistency when it comes to NRG and TSM, because for BR, that's the one thing that we're going to harp on all the time, right? If you want to be successful, you have to be consistent, and they have literally almost identically mirrored their performances so far. That's insane.
It really is, and there has got to be a very, very low percentage if you take a look at a 12-game semifinal and then something like the first 12 games of a final, how often this has happened in Battle Royale history. Pretty wild. As we take a look here at HRN with that Lava City drop, we're starting things off with them because they bounced back with a very solid performance that in the end brought them up the leaderboard just a little bit. And the question will be, can HRN continue to string together performances? We'll have to see. They've had very long roads, very long routes in terms of end zones that they fly into. Haven't had the most luck, but after those games, we'll have to see if they can continue to climb their way up the leaderboard.
No, but I do want to give a lot of love to HRN in general as a team, because obviously we've hyped up Jurisa a lot because he's just a clutch god at this point. But I feel like as a unit, they just look and feel way more cohesive. They're working better together. They're moving as a squad. They're making better decisions and taking better engagements. So I think HRN just looks good today.
Absolutely. You might see on that team tracker, production team just flashing that up because it looks like Team Cruelty was not able to connect in this match. It sounds like maybe some connection issues happening there. We'll have to get official word from station admins on exactly what was happening, but you did see them load into earlier games with 2 players as well, and they were also that first team to exit that we hadn't yet tracked in the previous game, so that is why you will see this game start with 19 squads total. And here we go, taking a look at the poll. It's not too dissimilar, but it's not identical to the polls that we saw earlier. But still, overall, in terms of routes, going to be pretty similar to a lot of what we saw yesterday as things are going to close in on an area. And if we take a look between open space, Glitter, and Cliffside, the amount of playable space, really, it's all just Harvester that the teams are going to have an eye on. And those Harvester snakes are going to go so quickly. Of course, you already do have a team right there like Season able to just hold early on and going to have a pick of the litter of Harvester, but NRG, you have to think they're going to make their way across high ground and across bridge as fast as they can over to Harvester as well.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because, I mean, it's literally just staging and Harvester if you want some big cover, and obviously it's going to pull off of both eventually. It's going to go down, so there's going to be very limited space for people to utilize. It's going to be a lot of soft cover they're going to try to do their best with, and if you look, it's nothing really but chokes coming in, with the exception of where Sentinels are, and sorting and checking back in with them. Once again, going up against Doge Fathers, they decided they were going back for it.
Yeah, Doge Fathers back here at sorting. They're going to hold the southern tip as well, and Sentinel is going to try to hold a very similar angle. In terms of the overall layout of the battle, very similar to what we saw earlier. Senox trying to get an angle here on Euban as well, but Euban is actually able to get that full bat off, but not before. It looks like now down to 1 HP. Going to be a very difficult situation for him. Keep in mind, bottom 20 also playing on the low ground. They might try to join this party as well. That's something that we're going to keep an eye on, but Senox is forced to retreat just a little bit. Retzi able to get a little bit of height, trying to tag with the scout from distance. Those shots won't land, though, so going to reposition to try to get probably a rooftop there on that southern tip once again. Scan's going to go out here for Senox, trying to see what he can find, and now here comes Retzi off of the stim. Also, once again, coming right back into the action. He's able to help. Mastiff comes in. Force What will go down. Back to the scout. They're not done just yet. Going to try to wrap around the corner. Only one player alive there. Once again, wondering if bottom 20 might try to pop up. So far, hasn't been a factor in this battle just yet. Senox trying to get in on the action from the hip. It's the longbow there. They will clean up. They will win that battle. And it's Doge Fathers out. Sentinels standing strong here at the sorting factory.
They look like they finally adjusted here to having Doge Fathers contesting their drop, because in the first 2 games it wasn't as certain. They're looking a lot more confident now, but on the outskirts you can see Vibes is now here potentially looking to get in on some of this action.
And absolutely, we did also get an update there on Cruelty Team. Looks like it was going to be a no-show for them. They were in 20th place prior to these games, so maybe deciding to end their run here a bit early. But now, like I said, on this battle here, as we take a look, lots of action in the feed as well. That's actually going to be TSN also, and TSM in Season, and also even the likes of the Absolute Monarchy in Season in the feed. But now checking in with NRG on your screen. Like we said, Season actually will exit there, so they will be going down, and it's a team that we had been keeping a very close eye on as well, but not doing too well today so far throughout the day. Right now in 10th place, but they will have to sit match number 13 out as we stay on board with NRG.
It's going to be big for Absolute Monarchy, able to get some more kills. TSM finally able to find the players they were looking for, and that's going to be KSC that actually goes down. It's going to be rough.
Absolutely. Now you see Zach Mazer will be the one that is full wiped. And now looking at this NRG side as well. And TSM, that's where we expect them to be, playing along this Harvester angle there. But Stay Naughty somehow still alive in the top and in a very dangerous place. I was going to say, it's a matter of time before we see his name in the feed. You do not want to be between TSM and NRG. Reps just giving a little bit of love taps here to Hal to get him inside. They're going to go ahead and get him back up. Now, NRG is going to have an option to play off of that Harvester height if they want. I don't know how TSM manages to fight through all of that and then still get the tip of the snake that they probably wanted, period. This is one of the fastest areas of Harvester that will go, and they're going to be able to hold this northwestern snake. They're going to be very happy with that, and they also pick up a few KP along the way. 16 squads left.
That snipe onto Hal actually came out of Absolute Monarchy. We can see them now that we're pulled out, that they are the squad that is next in line for this engagement. Snipe down, able to put a lot of damage out with this Spitfire. But Absolute Monarchy looking so much more confident today.
Yeah, absolutely. They are looking good. Keep in mind, 8th place in their semifinal. So a team that had to work hard to get into this final, but showing up in a big way. They want to perform as well. Like we said, Absolute Monarchy, a team that has shown up, and they're now in 6th place. So this last run for them will be very important. TSM just going to hold, and how many times have we seen TSM holding this part of Harvester? They'll know exactly how they want to play this, and it will be a little bit of a slow burn from them as they look to see what opportunities might present themselves throughout this game. I'm just going to share a little bit of the goods as well. We'll take a look around the rest of the map to see exactly how everyone else's routes are moving into this central part of the map. Complexity on that late rotation. Once again, that's what you expect to see. TSS coming late out of Geyser as well, and also Liquid still kind of looting around Springs End, that north thermal choke, and they'll get in. But CLG also on the edge and going to be gatekeep there. We could see a Liquid CLG battle developing here in just a moment.
And that will actually be pretty big for whichever team comes out on top, considering where they currently are in our leaderboards. So, I mean, that's 3rd and 5th place respectively. So they're both still fighting for some more money right now. Going down early would be less than desirable for one of those crews. You can see Dude's Night Out also on the western edge of that zone, checking in with Team Liquid now.
Yeah, look at this now. Nocturnal able to hit one of those triple take shots at least. Just going to go ahead, receives some damage as well, so he'll pop back. And like we said, Liquid going to be very happy with this height that they have been able to hold here. We'll have to see how long they're able to do it, but for right now, they're going to be happy to gatekeep here. Some decent shots coming in, and Aberlily able to also engage with the scout as well from distance. And this is an area that we saw actually late game yesterday, NRG holding and closing out that late game finish, if you recall, as a squad of 2, getting one of their many wins of the day and of our North American final. It's CLG inside staging there. They need to be very careful with how they play this and determine exactly how they want to maybe take this route out. Albert Lately getting a little bit curious here and actually going to push up just a little bit to see what kind of pokes he might be able to get.
This, I mean, he might be able to deal a little bit of damage, at least very, very bare minimum, acquire some information for Liquid so that they know if they want to make this push up onto CLG. And as I say that, he is chipping away at Lou's shield since they know they're there now. So they have to decide if they want to fully take this fight or just continue to deal a little bit of poke damage. Yeah, let's not forget, we should remind everyone, Liquid right now in 3rd place and CLG in 5th place. So this is definitely a big battle in terms of how this might impact this last late game stretch. Excuse me, these last few games, and taking an eye and just maybe not aware also of this player here just around the corner as well. This could get interesting with bottom 20. We were wondering, but scans are going down, which will give teams information about them, and that's going to spell disaster here on the side of bottom 20. Vayne is taking a whole lot of damage, but actually it's Crust is the first one to go down. Retsy goes down as well, and that should be Sentinels in a whole world of hurt. Crust and Retsy down there in that battle. Now taking a look around the corner to see what might
present itself. But look at bottom 20 just sneaky along these pills and crates.
They end up getting the kill on Turretzi. Bottom 20 not afraid to take both those players out. Xenox is trying to escape with just the tiniest shred of hope to try and get some points for his team. He might be ballooning to try and get those banners, which would be kind of risky, but I mean, what else does he really have to lose at this point? People do see him on the balloon and start dealing a little bit of damage to him. He's trying to scout, see if anyone is in this general vicinity, still taking damage from behind, no shields whatsoever. Gets onto the roof safely and needs to decide what to do from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just gets away there through that balloon effort and is able to get a quick scan off to know that he can at least take a breath for a second. Is able to also heal back up, and 40 seconds on those banners will have to make a tough call. And guess what? Bottom 20 keeping a very close eye on that southern tip of Harvester, making sure that no one might try to make any moves for those banners. Ooh. We're also taking a look here at low. Farm Boys is actually going to be holding the low snake just below Trax, and then top Trax is going to be held by TSS.
I wouldn't be surprised if TSS decides to drop down on top of them, but you do see that Watson is very, very low, needs to replenish his health and his shield, and only has a white shield, so it's less than a desirable situation. However, if they do win the fight, they could end up with a lot of loot. Now Complexity making a push onto TSS, caught them out, and instantly wipes them out.
And look at that. Right away, you're going to see his Watson, that's the Horizon, gets taken down. They are now going to be down to a squad of 2, and you saw on your screen there Complexity pushing, and Monsoon is not afraid to take your portal. You better believe it. He is going to just stim right out of it and continue W King, trying to see what he might be able to find. Great damage coming out of the 99 right away. Not 1, but 2. And with those openers, you should think that that will give them the opportunity, but I believe it's bottom 20 that's still holding that distance there, so they do need to be careful from that angle. They won't be able to push just yet, and it's actually going to be Sun that drops down. How hungry is Monsoon? Will he try to finish that one on TSS? Oh, he wants it. Monsoon wants it. So does Reptar. They're going to drop right away. Sung just gets the bubble off in time, and bottom 20 now pushing on top Tracks as well. This is going to cause a little bit of chaos. Complexity knows they need to push in bubble right away. They will bubble themselves. They'll win that bubble fight and now hold down, as bottom 20 is going to have hide on them. But let's not forget all the way in the distance as well that we do have bottom 20 just trying to hold right there. We'll see exactly what they might be able to do. My Little Phony and Sheesh are the ones on the other side of that cliff, so keeping an eye here on Complexity on Tracks. Bottom 20 actually goes all the way back in the end. So Complexity grabbing that KP, and it looks like they might have a reset opportunity. But Complexity kind of, if they're moving this direction here a little bit closer to tree, it looks like they're interested in this bottom 20 battle. They're not even trying to nope up back up to the Tracks or towards Harvester. They're going in right away. They're going to try to find this battle, take a long flank here as Reptar and Monsoon. Monsoon going way wide here. Scans are coming in, so we'll need to be a little bit careful. But let's see the angles that Complexity takes here.
I like this aggression out of Complexity. I think it's something they need to do if they want to make a push today here on the leaderboard, so this is definitely the right call. We also saw Farm Boys. They were down there in that snake building below Tracks like you had said, but they ended up rotating anything to do with that engagement. They got themselves a safer position inside of Harvester, as we see Monsoon trying to peek, see if he can get any angles on bottom 20. They did do a couple arc stars, tried to get some throwables out onto them. None of them hit, so they backed off for a second. Now they're deciding to take a little bit safer route, even wider here. Going to use a jump pad to help them get through the zone nice and quick. Gotta do it. They gotta do it.
Yep, they're going to fly through. I was wondering about just how wide Monsoon was going. I actually saw Reptar get just a little bit melted in that moment, and it looks like they had to reset just a bit. So like you said, they're just going to pad through, get through zone, take an even wider rotation here. Take a look at Sheesh here, just holding station for the time being, and also just getting rid of all the pesky pads that are around, and nothing like a massive. But take a look at what is developing on your screen. They see the push coming in. Timmy is ready. Spitfire is out. Arcs out as well. They're ready for this push. 44 from distance with the Mastiff, just trying to door peek just a little bit, and is also going to heal up on the door. It's also going to be a Hemlock Havoc here for a prize. Maybe not the best combination he'd like for this battle, but Wig also taking a look from this low angle as well. It's going to be Complexity that has to make that push if they want to continue on that rotation, but actually it looks like they might just nope out of this instead. They do not want to have to fight that if they don't need to against Sheesh at the station.
I'm surprised by that, because as they were making that rotate through, Timmy was trying to clear those jump pads out. They should have been able to hear those shots and kind of known that there was potentially a squad at least in the general vicinity, unless the timing was that far off. But they're going to be rotating back to where they came from, back into bottom 20, who seems to just be holding the same exact area where Complexity last saw them. So now at this point, it's Complexity's decision, it looks like, to try and push through bottom 20.
And let's not forget, this is big for Complexity because there's enough games left. Complexity down in 16th. And with the amount of talent on this team, you have to think Complexity is here to play the rest of the day strong. Here they go right now on the push. Bottom 20 already getting the opening damage there. Reptar losing half shields, needs to be very careful. Monsoon already stimming, holding forward, ready to try to look for those angles there. That's going to be a bombardment. Where is that dome going to go for Shiny? Actually going to retreat. Not going to force the bubble just yet. Like that play. Do not need to spend it. That was not the place nor the time to spend that bubble. So instead, Monsoon's just going to get crafty with an angle and let the whole team wrap behind him. They will take the low tracks route and look for this. Keep in mind, bubble's still available for them should they get the right opening damage. Now here's bottom 20 just trying to door peek just a little bit here. 301, excuse me, fence peek rather, from Vayne as he's able to try to get some shots through the chain link here, just continuing to play this upper high ground area. Going to have a lot of opportunities to peek, and Complexity really have to be careful. Now, finally, that dome will be forced. You have to think heads up play there from Shiny and crew to not spend it earlier. Otherwise, that could have spelled disaster. They knew they could get out of that one. Farm Boy is still on your screen as well, and Complexity having to decide how they want to get out of this, but they're getting tagged up from that tip of Harvester. So they will pad out, try to get in. This Monsoon gets dropped all the way down. They already lose Shiny, and now Reptar flies in as well. Looks like, remember, they just spent that dome, so this could be dangerous. Bottom 20 now also trying to make the push in against Farm Boys, who is trying to engage from low, but will that allow enough time for Complexity to reset here? Looks like they will get back up for the moment, but also even Xenox becoming a problem here from Complexity as well.
I saw that coming. I saw Farm Boy starting to peek the door of the area that they've been holding now for a little while on Harvester. Luckily, when Complexity made that push and they were able to get into a little bit of cover, it forced bottom 20 and Farm Boys to focus on each other instead of really focusing down Complexity. So they were able to heal back up, get the res on, I think, Shine with whoever got knocked.
It was Shiny,
now they're back. Yeah, they're back in a full 3 position. Liquid jumping on board with them as we see Nocturnal still with the triple take, able to give some damage. Alberlelli is all the way pushed up, though, trying to get some throwables in through that doorway.
And Nocturnal all the way back here, just hoping that he's able to connect in a meaningful way to help his team that's already pushed up. Alberlelli will go down there, 3v1 on the doorway, not where he wanted to be. That's going to force Flanker out. Quick scan goes out, Beast of the Hunt as well. Going to go right back in, actually, and see what he might be able to find. Eva 8 is out, only taps for 15, though, so will instead have to go hide. Hits the scan again, but right away the angle does come out. He will go down. That's going to be in the feed. Sweet actually doing some damage there, and NRG will continue holding. Lots of carnage, though, in that feed. That's going to be Complexity against bottom 20 still happening. Keeping an eye on that as well, and NRG now outside of the building, very happy to clean up those kills. That will be Liquid out there. NRG holds very strong.
Yeah, NRG did a really good job with that. We did jump on board for a second with Complexity in that divot, also in an engagement themselves. You can see it above and there in the corner of your screen as NRG does finish healing themselves back up. And we see the pings coming out. They want to rotate in towards the edge of the zone, but they also do know that there is a squad right above them on the tracks.
I'm pretty sure we just saw Complexity take out bottom 20 in the end, and then Farm Boys also going down there in the end. We'll have to see, or excuse me, taking down Complexity in the end. So we'll get an update on that as well to see exactly what might have happened off screen. Just like that, NRG continuing to hold with 12 squads left here in match number 13, and looking to see how they might be able to make this rotation a little bit over towards Harvester. That bombardment just a little bit out of range, but take a look at this. Dude's Night Out is going to have to try to fly right in. Bubble goes down for NRG as well, but they can bubble, doing so well to peek there, taking down one player of Dude's Night Out. You have to think they're going to win the battle against Rollers as well, and the third player is forced low. That means CLG will be able to get some picks as well, but just like that, NRG in a world of hurt, just up to Sweet. NRG out there with 10 squads left. They will exit much earlier just due to being in that fray. Now taking a look at My Little Phony, who was able to capitalize, swing in, and take down NRG, and TSM continuing to play edge here.
Now TSM has had a really, really strong position this entire time, and while that's all been going down, you can see they don't have too much damage. They haven't had to get into too many engagements, but NRG going out might be yet another opportunity for TSM to capitalize, get some solid placement points, bare minimum, as well as clean up a lot of the rest of these squads and start to play catch up here for the second half of the day.
And like we said, we know TSM, as soon as they're holding this Snake and Harvester, this is the comfortable spot for them. They know exactly how they want to play this, and since then, been doing very well. We have not seen a ton of KP on the board across there. Look at these nades from distance, though. Reps opening up with that flatline damage, then able to arc and frag from distance to get a good bunch of damage, but also take a look at that rooftop as well, still engaging. So TSM going to be very happy to just hold this. Keep in mind, if you're just joining us, TSM still in second place, and they're behind NRG going into this game by 30 points. It's a big delta. They need the points on the board, and NRG has already exited at top 10. A big opportunity there. CLG thinking about coming off of this height, though, down to maybe challenge TSM. That's the battle I'm certainly keeping an eye on, and TSM knows they're going to have to swing off of that harvester tip and go back to look at that height that they're so used to playing themselves. Actually, it's going to be a TP opportunity here for CLG, maybe noping out of that and getting up to the height, but Lou taking so much damage. Bubbles just in time to be able to get some heals off, and they actually go around TSM. They did not want to play off of that height. Instead, they wanted to get in even earlier and take a look now. Actually, padding is TSM to get into that mix as well. Double bombardments happening on your screen here. Bubbles are going to have to go down. Absolute Monarchy still holding on height as well. Some nice Mastiff play coming out of B Borton. Gets into the bubble. No, just in time does not. Sleepy Panda now going to try to fight, do whatever he can to stay alive here. Actually gets on the pick up another kill there on Dupe. That's going to be Dupe's night out in trouble. TSM somehow still alive here and able to reset on the rooftop. TSM timing it perfectly.
See in the kill feed, MST is also able to start getting some damage down onto CLG. That's going to be huge for them. More damage coming out of Hal with the Spitfire, able to crack shields before the player makes his way inside of Harvester, but is not going to let him get away like that. Another kill goes on to TSM, checking in with MST now, who does have a player knocked, but they're probably going to be able to get this res onto the Octane and reset a little bit here.
Yeah, Panda's going to come up there. MST and TSM, same letters, but very different elevation between these two teams. And right now in this late game, 4 squads left total. TSM going to be so happy with the way that rotation went. But HRN here also knows that they need to be very careful in how they play this end game as well. Right now, playing along the edge, trying to see what kind of damage might present itself for them. Spitfire Mastiff in the hands of Uriz.
All right, look, this is the reset time. This is where all the squads reassess what they've got going on, who's near who. You can see Phony here down at the bottom. Uriz is trying to scout a little bit for HRN. We've got MST still holding on with TSM above them. It looks like Phony spotted out Uriz. They want to see if they can get some damage down. Also looking at Hill, who looks like he doesn't have any shields right now. So this is going to
he's
be...
good.
Okay,
just about. He's good. I was nervous too. Don't worry. They're holding there, like you said. Definitely HRN with the widest split right now, covering the widest ground. Uriz covering and playing from that height. That rock's going to give them the angle right now on My Little Phony. And TSM going to be very happy with the area that they're holding here. It's going to be really their call on exactly how they want to engage. And actually, My Little Phony making the run for the MST door, and Rambo going to be in a world of hurt as well. That's only one player left. Does HRN make that push, knowing that TSM has height? You have to think that the answer is no, that they won't go just yet. And Rambo's actually going to just get away. And actually, TSM is going to make the drop there on Rambo. And Hal goes down to Rambo, but still sniped down, and reps now need to work together on height. That's going to be a 3v2 now, though, for HRN over TSM. So barrels are going to go down for RKN as well. Let's see. They know, of course, that information is going to be true. Reps actually drops for Hal right away. They get him back in. That means they're going to be able to pad right back up. TSM right back in at a perfect reset for TSM. HRN does not go for that play. Bombardments are going to be going down here against HRN, and now MST going to still be playing low. HRN going to have to move just a little bit here, probably play that pill for just a second. Dome is forced as well. Here's the question. Who comes out of that doorway first in between MST and TSM? Bubble does go down, so MST can play that. TSM has to drop into that bubble. HRN will very patiently and happily wait outside. TSM picking up those first few kills against MST, and just like that, we should go down to 2 squads. HRN should be able to close this game out without a doubt, as they're the third party in. And yes, indeed, HRN is the champion. We said they were playing the widest ground there towards the end of the game, and you saw it all just piece together for them. Able to get some really good damage, allow MST and TSM to get into that battle. And as soon as you saw that first bubble go down for MST, you knew that TSM was going to be forced into it. And even though we saw HRN bubbling earlier, we knew that they were going to be the third team in. HRN plays it textbook, and they're going to be pretty happy with that, Lauren, especially because they were in 9th place coming into that game.
Absolutely. I was surprised when I didn't see any throwables coming out of HRN with the angle onto Hal, and they allowed reps to get him back up. But in the end, it does work out for them, as both MST and TSM were forced out of the positions because the ring was closing in on them, and they still played it perfectly. We can see here, this was that fight with Liquid and NRG, who did a good job holding that one building until they had to come out of it. And then unfortunately, there were too many squads just ready with the third party to for NRG to survive here. But this this was yet another strong performance for TSM. If they were able, especially if they're able to get a good amount of kills up on the board here, Andy, they might continue chipping away at that lead.
It was a great move. Look at this rotation too from TSM. They let all of this hectic action go down just on that tip of Harvester. They were the last to rotate. They claimed the roof, like we said, while everyone else was in absolute horrible situations in terms of armor. They just were able to hold up on this rooftop and play such a good game. Look at Reps able to get Hal right back in. Watch how fast, also able to go down. Pat is up right away, and you're going to see Hal and Reps come right back up to be able to get as much as they could into that fight, because keep in mind, as we looked at the kill feed just for the last second, they were able to pick up a few more KP, of course, on the MST side, and in the end, it's going to be HRN that's very happy to close that. Yeah.
Did you see their health at the end there? No one had touched them.
No, they played their bubble perfectly. They timed the MST TSM battle, and they're going to be so happy with that. But as you alluded to, the question is, TSM into the late game once again. NRG exiting top 10. What will that 30-point gap look like? That is the question. We'll be right back with an updated leaderboard and getting ready for that next match. Don't go anywhere. Hey, welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. We have so many games down and just 3 more to go here, and it's been an absolute battle. And I think we're very curious here, Lauren, of what the standings will look like and what the stats out of that last game look like. Let's take a look right away, because we want to know how that game went down. This is your scoreboard for match 13 here. HRN is able to grab first place and 7 kills. Once again, the kills a little bit more spread out through this lobby, Glitter.
They are, which is nice to see, but I'm really impressed with TSM, because I wasn't sure. We didn't check in with them too frequently, so I wasn't sure how many kills they were able to secure, considering they did find their position really early on and were able to hold it so solidly. But 7 kills matching HRN's kills is huge for TSM. MST being much more aggressive. We saw them do that in the second half of yesterday as well. So MST's really starting to pick it up for themselves. My Little Phony and Absolute Monarchy, 5 kills apiece. We're seeing them step it up. Now, this is where we're paying attention. CLG got some more points than Liquid, so how is it going to play out? The gap, Andy!
Look at this.
Way better!
Way better. 21 points now, slowly chipping away. 154 to 133, and a little bit more of a gap between TSM and Liquid as well. Liquid all the way at 111, and they will continue to be very close with Sheesh and CLG, 111, 107, 105 apiece respectively between those 3 squads. But it continues to be, after 13 games, a battle between NRG and TSM. Now, that's not to say with 3 games remaining, we could still see a run from the likes of Liquid, Sheesh, and CLG. We'll need a very specific set of circumstances for the last few games, but all eyes right now are on the likes of NRG and TSM, your number 1 and 2 leaders after 13 games.
Yeah, and honestly, with how close the kills are between NRG and TSM, it's really just boiling down to the fact that NRG's been more consistent with their placement points as well. So let's see how these few remaining games go. But also, I'm now really keeping an eye on Sheesh and CLG with only that 2-point spread between them. CLG has been doing a very good job of chipping away at that today. We've seen them be way more aggressive, and they are positioned right now to jump up another spot in our overall leaderboards, which means more money.
It does mean more money, and also means a lot more excitement for us in these final few games as we drop in to our next match here. Also got a shout out to HRN once again. That brings them into 7th after most of the day spent on the right side of the leaderboard yesterday. So we're looking to see what this HRN squad can do. It was one of our top teams to watch, definitely with top 5 potential and even greater. So they will head back down to Lava City, and we'll see what they can do throughout this game. And on the topic of zones, Glitter, we've had a little bit more variety here, certainly. We got to give credit to the ring algorithm where credit is due in terms of a little bit of Eastern pulls, as well as things like a South Central pull that we saw earlier as well. That's more variety in terms of overall gameplay today, and certainly been a little bit of a factor, but it has not changed the fact that NRG is on top of the leaderboards. But why don't we just see what's going on at Sword and Factory, because we already know that Dude's Night Out and Sentinels are be going at it. Excuse me, Doge Fathers and Sentinels.
Again, Doge Fathers and Sentinels have just decided that if someone's going to get the area, it's going to be through blood, sweat, and tears, because no one's giving it up easily. I'm surprised that they haven't switched. I mean, we're towards the end of the day, so I guess, you know, what's the point now? They might as well just keep doing it and see who comes out on top. it feels like though that Sentinels has figured out a good rhythm for this this 1v1 situation, and they don't look concerned about it anymore. They obviously struggled in the first couple games against it, but they figured out how to defeat Doge Fathers. And we did see a few
Here we go.
Okay. Well, okay, you know what, Andy?
We can't
who do you think's gonna win?
We can't say we haven't seen it before, but we haven't seen it in a little while. So we are heading to the Northwest once again. And man, we got a little Obs glitch there. We wanted to see exactly what Obs is thinking about saying something. And it looks like I saw a little bit of a hee coming through, but here we are now going to the Northwest once again. It is going to be the area of Countdown, Trials, Skyhook West, and North Fisher all coming into play here. And we already know that the likes of CLG, Liquid, and Phony, as well as MST, all teams that are going to be vying for this land, and teams are already trying to get outside Trials Tower if they can. Take a look at this MST going right away up there. They're going to be meeting a Team Liquid, so they're going to try to get in maybe right away and instead just scoot around and see what they might be able to find. Now, Liquid's going to come out of Trials pretty darn looted, and they're going to be happy about that.
Yeah, we also saw that NRG was aggressively rotating all the way up already, and they were coming up behind My Little Phony, so there's potential for there to be an engagement there as well. Albrelelli going up top. I wonder if Liquid's just going to choose to hold the high ground and look down on everybody as they rotate through. They are in position to do so right now, but now we're checking in with CLG, and I swear, I don't know why, and I don't want to jinx it, but they've been looking so good. They're in a very good position right now to do well in this game.
You might have jinxed it just now, Glitter, but we'll have to see some shots connecting there from the scout of Vaxilon, but takes some big damage there, so actually forced a Phoenix all the way down from that blast from distance, and just going to reset a bit here. CLG, of course, with that Skyhook drop means they're going to be able to hold the westernmost buildings and keep an eye on the likes of Liquid, who's going to be holding top Trials. Now, we also do see Absolute Monarchy in the distance coming up all the way from Fisher. We've seen them actually with a train yard drop throughout the second half of yesterday, so that tells us why they were able to get through Fisher just so fast. But back to the point you were making, Glitter, Liquid almost certainly going to be very happy to hold top Trials and make sure that they're able to get any poke opportunities, any gatekeep opportunities. But keep in mind, Liquid in third right now. They are a team that wants to string together in these final 3 games some very good performances in order to even place even better than third place here. It will require quite a bit of points for them to do so, but Sheesh is just biting at their heels, only 4 points away from them.
MST rotating into Trials, seeing if they could maybe get any of the scraps of the leftover loot from when Liquid came on through here. Gonna clear this and then move outside and hopefully not linger in here too long. MST, though, we were talking about it, they've picked up their aggression. They look much better today. I don't know if they're a second half of the day team or what, because they did so much better in the second half of yesterday as well. So maybe they just take a little bit longer to warm up than some of these other teams. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they certainly stepped it up without a doubt. Also a second place coming in for them. Keep in mind, last game as well. And they're in 12th right now. So let's keep in mind, with this many games left, still 3 to play, a series of performances could catapult them up the leaderboard. And that goes really to say anyone within, if you take a look at the overall points, anyone truly within even that top 15 can have a very different placing at the end of the day, even if it's just for bragging rights. And we're also going to see Zach and crew all the way up at North. We've seen them play those tracks as well, as they're able to loot through just in the back pills that are all the way towards the top of the map. And CLG going to continue holding as well for now. But take a look at TSM now in TSS here in Survey Camp, getting into a little bit of engagement here. We'll have to see who comes out of this. Once again, neither team probably expecting this at Survey, but TSM actually going to be holding Survey Height. So maybe if they get that right opening, will be an opportunity for them to make that push. And here goes Snipe Down right away. Hal not far behind.
They are trying to hunt down TSS, see if they can get an early game engagement, get a few kills up on the board for them. They do find Sung and instantly deal some damage. Sung only has a white armor, as does Blur. This is going to be a little bit rough for them, as you see the rest of TSM pushing up. Snipe Down able to get a crack his own armor, needing to be healed, so he's going to bat while the rest of his team fights out. He gets pushed and is able to get the knock before he himself goes down.
Ooh, Hal goes down, though, to his Watson there, so that Horizon should still be alive somewhere. Reps right now trying to find out Going to work with Snipe Down to find out where that horizon might be, but big damage coming in. Needs to be careful because look at this. Farm Boys wants to take advantage of the opportunity. They have flown in now. They're going to take down Snipe Down there as long as the ops speed is true, and it's going to be up to Reps on height. He is going to slide right out of there, wants nothing to do with that battle, and we'll have to see if Farm Boys decides to pursue, wondering exactly where he might be. Ping's going down on the truck, wondering if he could be hiding along here. Looks like Reps did get away in the end based on those pings. Impulsive Dream is in the beast of the hunt, and he wants blood, but not able to find it. And TSM thinking they had that opportunity on TSS and very, very quickly finding out that that was a dangerous place. And Complexity also wants to know what's going on as well, because this is generally their territory and where they can be found dropping. So they're going to see if they can find what's left of Farm Boys as well. Let's see what kind of opening damage they can get. And right away, Shiny is going to early bubble, see if they can play this one. Mastiff is ready to go as well. Going to avoid this bombardment once this does end. But nice little pokes there from Farm Boys, actually going to take the bubble that was dropped, but Stomps is the first one to go down. Reptar gets that one, which is big. Now it will be a 3v2 for the Complexity side. Can they get the next one as well? It's nice little 20-20 damage out of Reptar. Are you kidding me? Look at this guy able to pick up that one. Now it's going to be up to Monsoon and Shiny to come in here. That will be the Farm Boys going down, and now they're going to go over to height for just a second and take a look. TSM is back in the mix. It's going to be Hal and Reps trying to fight through on this one now, and take a look. Snipe Down is going to be finished. Can they pad out? Here goes Hal trying to hit the double, maybe into a balloon. No, skips the balloon and is just going to try to continue on towards the epicenter and stim right out. Absolute chaos, and you're hearing there from the ops that they're able to get that Snipe Down banner. As you can also see bottom left, and they'll be able to reset. Absolute chaos at Survey Camp early on in match number 14.
So I was watching Reps through all of that, and I was like, I wonder if he's going to sneak around and try to go for the res on Hal, because there was still a decent amount of time left for him to do so. And as soon as all that action popped off, I couldn't tell if it was going to scare him away or serve as a distraction so that no one was focusing on where he disappeared to. And in the end, it worked out incredibly well. He was able to get the res on Hal, and then they were allowed to leave. They allowed 2 TSM members to recover fully with a banner, and now they're going to get the res on Snipe Down. You see Complexity trying to hunt down his Watson, see if they can finish off the remaining member of TSS and get a point on their board for themselves. But the fact that TSM is allowed to reset is crazy.
And the fact that even you have his Watson, the Horizon, still alive all the way down at Central Epicenter, it's pretty wild. The fact that, I mean, Survey Camp, not a lot of playable area there, and the fact that TSS is able to get away with a solo, TSM comes away with 2 players and a banner, and now actually going to be respawning the teammates as well is his Watson, our lone Horizon in this North American lobby, trying to get Burr Flavors back into the action as well. So TSS trying to make a run. Let's not forget, TSS is a story that has slowly faded away down the leaderboard throughout the course of the weekend. You do see Hal able to get that res on Snipe Down as well, as he'll be coming in onto top construction. But the TSS story is one we have seen slowly slip down the leaderboard. They're in 8th place right now with 76, but really only about 8 points off of HRN, so they still have a long run as well. We really can't overstate just how important the points are now that we're this late on. You also do see Vibes still down at staging. They're going to make a long rotation. Frag West is where TSM ended up after all of that scurry. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, this should be the side, if I'm not, yes, coming all the way up to top from the bottom. That is actually going to be the Doge Fathers making their late way up to Harvester as well. So that's what the outer extremities of the ring will look like here.
Do you see Sheesh anywhere? Am I blind? Well, I feel like they're somebody that we also need to just know where they are, because they are currently trying to fight to hold on to their consistently dwindling lead right now in our top 5 position. They started off the day in a oh, okay, all right. This is a little bit scary for them. There are so many teams around them. You got bottom 20 literally right next to them. Energy 1 building over.
And My Little Phony above them. So the building that they chose was a tiny one. So they're going to be holding here. But like you said, a very important game for Sheesh right now. Your 4th place team, only 4 points off of Liquid in 3rd. Taking a quick peek into the bathroom here, and a little bit of a celebratory crouching as we take a quick look. And it's going to be a prize here. Just getting a little spammy with that crouch. Just going to go ahead and sit and hold cover. Take a look at the machinery here. Not state of the art, I would say, for the Outlands, unfortunately. Not really the best looking. Maybe kind of public transit-y looking sink and toilet, but you know, they're going to play the ground they have, and they're able to do that. So now looking at Complexity actually making the skyhook maneuver across that open ground for just a second. Like we said, Complexity with a lot to play for here if they want to have a respectable performance. Right now, they have not lived up to their names and the amount of skill that we as Apex fans know that they possess. Not going to be happy so far with their 16th place, especially after coming off of some big performances in the quarters and the semis. Don't forget, Complexity was one of your teams that placed first in their semifinal number 2. Reptar with 30 kills in that semifinal. It's been a very different final for them, so we'll have to see how they play out here at Skyhook.
Kings going down from Complexity. They do spot out another squad. It looks like they are full sending as well, unafraid of anyone who might be in their path. Themselves going off for Monsoon, as he did take just a little bit of damage when he was making that push forward. But they're now in a much more solid position. Scans and Stims coming out to see if they can hunt down that squad that they did see just a little bit ago. Monsoon is just no fear right now, spotting out some of the players on the roof. Arc Stars do come out. We're going to see if any of those land as well as the jump pad and a... Oh, no.
Here they go. This is trademark Complexity aggression. Look at that right away. Mooney, that's going to be 5 that goes down. Can they get the second one? No, actually, the kill's going to be exchanged there on both sides because CLG's part of this one as well in the feed. And actually, CLG is able to get all those kills there. And you're actually going to see Complexity exit there. Sentinels wants to be part of this as well. They're going to fly up right away, try to pick up a few kills. And the kill feed looking absolutely nutty there as 2 players from CLG, Madness and Lou, at least going down as well. So that westernmost skyhook building being absolute carnage. Vaxilon not going to be able to get away either. Reps is going to be the one that gets that one in the end. TSM on all purple down on the low ground, and we'll see if they try to take that height as well to join Sentinels in there. But just like that, CLG and Complexity will exit after Complexity with that trademark aggression onto height. They were not aware that they were going to run into Vibes and CLG and Sentinels in that building. We talked about just how important that westernmost skyhook building would be in this type of circle.
That hurt. That hurt. It was going so well, and then everything just kind of exploded at the same time. Checking in on Energy, we did note earlier that they were in the area of Phony, of Sheesh. We see shots coming out from Rocker with the Spitfire as players are jump padding across his vision. Oh, that's going to be so easy for him to clean up. He knows that there's a team below him. There's teams everywhere right now. Bubble does come out as he takes a ton of damage, but is able to recover very quickly for himself.
And here's Sheesh. Maybe somehow Sheesh is going to come out on top of this, as they're going to have some nice little angles on that low ground team. You're going to see Wig and Timmy here just waiting to make sure that they can engage appropriately. And Ping's going to go down as well to try to push up to see what might be available for them, as they're going to see a team all the way towards that northwest side, continuing to push back where they were positioned on earlier. Now Timmy still holding W, and shot's going to be coming in. Needs to be careful, try to block the door if he can. And actually, it's going to be a prize that goes down. Bubble goes down right away. Unsurprisingly, we're going to see Wig maybe able to get the team up. Thermite goes down. They're going to have to win this from the bottom. Nice job with the team shot there on Onnu. That's going to be bottom 20 trying to make something happen. The bubble's going to protect them for just a moment, but Timmy and Wig need to desperately work together. Timmy just trying to avoid the burning, maybe playing a little bit of shield here. And Wig up top, definitely in danger, but he does get that bad off. Also a bombardment coming down here on that Fisher building as well. But dangerous scenes here. Also dangerous scenes for NRG, who joins this, because bottom 20 actually is going to take down Sweet and Rocker down as well. So Nathan down at the bottom. This could keep things very interesting. What's going to happen with that bombardment? Do we see this bat get off? It looks like yes, he will be able to get that off. It's all going to be up to him from the low ground. We're also still seeing the Doge Fathers fighting from low. Nathan just to the left side of your screen needs to determine how on earth he's going to play this situation.
I cannot believe that somehow in that process NRG took so much damage. Season now taking damage themselves from Dude's Night Out. Oh, this is just complete and utter chaos. We see the throwables coming out. Season has one of their players knocked, but they're going for the revive as we speak. Able to clean up that squad. They are avoiding the bombardment right now, but somehow make it out of there unscathed.
Yeah, we also just saw Doge Fathers in the feed, by the way, going down. So you do have bottom 20 now above Sheesh. So Sheesh able to reset in what was a pretty scary situation for them. Taking a look there, you do see, once again, Doge Fathers, Absolute Monarchy also being eliminated there. So we're going to continue to see battles and engagements coming in from the low side there, and it's going to look like Sheesh is going to continue to engage. Will bottom 20 try to get down on them will be the question. We'll have to see. This is a dangerous situation for both of them, but you have to think higher stakes for the like of Sheesh. Sheesh being in 4th place and bottom 20 right now being in 13th.
Okay. I was waiting to figure out Timmy's armor situation. I wasn't sure how loot poor they were, but it looks like they were just waiting to get him a BAP for some purple armor. Timmy's in a much better situation than he was a few seconds ago. And now it seems like they're looking out who's going to be ahead of them if they have to make this rotation.
That's got to be Nathan.
Yeah, it's got to be. I was going to say they just spotted out Nathan. There's no way he survives this. But he is able to at least go down swinging, knocking a prize who they will revive. But at least he made a statement.
He did right there, trying to hold on. But, man, NRG exiting once again. Not even top 10 in this game. But we'll get back to that because TSM trying to make the move right alongside the Trials Cliffs and clearly not going to be an easy one. It is all going to be up to Imperial Hal. He's already lost reps, sniped down as well, has gone down. So Hal now trying to figure out how he's going to play out of this one. Has shots coming in from height, has shots coming in from the Fisher side as well as we go over to Liquid. That's going to be reps that's going to go down in the end to the hands of Abroleli. Now taking a look, trying to get the finish here and maybe even see what he can loot up. Now Liquid, once again, how many times do we look at them at this stage of the game and they are looking so good in terms of loot and positioning. Take some damage though and able to port back up, and this is what you want to see from them. Glitter, you had asked, will we see them play the aggro, instead playing that aggro port to give themselves opportunity? Hal is still alive as you see next to that Liquid TP, but we'll have to see what happens here with bottom 20 now pushing in on Fun.
There's so much. I mean, you see his Watson just flying in TSS. You've got bottom 20 in there trying to do some damage for themselves. I mean, Blur manages to somehow make it out of that.
Oh boy.
TSM though, trying to get the banners, but Hal needs to hold off bottom 20 at this point. Oh,
and he also does not hit for the last shot, went in for it, but that will be it. TSM will be out now, so early exits, or earlier than we'd expect for both NRG and TSM, which certainly gives the rest of the lobby an opportunity to step up. Like we said, Liquid causing a whole lot of trouble for so many teams here. You're also going to see MST and Sentinel still here. Both players on Liquid are going to drop. They want to finish all the kills that might be down here. Yes, indeed. That's going to be his Watson as well as Blur Flavors. That means the last two players on a TSS will be exiting. Now looking at KSZ, trying to see what might be going on here at the Trials exit as well, just in time for that bubble to end, and they're going to pull back off of the door for just a second.
Oh, Liquid could totally wrap around on them, though, and I'm not sure if they know that they're there. Sentinels have been holding off the inside of Trials for a decent amount of time now, but Liquid is looking so strong. This is an area they're so comfortable with, and it's been working out in their favor so far. I love that they look so much less afraid today, and this was one of the teams that we were obviously watching because they're currently sitting in third place, so this is a huge performance for them.
Huge, and the fact that we already have NRG and TSM out of this game and we've been watching Liquid picking up that KP, it's a big opportunity for them right now. They're at 111 points, NRG at 154, TSM at 133. Liquid certainly the team with the biggest opportunity here as we check back on board with Sentinels.
Making sure they have all of their armor swaps ready to go in the event that they need to start making this push. The ring is closing in on them, and they know that there are multiple teams outside of this building. You can see Phony there. Throwables going down on them. The bubble does come out as they have to push in, afraid of the damage from that ring, and KSC instantly starts trying to put some damage out onto them. Liquid, however, focusing towards the Sentinel side of things as the defensive bombardments come down.
Yeah, gotta be careful. Look at this My Little Phony right now, ready to pick up all the kills that are coming in from here. It looks like no one going down just yet in that feed as we do take a look here. Spitfire damage not connecting as much as he'd like, but at the end, Rambo able to do some decent damage there from distance. So looking at Team Liquid, once again, they're able to get everyone back onto Red Evo, just playing this fence. Gotta watch out for these frags, but we'll have to see. Wondering also if Nock had spent the dome on that. You have to assume that he did, but we'll get that information as fast as we can. Now just going to be going ahead and sitting down, playing this extra cover as well. And now it's going to be a TP set and a Q for Aberlele as well as he jumps back up, getting ready to set that. Maybe even trying to go for a kidnap for a second. No, instead just goes back around the corner here. Going to take the TP right back instead and just able to hold it down just along this edge. And we've seen Liquid play this ground as well, Glitter. We saw it yesterday, how well they were able to capitalize in this exact same spot. But they're going to see Phony to the left here. Not sure if Nocturnal knew that they were that close, that they had pushed up already. So they're going to be forced to heal once again.
I'm so stressed right now. They need to pick a push, whether that's out to their left and they decide to go for Phony, or they wanted... That portal is gone, I believe, so they can't take the portal anymore. KSD's trying to wrap around and put the damage on Phony. If Zach can actually do that, it could be out for Liquid, and they can make the push out to their side.
Absolutely. Zach just holding there on that farthest west side, just seeing what he could do. Keep in mind, Liquid is engaging across to the west as well with the remaining members of the KSZ side, so that bubble's going to be spent. That's going to be an opportunity for Liquid to go right in right now. We'll see who gets the first knocks on each side. Looks like no one just yet. Still 4 squads remaining here as they're still trying to fight along these doors. Absolutely messy with no knocks going down just yet, but big damage coming in from up top. That's going to be Liquid out right away, just like that. Phony's able to push in. They pick up the first one. Now, what can KSZ do as we do have 3 teams left? They're playing the outside here. They should be able to pick up this last remaining one if they're able to do so. We will go down to our final 2 squads. KSZ still pushing in here, trying to see what might be left of the Phony side. They're trying desperately to swap as fast as they can. That means 2 squads left. KSZ is able to take down Phony. They should be able to take down the last member here, and KSZ is your champion in match number 16. They play the outer northwest side of that so well, and in the end, they close it out, making it look easy, Glitter.
It was just shoddy shot after shoddy shot at the end there. He's just running around, just evening everybody in the back. And I mean, KSC, that was the squad that we had mentioned, what we're talking yesterday, at the beginning of yesterday, and as one of the squads to look out for. And that was such a solid end game from them. They had spread out so they could get different angles. They knew exactly where every single squad was and how they wanted to push that, and they did so as a unit, and in the end are able to take down the win.
And how about this opening with the just TSS, TSM complexity? I mean, look at the 2020 out of Reptar as well. It was absolute carnage in survey, something we haven't really seen early game in the North American Finals so far. But then my did things get absolutely nasty at Fisher with teams getting stuck in situations they did not want to. Somehow TSS able to fight out, and TSM for that matter, able to fight out of that early survey, but Liquid popping in here. Here's exactly how this went down. Liquid holding just outside. How absolutely messy was that Sentinels Liquid battle? So Sentinels is able to come over the top on Liquid and wipe them out pretty quickly. In the end, though, it's KSZ who finds all of these teams desperately resetting and just trying to get whatever armor swaps they can, who then push in. It's Phony who was able to pick up a lot of those kills. They pick up that first one. They wipe out Phony, and then they find that last solo, the partial, to close out the game. But a really messy, shoddy bubble battle. It's kind of hard to say, shoddy bubble battle on the outside of the trials door. And there was so much peeking happening for what felt like at least 12 seconds, and with no knocks coming in. In the end, though, it was Sentinels that came over the top, though. So the biggest story of that one, though, was the fact that we had NRG and TSM exiting earlier than you might expect, and that's going to open up the floodgates for a team like Liquid, who is able to play into that Final Four. Yeah. The question is, where will things stand after that? The admins are tallying the scores right now. We can't wait to get you the scores. All of that and more coming up right after the break. Hey, welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring. We are getting down to the end of it. It's the North American Finals with only 2 matches to go. And Glitter, after that last match, the question is, how much liquidity is there? How many kills do we have for Team Liquid after that game? I want to know what the points are.
Well, we're going to find out right now. And it looks like, honestly, a little bit lower than I thought. I thought they got more than 5 kills. However, this is yet another game where it's because the kills are just so spread out amongst all of the teams. If you look, 5th through 7th have more kills than 1st through 4th individually, right? So that's insane. I don't think we've seen that yet.
We definitely have not seen. We've seen the kills to be spread across the rest of the lobby a little bit more, but we have not seen, like you said, 5th through 7th leading everyone in 1st through 4th, maybe throughout the entirety of the North American Final. And it's simply an uncommon occurrence in Apex, and I would even say BRs in general, to see a scoreboard like this one. So it's a great call out by you. Very different result than you might have expected, but let's go ahead and see how that impacts the overall, and it won't change the overall top 4. 155 for NRG. TSM existing just a little bit later. A late run from them brings them even closer at 142.
Just because it doesn't change it, though, TSM, even though they went out early, I think they only ended up with 3 placement points there. They had 5 or 6 kills. They were one of those teams that had the 6 kills somehow. So that chipped away at that lead massively. No longer are the days where NRG is in 1st place with 30+ points, because right now 1st place is well within TSM's grasp with 2 games left on the board.
Yeah, only 13 points away. It's wild. And then on the other side, you do see a 21-point gap between TSM and Team Liquid, and Sheesh still in 4th. Very close behind them is CLG in 5th. So that third, fourth, fifth battle still developing, and our number 1-2 battle as well still going on. Like you had just said, there have been many times throughout this tournament where NRG has been up by 30 points, sometimes even more than that. For it to just be a 13-point difference right now means anything can happen here, and we could also still see big runs from the likes of Liquid and Sheesh. So if there's one thing we wanted, it was a lot of Apex games. That's what we get. And also, it's not always the case in a 16-game set where as you get to the last two, it's going to be this close. Luckily in Europe, it certainly was, but we'll have to see how these last two games play out because it is still anyone's tournament in North America. Let's get ready for match number 15, our penultimate match. We'll start things off with the winners of the last one. It's KSZ.
And they had such a good play. They were just so smart there at the end. KSZ deserved that last win. They were so solid. So now it's going to see how do they continue that momentum? Are they going to steal some more of those points from the people at the top of our overall leaderboard? Because that is also playing a factor in why NRG is unable to, have a bigger lead. They ran into some of those teams over in the Fisher area that I think they probably weren't necessarily expecting. Big Pog Zone?
Big Pog Zone? What do we have here? And we're going straight east. It's a hard east pull, and it's actually going to be an overlook no-name Geyser pull. We saw this quite a bit in the first semifinal group, day number 2. We saw this played a few times, but right now we are pulling just north between those three, so you have to think that teams are going to be banking on overlook and no name over a Geyser pull here in terms of where they'll be setting up. But let's not forget that TSS does have that overlook drop, and already a battle though at Train, and not surprisingly it's going to be Doge Fathers, and I have to guess it's Absolute Monarchy on the other side of this one based on how they've been dropping so far.
Apparently Doge Fathers decided that it just, wasn't their day to continue going back to sorting against Sentinels because they switched it up and went to Train, but they find themselves yet again in a very early game engagement. Yeah,
Doge Fathers, one of the teams that's definitely been shaking up the early game, not afraid to do it right now on the bottom half of the leaderboard, but they're not going to go down without a fight as they're going to make this push right there. It's actually going to be B. Borton on your screen who's going to try to get away to see whatever he could do. But once again, like we said, Absolute Monarchy is that team that has been pushed already to the low ground, and Doge Fathers continuing to apply the pressure.
This is a little bit rough. You can see Sleepy Panda not only has no shields, but is also really low. Everyone's taken a little bit of damage, but hasn't really had an opportunity to even loot that much damage coming out the 30-30 of B. Borton as he does try to get the res here in the bubble. Looks like they're going to allow him to do so, but as I say, the damage comes out right around the corner.
It's all going to be depressing now, actually having to push from low, and not the scenario that the Doge Fathers expected themselves to be in, especially after their recent run. Speaking about the coin more so than the team, but now trying to get the shots, not able to do it, and in the end it is going to be Absolute Monarchy that maintains control of the train yard. This is the area they had been dropping for the majority of the NA Finals matches, but not too far away is MST coming in from the northern side of train yard. They want to know what this battle is all about as well, and they're also looking pretty good in terms of armor, so it's going to be Panders leading that on the Octane, trying to see what might be available and just putting in some early nice opening damage. That's going to give them the ticket to push in even further. They're also connecting on the rooftop as well.
And these are two squads that have been doing much better for themselves here today, unafraid of this aggression. We've got 6 up here with the high ground looking down on where they think Absolute Monarchy is rotating through. Will they follow them? We do see the bubble did come out in the tunnel, but is it worth this chase, or will they back off? It looks like Panders kind of wants this engagement.
As an Octane player, he's just going to keep stimming and keep pushing along, and we'll have to see what he may be able to find. And he's right now going to find an Absolute Monarchy team that's just on the exit side, southern tip of that mine pass now. Grenades are coming out as they try to get away. Breaks coming in though, and flesh damage going down as well. So Pander's still on gold. No reason not to keep the push going, but actually a drone EMP is going to come in, so he's going to be forced to sell right away. Both of those are going to hit though, thankfully, to the gold. It's a very quick heal up for him. Now also going to continue peeking 6 and Metro not very far away. They are not afraid to back down in this battle. Keep in mind MST still all the way in 14th, and they'd love to get more points on the board.
They are potentially rotating right into NRG. I don't know if this chase is worth it for MST6. Needs to heal his shields up. It looks like they're finally deciding they're going to back off of Absolute Monarchy. And literally, as I say that, we see them running into the clutches of NRG.
Yeah, NRG right here ready to put some damage down as well. Let's keep in mind, NRG with only a 13-point lead. We say only 13 because just in case you're just joining us, they've held on to what has been a 30-plus point lead many times throughout our North American final, but we've said that they cannot let up and they need to continue at the same pace. Right now, they're able to pick up those 2 kills there. That's actually going to be Absolute Monarchy, the team going down. So NRG, a team that's always ready to fly in when the opportunity presents itself. That will be Absolute Monarchy, Doge Fathers, and of course, as we mentioned, Team Cruelty no longer participating. So now, just like that, 17 squads left in the lobby.
You can see that Complexity has already found some space for themselves over in Overlook. We've got TSM trying to nail down some space. A lot of squads are trying to move in as quickly as possible. You see KSZ all the way down on the southeastern side in Geyser. It looks like Farm Boys have somehow made it out of there and not had to worry about it. I was worried that Farm Boys was going to find somebody over in Geyser.
Yeah. I have to say, I'm very worried, confused actually. Take a look if we could zoom in on Overlook. Really interesting lay of the land. Thank you so much to the ops team. Just because we saw Complexity get Overlook, the furthest eastern tip of Overlook. When TSS had that drop, TSS actually went to No Name instead, and then you actually have TSM that's going to be grabbing the plot of land that we saw Sentinels hold so many times in that semifinals, which really offers a lot of gatekeeping opportunity between all of Fragment and No Name all the way up into Overlook, and CLG now coming in finally from that epicenter rotation, taking their time all the way from their Skyhook drop. But really interesting lay of the land in terms of where each piece of cover and each piece of Overlook went. Not what you might expect based on the drop map and the fact that you have TSS with that drop, but also still chaos here at Train Yard. NRG actually coming up through Mine Pass up into Train. They will run into My Little Phonies. Let's see how NRG plays this. This would be a very disappointing early exit for NRG, and not surprisingly, they are just going to nope out of that because there's really no reason to take a straight 3v3 at this stage in our second to last game.
I wasn't sure if they were feeling the confidence and they were just gonna, go for it anyways. They decide to be a little bit more conservative now that they know their lead has kind of been shrunk down just a tad. They want to make sure that they have an opportunity to keep it the way that it has been the majority of this tournament. So they're smart, they're safe, and they back off here. Definitely, like you said, wouldn't have wanted to go down immediately coming out of my pass into Train. That would have been a little bit of a bummer. They're going to continue to get more loot for themselves, hanging out in Harvester. They have the time to do so right now. Plus, we've seen it now a few games. They felt very comfortable rotating in with the edge regardless, whereas a lot of these teams have found positions super early on in games. So I think this is going to work out just fine for NRG.
Absolutely. If you're just joining us, first of all, welcome along to the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. These are your final 2 games of the tournament. 14 played so far, games 15 and 16 here. All that remains, NRG right now in the lead with 155 points, 13 points behind them is TSM. A big battle between 1 and 2, but let's not forget also Team Liquid in 3rd and Sheesh in 4th. Still a lot of Apex to play here this evening. Once again, thanks for hanging out with us here on the GLL Apex Twitch. It's been an amazing North American final so far, and we'll see how the rest of these last 2 games go. Once again, we're glad to see an Eastern pull here for these teams. Now take a look at this.
Are CLG and Complexity about to get into it? There's also the possibility for NRG and Sheesh to run into each other over on the western side of things. Oh, this could be bad.
You have to think right now, Complexity just going to try to be happy. Mon's going to be happy just to hold this height. You're going to see the other two players. I think the reason you have Shiny and Reptar holding that back building is because you do not want to have that back building as vacant. But just as quickly as I say that, I think they are going to rotate back to silos here. So that's going to give them an opportunity just to hold. Keep in mind, Overlook does offer a lot of late game holds in terms of those buildings, the silos, playing low silo on the southernmost tip. There's going to be a lot of different places for them to play. So Complexity actually, unsurprisingly, goes for the southern side silos. We can expect them to play the gens that Mon was just holding, as well as the tops of the silos to keep CLG at bay. we'll have to see if CLG just continues holding in this building. As we said, there is going to be an opportunity for them to hold. If either team does want to get an angle in that back building, we'll have to see now as Reptar, Shiny, and Monsoon just going to continue to hold that back corner. And TSM, like we said, holding that southern low ground, but it does offer a route. Big breaks here coming in from a prize here, and the scans are going to go down as well. He's going to have to back down because despite big Spitfire damage, also gets tagged up quite a bit as well.
Saw on the kill feed as well that Albrelelli is able to get some damage down onto Klain, so that could potentially be bad for Seas. And I did notice right before we switched off the map that Liquid was rotating in from a very, very northern position, trying to get themselves into the zone, as we see KSZ and Sheesh battling it out right now.
Scans going down for a prize, making sure no one's pushing in low, knowing that when they do hold this height in this circular building just to the northern tip of sorting. And now take a look at Sweet here coming around the corner, knowing that there could be other opponents here as well. Will get this finish here. That's going to be Stay Naughty that goes down. So just going to be stimming around the outside and picking up whatever he can. And now Sheesh just raining down death onto that sorting tunnel. And we'll see if they're going to be able to pick up that one. Actually doesn't come in the kill feed, which is going to give an opportunity for Timmy to fly right around the corner and see what he might be able to get. And actually an Arcstar is going to push him back, so instead going to have to wait. Keep in mind, potential to be pretty exposed, so they know they do want to keep W keying, holding forward, seeing what they can find around the corner, and it's actually going to be a big, big right turn happening there, and you have to wonder if they're going to continue pushing, because we did see the likes of NRG not too far. Harvester, and now let's see. This is going to be an opportunity for KSZ to try to fight through this.
Well, I had said on that Western rotate, there was a chance for Sheesh and NRG to run into each other. I didn't realize that KSZ was also close to that battle. As Sheesh decides that they're just going to try to chase this down. You could see how low Nox, if that's correct, if that's Nox health and is actually that low, and all he had time was to really just get a bat off for his shield. That might explain why are they trying to run away, and Timmy's shredding with his flatline right now.
I was going to say, we got to go back to first person Timmy, because this man is on a mission here, just continuing to stem forward, able to hit that double as well, just looking for whatever he might be able to. And they're going to chase them all the way north through the central choke, all the way down around past the compound and back through this central choke. Pad goes down as well. They are not stopping. This is how Sheesh had been playing all tournament long. That's what's gotten them into the top 4 so far. They do not let anyone go without a fight, and they are continuing to chase this, and it was one of the longest chases I've seen in Apex for a long time. But guess what? Right here at Underpass, it's NRG on the receiving end of it.
Oh no, they're gonna keep running into each other until they find somewhere safe to hold out. You can see Rocker checking down, and guys are making sure no one's sneaking up from behind on them, while Sweet and Nathan deal out damage on the front end. I also did see in the kill feed earlier that we had Dudes Night Out going up against Vibes, and they were doing well against Vibes. So now, as I say that, we've got more teams going up against each other.
Look at Sheesh right now, just trying to fight. Right now, looking towards that northern part, right around that corner. That bombardment actually being quite effective. NRG is actually forced down just a little bit into Underpass on the Geyser side of Underpass. They're going to continue engaging. I'm curious who is around that no-name frag east side that they're engaging right now, giving them sight lines. It could be TSM, but the angles don't look right. It looks like TSM's probably tucked a little bit too far to the east. So instead, it's actually HRN who's a part of that, as well as TSS. And actually, we're seeing a few teams as part of that. Farm Boys is unsurprisingly in No Name. So several of the teams that we said would be up in No Name are already engaging here. So we'll have to see when will Sheesh decide to make a move. They're going to be pretty happy holding that choke. But NRG with big breaks. Look at this. All right, TSS taking so much damage there as well in the feed from Farm Boys. But NRG, the pad is going to go down. Arcs are down, but they're going to go ahead and pad right over it. Here comes NRG pushing in on Sheesh. They should be able to pick this. Wig will go down in the feed. Where's the second one? Let's go ahead and see. Yes, indeed, Wig will be finished. Timmy will go down as well. A prize will go down. NRG taking advantage of that opening damage. They'll have to heal very quickly. They'll have just a little bit of cover in this choke, but NRG taking advantage of Sheesh. And you called it, Glitter. You said, oh no, and that's exactly for good reason. Sheesh goes down, NRG capitalizes, and that's going to put even more KP on the board and make for a very difficult Game 16 for Sheesh.
Oh no, it's very, very top tier official analysis. I just want you to know that, Andy. Thank you for giving me my credit there. We see some shots coming in onto HRN.
Good job.
Thank you, Ups. I appreciate that.
HRN is going to hold middle vault here in this tunnel, and definitely an area you want to be. We've seen TSM actually in the semifinal. When we do see pulls like this between Geyser and No Name Overlook, certainly a position that any team would be very happy to hold. in terms of gatekeeping there any of the action that happens in Geyser, and you're also able to poke out to take advantage of opportunities that might exist right at the top of this, right at the southern part of No Name at the vault tunnel entrance. So we're going to see HRN just continue to hold here for the time being.
Yeah, and they're actually taking damage from MST once again, being aggressive here like we've been wanting them to. RKN does finally go for the shield swap and decides to see if he can back down and find a different angle over on the side with Urice. I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually decide to make the push up on this squad and just kind of go for those kills. We see an Arcstar coming in from MST to try and see if they can maybe just keep HRN at bay. EMP does come out. Will it? No, it doesn't. They can push up, actually. They're okay with this.
They're going to be an early bubble as well. Look at that. Right away, Metro goes down. Urice picking up that first one there. Mastiff is out for Hill as well. He's going to hit through the smoke. Now trying to see big damage coming out of the 301 as well. That's going to be Pander's out. MST goes down. Look at HRN, not even sacrificing a single player in that push, able to hold their ground. Going to be very happy with that. It was an attempt coming in from the MST side, early bubble as well, trying to force that, but instead it's going to be HRN holding this vault tunnel just like that. 10 squads left in match number 15.
They're definitely going to have to decide to rotate out of there soon. And when they do, there's a very real chance for them to run into one of the many teams that were getting to those engagements earlier, specifically Farm Boys. You can see them taking some shots. NRG now in a rough spot. Nathan's already been knocked. They're going to be able to get him up in the bubble, though. Will he have enough time to heal? Only time will tell.
Oh, no. Here comes the push right now. Sentinel's trying to fly in on NRG despite the bombardment. Sweet is doing whatever he can to try to get out alive. Will he be able to stem out of this? We'll have to see. No, he runs right into TSM. That is going to be NRG out here early on, and TSM actually the team to get the final wipes there. You saw the bombardment go down, the bubble go down. They were trying to get that third player up, but in the end, Sentinels capitalizes, but at what cost for them? Bottom 20 still at the low ground as well. The big story, though, is NRG forced out of No Name, trying to come uphill straight into the hands of TSM. Don't forget, NRG only had a 13-point lead, and they exit that early in the game, and TSM now with an opportunity to, for the first time, overtake NRG, but let's keep an eye here on No Name. Bottom 20 once again in that building. HRN is now flying in. We knew they had to pad out to get out of the storm. They're coming in right on top of Sentinels.
Time told us. Time will tell. Time told us that NRG just wasn't their game today. HRN is able to peek right around the corner of that loft area and get some damage down, but unfortunately they do lose one RKN in the process. Hill still trying to deal damage, and Urice in a very solid shield position for himself, so they are safe. But as I say that, there's more players pushing into the building, and Hill decides he's going to try to get some height as bottom 20 decides this is their moment. Yeah,
bottom 20 decides to push in on that as well. Absolute messy battle there. We've got bubble edges and zone edges coming into play there, but look at this from height, getting absolutely melted. It's all up to Hill for the HRN side. Oh, nice shots there on Flesh there. That's on move of bottom 20, who will go down, going to ult it as well. Now going to try to get that thirst and finish. Just trying to figure out what's going on down below as well. We'll see if he tries to go for any cheeky grabs. Going to go for a little bit of opportunity there with the Mastiff. Tries to make something happen there. Not able to do it in the end, though. That's going to be TSM once again, just getting their pickings. That's why we were talking about TSM's positioning here. Even though they're holding what is a kind of a less traditional area, you're still going to see teams hold this all the time. Look at the brace coming in from the longbow of reps there from distance. They're going to be happy with that, picking up everything that comes across. This is why we talked about this location for TSM. Anyone that's cutting across No Name that has to make a southern push into Overlook, they will cross the sight line to TSM, and TSM has been capitalizing on that. Just like that, 5 squads left. Now here taking a look inside Overlook with Team Liquid.
I don't know what happened with Liquid, but as we jumped on board, Albrelelli's down. We were watching heals come in for the rest of the team as they were making a very quick exit back into their building.
And you have to think there's the death box there, Abreleli. Either a few different things could have been happening there. Maybe an aggro port opportunity for a third party. We didn't catch it. Maybe just a port there for a kidnap attempt. Maybe just thinking about a few different... Look at the goodies that Abreleli brought with him through that TP. They are aplenty. It is Christmas here at Overlook for CLG, and I've never seen so many heals pop out in such a fast amount of time. And also, Hal would be very happy if he could see just how much light ammo is also existing in this building as well. But just like that, 5 squads left.
You get some ammo, and you get some ammo, and you get some ammo. Hey, I mean, he had to do it. Okay, he's going to get himself a little bit more loot. Now we're watching as Lou is trying to take some shots over onto Season. Liquid is still alive, though, with 2 of their players up, trying to do whatever they can. And we can see Complexity has still not left from their area over by the silos, feeling comfortable over there while everybody else battles it out. You see Season making a move coming up behind Liquid. Will Liquid get snuck up on, or do they hear them?
That's the question here. Now taking a look also at Season trying to make their move is going to be a very difficult one. There is tons of damage coming in from the top. The bubble will go down, but maybe it is a bit too late. Liquid, like you said, still holding here. Thinks about the ult instead. Thinks wise. Are going to instead start to think about a battery instead. Going to heal up. Is Nocturnal. Maybe save that ult for another time. Maybe just moments away. There's going to be a scan. They know that it is just one team below them. We cannot forget, like you said, about all the teams that are positioned up in the traditional overlook positions at this point. And TSM is still dealing damage from that distance. Really, the team to watch here is TSM. We've seen them many times play bottom silos that are just to the north of them. Now Bubble does go down. Flanker and Nocturnal trying to bump in here together, see if they can play this, but they did not get the exact damage they wanted. So instead, just going to keep the scans. Now 6 on screen means there's even more chaos there. Complexity also just trying to hold, and Liquid is going to take this opportunity to reset as well. Now here is TSM, and they've actually made their move. Like we said, not only are they going to play low silos, they're going to play height on silos. They're Hal patting them up all the way up to the top silos. They're going to bubble for a second as well to avoid that bombardment, and now they are going to be your team on height. CLG, Lou engaging with Complexity might provide an opportunity for TSM. CLG also kind of splitting the difference here with Season as well. Klein and team forced to bubble. They'll lose members, so CLG is actually going to make the aggro push here and bubble for themselves as well, looking to clean up the kills if they can. 4 squads left just like that. That will be now Season going down. 3 squads left here as we saw. TSM is still on height. CLG will push in on Season and pick up that kill. These are now your final 3.
We lost Liquid in that engagement. We lost Season in that engagement. And now we see TSM trying to take some shots as players are rotating out back to their original location. When is Complexity going to make their move? That's what I want to know.
That's the question, of course. And now in this, keep in mind, Complexity, the only team in this top 3 that is not within the top 10. So a lot on the line here for the likes of CLG as well as TSM in this last moments. And TSM, like we said, just going to continue to hold that height, and knowing that they'll need to make their move, but they'll have the high ground advantage in order to do so. CLG trying to do whatever damage they might be able to do just to force a little bit of heals and poke damage. And still taking a look in that back corner. What a final 3 we have here in match number 15.
CLG has solid positioning right now. I mean, obviously TSM can kind of see down onto CLG as well as Complexity. So I feel like it might come down to TSM CLG battling it out first and Complexity trying to clean it up if they can be smart about it. But I mean, it's all going to come down to who's bubble, when do they bubble, are there bombardments here on the line? There's so much in play. Madness is trying to sneak up for his team right now. What?
A little bit of deja vu here. We've already seen Madness play this exact port in the semifinals. We know exactly what he's doing here, maybe setting that portal to see exactly where he might need to if he has to. And right there, you see, there's the move. They're going to play this cover. It's great cover for them. TSM really does not have the angle on these pipes. So now Complexity actually making the move. They're now going to play low silos. TSM is still going to be holding height. CLG, like we said, they know exactly how to play this low ground barrier, and it provides them so much cover. The question is, when will the first bombardments go down? When will those domes be forced? As we're going to see Madness engaging right away here with Complexity. TSM still not engaging just yet. Going to be holding, and now CLG is going to be forced to be moved up. But CLG could play this low cover for very long. Complexity is a team that's going to have to move a little bit earlier. And TSM, the question is, when do they drop? Thermites are going to be going down for Complexity. Ticks for Mon, not too many though. That's going to be enough damage though that it's going to make CLG change their move just a bit. Going to have to see what they might be able to find as that ring's going to close here. 29 seconds on that. Bombardment does go down, so domes will be forced. CLG is the first to bubble and just hugging the edges of that silo top and bottom. Complexity, second team to bubble. TSM still on height, and they will be getting all the throwables out, trying to see this go down. Let's see if the arcs hit for them. They don't, and they're going to drop in as late as they possibly can on this. They will now jump all the way into the air, and it is a wild finish here. Extra bubbles go down. Teams padding out now. TSM actually the last team stuck into that bubble. It is all out chaos flying up back and forth, hitting the pads. Should be TSM. Yes, they are going to be your match 15 champion. It's a kill leader banner as well in the end. And Glitter, does this set us up for a great match 16 or what?
Yes. I'm sorry.
The pad. The pad.
That was
it was a wild pad.
Hilarious chaos at the end, it was just, everybody was like, we got to see who lasts the longest. Take as little damage from the zone as you can, and everybody comes back in. As soon as I saw Snipe down, one of the few remaining players that had already landed, but he had managed to have full health while we were waiting for the final complexity player, if I'm not mistaken, to make their landing after jump padding. That was a solid play from TSM. They were able to wait everybody else out so that they were the one with the damage and the defensive utility at their disposal at the end. Good job, TSM.
We also have to see, I got to watch that again from an ops point of view, because I want to know that pad, how many people inadvertently sent on a crazy angle into the storm. I mean, we saw it happening, but I'm curious at what scale it actually happened and how many players accidentally took that pad. But you're taking a look here at how that final battle developed. Just absolute chaos here as we take a look at, once again, that second bubble goes down. You're going to see a double bubble, and right away Monsoon accidentally hitting that pad as well. Then you're going to see Lou hitting that pad, and in the end, TSM knows not to step on that pad as Shiny comes back in. Lou is going to come back into the end. Just absolute carnage. We got to see that as well later on from some first-person point of views as well. Absolute carnage there in the end. It's a pretty big moment for the likes of TSM, because that performance points-wise should put them into potentially first place heading into Game 16. And it would be the first time over the course of 15 games, 2 days, that they would take that first place spot. We'll have to see how the math ends up for them. But man, once again, if we could write a script of how Game 15 would end, it would certainly be something like that, where everything is on the line for not just our top 2 teams, but also that top 5 still being so tight and really anything capable of happening here in that last game. Guys, one more game to go. We can't wait to get an update on the scoreboard, an update on the leaderboard overall, and to get into our final game. All of that is coming up right after this. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the GLL Masters Spring North American Finals. Now is the time. Only one game remains for North America. It's been an absolute battle here, a month of Apex Legends and the GLL Masters Spring, and only one game to decide North America. And we don't just mean that in terms of the number of games, we mean that in terms of the points as well, Glitter, here between NRG and TSM.
Yeah, because we had asked for it. We wanted to see somebody chase down NRG, and TSM 11 kills, Andy. TSM manages 11 kills, first place, 23 points, and they were, what, 13 points behind? So is this the first time they jump into first place? Well, no, because then we got to take into consideration the 9 points. Oh my God, Andy, 9 points. Wait, NRG had 9 points.
I have great news for you. We're actually going to have an overall leaderboard that will do the math for us. Neither of us try to do it for you. Let's take a look, because TSM takes the top spot heading into match number 16, and they do it by 1 point, 165 over NRG's 164. This will mark the first time since grabbing the lead that NRG will forfeit that number 1 spot, and it's to TSM by 1 point following a huge TSM 23-point game. I'm telling you, folks, you could not write this. This is a fantastic set of games heading into our 16th game. This is pretty damn hype.
This is insane. And CLG finally making the jump above Sheesh, now solidifying themselves, at least for now, with fourth place. They are only up by 6 points, but they're also not that far behind Team Liquid. And if they have another finish like they did here, a top 3 finish, and Liquid does not have a solid performance in our final game, there's still potential for CLG to leapfrog yet another squad.
I was going to say, it's a great point where we are, of course, very focused naturally on the TSM NRG battle, but the Liquid CLG Sheesh battle still very much in effect, and there's a huge Game 16 for those 3 teams as well. That's what we'll be watching heading into match number 16. But are you kidding me? To have NRG and TSM separated by 1 point going into match number 16 is absolutely wild, especially because, Glitter, as you pointed out, it was a 30-point gap earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final match. Let's get some hype in the chat. It's been an amazing weekend of Apex across APAC South, Europe, as well as North America, and the players have been putting on a show. Here's the question as we take a look at TSM's signature frag East drop. The question is, where will this zone pull? Because on a day where we've seen more Eastern pulls, we have seen a stronger result for TSM overall. Not surprising, just given on the fact of how they drop in. That will be a big, big factor in this game. Where does this zone pull? And obs are telling us it's spicy. what kind of spicy pull do you have for us? It is due east. It is almost identical to our game 15 ending. Now, just take a look. I want to point again, once again, TSS is an Overlook dropping team. How they forfeited all of Overlook and moved to No Name, I really don't understand. Now you start to understand my confusion in game number 15. TSM might try to scoot in once again. Keep in mind, energy all the way at staging and complexity going to be coming in from the north. This is a very, very similar end circle. A little bit of different possibilities for our end game. Could pull more towards No Name and off of Overlook here. Could even still pull south towards Geyser, but we are looking very similar to match number 15, Glitter. Taking a look here at, once again, that Absolute Monarchy Doge Fathers battle at Train Yard to see how this one plays out in our final game.
Yeah, and Absolute Monarchy not looking as strong as they did last time in this engagement. They already have a player knocked and are low with no armor on Fruit Ninja as he instantly takes damage as soon as he drops down. This is not going the way of Absolute Monarchy. Let's see what B. Borton can do. Can he clean it up? No, unfortunately, Absolute Monarchy will be the first team to go out in our final match of the day. However, I think a big question is going to be here, Andy. Does TSS decide to switch it up? Do they keep Overlook, realizing that No Name didn't go exactly the way that they had planned in the last match, and then take that position away from Complexity, who had rotated there instantly? TSM, do they just take that exact same open terrain area since it worked out so well? They were able to pick off so many teams as they were rotating through. We see Hal possibly getting some eyes down onto Farm Boys, but maybe not because they are over in Geyser. But Hal's looking like he's just trying to clear out this entire area. Farm Boys also rotated into here a lot earlier in the game than we see them right now. They're still over in Geyser, so TSM is going to be making their way through, getting themselves some loot, and it looks like they are just heading over into the exact same spot. It worked out well. Why wouldn't they? Yep,
you had Stim Scout Hal, one of my favorite models of Hal, just kind of getting around No Name, scouting just a little bit. Right as soon as he says that the word is good, you see Reps and Snipe Down following, and they're going to get right back into that same exact spot. And good openers from Hal on TSS as well. This time TSS has decided to stay Overlook, and unsurprisingly, given how that last one went, but Snipe Down's also going to take some damage. TSM needs to be very careful here. Keep in mind, TSS is a team that also has 2 wins under their belt, so they are not to be taken lightly. NRG, though, at the southern tip of Fisher, going to be running into Phony here, and right now they have a 3v2. They might not realize it at the moment. Let's see if we have some openers here from them.
I think this is probably NRG's opportunity to be as safely aggressive, rotating their way east as possible, because if they can one-up TSM when it comes to those kills, because if TSM's taking the exact same spot, they were obviously in a really solid position to get those kills first place around. We see that it looks like NRG does want to push up on this a little bit, but they're not being as aggressive as I had maybe thought they might be willing to be.
Yeah, forcing a very early bubble from distance there. As you just saw, Phony deciding to retreat all the way over back to staging, which is then going to give an opportunity for NRG to just push north through Fisher here and have a pick of the land, see exactly how they want to continue moving through. Interesting that we have TSM and NRG both in those early battles. Now let's take a look, checking in once again with TSM. You're going to have Sentinels, and once again, it's a little bit of deja vu. You're going to have Sentinels and in No Name once again. They're going to be very happy to just hold those compound buildings. Now you're also going to have, look at Madness porting his team in right away. Like, looks like this building should be safe. So this should be a safe port for CLG. I'm not too worried about that. But keep in mind, you also do have Season not too far away as well. So CLG is tucked right in right away, still using that TP rotation all the way in. And TSM now still holding the heights. So things playing out awfully similar to match number 15.
And right now, like we were saying earlier, a potential final leapfrog is on the line for CLG as we see the EMP try to come out. They do lose some of their shields, but there's no push or any follow-up damage, so CLG should be able to heal up. Sonox is actually also dishing out some shots, but not in the way, not towards CLG, not towards Season. So there's other teams that are also rotating towards No Name as we speak. You can see Farm Boys finally making their way through from Geyser as well, and things are probably going to start heating up here soon. And you also do see at the top, Andy Complexity did try to go to Overlook.
And also, we also have NRG all the way at Skyhook now, and Liquid still looting Skyhook. So you could not ask for different circumstances for NRG and TSM here. TSM is tucked into that southeastern side, like we talked about it, that advantageous ground that really gatekeeps between No Name and Overlook. And now look at battles happening between HRM as well as bottom 20. HRM wants to get into these buildings, bottom 20 now, right now holding bottom building and trying to make sure that they can hold. And it looks like we might actually see HRM just simply hold around them, although the way on that low ground just below these buildings, kind of playing in the nooks and crannies there. A few arcs going to be dropped. And just in case opportunities come through on those windows. HRN, like we said, still playing the low ground as well. Also an appearance, shout out to Watson Fences. First time we've seen him in the North American final. That's going to mark certainly the first appearance of her here in NA in match number 16. Now, CLG still cozied up like we talked about, and you're also going to have the likes of Impulsive Dream and Farm Boys gatekeeping now on the vault tunnel. That's what No Name. What is fun thinking here, thinking about TPing out, actually going to set the portal to see if they can push in on CLG. Fun's going to take it back, and looks like the call will be made that portal is not safe. You have to wonder if they might get curious about that once again.
Oh, I mean, the problem is there's 4 teams in this area right now, not accounting for any of the teams that might be on the outskirts, right? So if you decide to be the team that pushes up any other team, the other remaining 2 teams are just waiting for that. They're going to obviously know where the fight's happening, and then you could be potentially putting yourself in a 3rd and 4th party position, not, like I said, not counting the teams that are now on the outskirts.
I gotta also curious what happened with Liquid and NRG up in Skyhook, with Liquid still looting south Skyhook. There we go.
They
Okay,
went right through.
I was gonna say they're gonna take rain tunnel. I had to figure that we would have known, and of course the observers would have caught it had something, been going down. NRG is gonna take the longest route way around Survey, probably through Refinery. Of course, all of that will have been looted by Complexity, who's already tucked into Overlook, and that's gonna leave Liquid on the station to make their way in as well. Don't forget MST actually might find Liquid on that outer edge as well, on that western side. That battle could be developing any moment here as we see them running into each other. That's certainly something we'll keep an eye on as well. NRG taking the far north path. You could not ask for more drama here in our match number 16. Here's Liquid just in that MST battle that we talked about here. Nocturnal, Flanker, and Aberlily having to focus their sights south onto this choke, and may not have been immediately where that MST was pushing, but they are alerted to it quite quickly as they're going to keep an eye on that.
Liquid knows that there's potentially there just is some money hanging in the balance for them, so their performance will determine what spot they solidify in our overall leaderboard. I'm anticipating them trying to be as smart as possible here as we check where our zone is going to be shrinking down, and it is pulling off of Overlook a little bit, forcing people out into the open some more, which honestly might work out for TSM in the long run.
It will, and I'm still so surprised to see TSS forfeit Overlook to go to No Name in that last zone. And now they've decided to stay Overlook, and it means they're going to be part of the really nasty KSZ TSS complexity battle that's starting to develop and will develop. And like you said, TSM is going to have an opportunity not just to pick up what comes out of that, but even third-party opportunities as well. I'm very curious to how TSM will play this. They can just continue to hold that ground if they want, or they can actually decide to become more active participants there. Right now, they're going to continue playing the exact same game that we saw them playing. Let's not forget also, actually, as we take a look here, Noct not too far off of Hal, all that western tip of where the Overlook buildings just begin at the top of that zip. He'll continue holding there. But TSM going to be very happy with their positioning. We're still also wondering how NRG will come into this. You have to think it's going to be a northern route straight from Refinery, playing a little bit. Yeah, here it is actually, straight from Refinery up into Overlook. But holding the epicenter height on the top of that ridge soon will also be Liquid. So we could still have a NRG Liquid battle yet to come. But it's actually Sheesh on the low ground going up against Liquid, and we'll have to see what this spells, because NRG could try to swoop in from behind on this if this battle continues.
Oh, this is going to be rough. You can see that Flank and Aberlily are starting to try to dish out some damage. It looks like they actually might be pushing Sheesh off of their position here. Scans come out from flankers so they can figure out exactly where they go, and it looks like there was a bubble down below. Yep. So they actually might have secured their position here.
This is going to be, keep in mind, this is 3 and 4. Liquid and CLG is going to be your 3 and 4. Sheesh is going to be 5th. So 3rd versus 5th on that high ground versus low ground there. Liquid, like you said, just going to hold for a second. NRG has to be very careful with how they play this, because NRG coming from the north, they have to worry about Liquid on epicenter height. They have to worry about Sheesh down low in the gorge. And now MST actually coming on NRG right now, and this could be a tournament deciding moment here. MST pushing in on NRG. Keep a very close eye here. They just see 3 hostiles are detected. Nathan taking tons of damage, but he gets into the bubble. A huge moment, going to be able to get the bat off as well. Sweet needs to be very careful. He is taken down. Should he go down here, this could determine the tournament. Rocker also in dire situation as well, doing whatever they can to get away and to bat. Now, Liquid also trying to join this party. MST causing all sorts of trouble here, and Liquid gonna back off just a bit. Somehow, by the skin of their teeth, NRG gets away, able to pop bats and stay all 3 players up.
I cannot imagine how mad they would have been had they gone down in that scenario. They do heal. Sweet's already on the move, trying to scout for better positions for them. It seems like they are
Liquid.
okay. Do they know Liquid is above them? I'm assuming they do because they saw the shots coming out, but that jump pad does force them to take some damage.
Yeah, the jump pad tells us maybe they were not aware the Liquid was that close and already peaking from that height. Rocker now trying to get away. Sweet's actually forced to heal as well. And look at this now, as they're just going to be pushed all the way out to these fragment buildings, not where they want to be at a situation like this, and just going to pop as many heals as they can while continuing to move across the map. And now also looking at My Little Phony, engaging from a distance there. Charge Rifle doing a little bit of damage from distance in the hands of Phony himself. Going to just hold these rooftops here. And now NRG still trying to make the move. They're going to go bottom station. They might be forced into this fight as well. Can Rocker get inside? This is a tough road for NRG, and they have not made it easy on themselves by taking that northern round. Also, My Little Phony, by the way, still now in the in the Octane Rev, trying to push in with the death protection here. Totem is down. Let's see what Phony is going to be able to do, as they do have height here on NRG, and they do have this free push. Take a look right away. You're going to see Metro MST going down. MST is going to be on the receiving end. NRG here maybe in a position to clean up, as they're going to see Liquid taking out a few players from MST as well. NRG still somehow looking good in this moment. Just going to slow things down, get the heals off, and what could have been chaos for NRG actually ends up being a battle there between the side of MST and Liquid. Also, Farm Boys in the feed as well, and a nail-biting scenario as Phony is going to retreat. NRG is going to stay top station and still continue on into the mid-game.
I'm stressed. I'm so stressed out right now. We saw the Rev come out final game yesterday as well. So, I mean, maybe that's what they were saving it for. But to see them rushing with the totem, I was not emotionally prepared for that. Luckily, NRG does make it out. And we see that it looks like any of the teams that were even remotely close to Frag East are starting to rotate away from that. NRG is going to try to maybe sneak up behind everyone that's already in no name, but do they know that they're going to have to end up coming across vibes potentially at the same time?
Once again, we could not paint a more different story. You have NRG desperately fighting at the edge. How many times did we see them? By the way, very expensive in terms of economy. They spent a lot of heals getting out of all of those battles there, which is something we have to keep in mind, but you could not ask for a more different story between our number 1 and our number 2. NRG desperately playing edge and barely staying alive time after time, and TSM tucked into that cliffside that we've seen them and other teams play so well in this kind of circle pull. That's where you want to be. So NRG going to just be forced to slowly scan their way through that easternmost side of Frag East and try to figure out what routes might be available to them. And my oh my, taking a look at No Name once again, still HRN playing the low. They're still actually tucked in with bottom 20 in that same building, and it's Sentinels here still holding, and CLG at the northernmost buildings. Things still looking the same at No Name. And also, it's actually going to be, speaking of, Vibe's actually going to pad right in here and maybe causing a little bit of trouble because they're going to take the height that's just off of the tracks. To be honest, this area does offer a decent bit of cover, but we'll see what kind of trouble they put themselves in.
They make it through with only a little bit of damage onto Mooney, who is able to heal up after that. So it's not too terrible. However, there are scans coming out. People know where they are. It's just about whether or just who decides to push on someone first in No Name. And that is going to be the start of an epic battle.
Definitely. It's a very good rotation there from Vibes. Like we saw, they were tucked really alongside the exit of Underpass. They had to make a move. They're able to then play the car as we take a look. And as you can see from the scans right away, they're seeing from Mooney, all the players that are already up here is going to see a drop coming down. Now CLG, actually Madness taking down a lot of damage as well. Needs to be very careful and see what he might be able to swing back into the building. But let's see if this provides an opportunity for anyone. Madness actually just going to queue right back in. He's going to be just fine. And go ahead and get a little bit of drop skis. Some goodies back for the teammates here. Some light ammo as well being dropped, and going to heal back up like we've known. Madness not afraid 2 poured out, makes the place. But look at this, Vive's actually going right back out, rotating once again. It looks like actually going to be on Sheesh, who's now under fire, and the Thermites are going to tap up pretty great from Timmy. He's going to be happy with this damage as they're going to hold this bubble fight now. Blue on that EVA 8 just getting a good bit of damage here, going to be forced to bat. They're going to let those bombardments go down and hold this door. They're picking up those kills on Vive's, going to be very happy with that. That should be Vive's going down almost entirely, if not all 3 members, at least 2 of them, yes indeed, going down. And also even going to see Dogefathers taking down some players on Farm Boys in the feed as well. So Sheesh will continue holding there as well. We also got to talk about My Little Phony on the tracks, which is making it difficult for any NRG rotation. We'll keep an eye on that. NRG actually might be tagging up Phony from a distance, and Phony's actually going to be pushing in on Sheesh all the way to the north. Bottom left of your screen should be NRG, if I'm not mistaken. Sheesh going to still be holding train cars. We're going to see another silence coming in there from distance. Not going to make things easy. You can tell just how much chaos there in the POV. Comes flying in the doorway. That's actually going to be the side of Sheesh going down right away. Phony with that push. What kind of opportunities does this present for the likes of NRG, who might be coming off of the tracks? And right now they're just going to desperately try to hold the doors as much as they can. It's actually going to be Abralele trying to scout out, see what he might be able to find. Sentinels has moved out of No Name and actually pushed up towards the tracks as well. NRG is right here on Sentinels as well. Once again, another tournament defining moment here for NRG, right next to Sentinels playing that low ground here. We'll have to see how each of them play the sweep, thinking about maybe just peeking, and now Senox and Retzi playing this low ground. It has been a challenging road for NRG to get into this final circle.
And they have to be able to hear each other, so they know that they are right on top of one of these squads. It's going to come down to whether or not they want to take this engagement. As I say that, you can see Dogefathers padding on top of that rock, trying to get a height advantage on any of the squads that are starting to rotate out of No Name. They are able to do a lot of damage. We see Season really struggling here.
Padding out.
Decides to pad away from Sentinels and push their way towards where we just saw Sheesh and their demise.
Oh, they have to take it.
Going to be in this area. Oh, they have to win this. They have to win this, otherwise, oh no.
Sweet goes down, Nathan goes down, it's all up to Rocker. What can Rocker do? No, NRG's out! Just like that, CLG takes down NRG. NRG forced to pad into CLG. They're unable to do it. CLG with a clean wipe. 3v0 there. They wipe every single member of NRG, and that could be the tournament, folks, here. Here comes TSM. They know they just saw the kill feed as they push in here to West Overlook at the top of the Zik. They pick up even more kills. Take a look at that. Already kills on screen for Hal. He stims out. Going to be a perfect bait and switch for the TSM side. Can they stay alive even further past this? This would almost certainly guarantee a tournament result for them. Some good damage in as another kill goes in there for the side of Abralele on Liquid against Euban on the side of the Dogefathers. TSM still in the game. Right now, you have to think with the KP on the board and now even with the placements on the board, this could just be a victory lap for them. NRG out of the match.
That is definitely less than ideal. I didn't realize that CLG had already rotated out of No Name and kind of claimed that one little truck down there by the tracks. Liquid still maintaining nice angles on anybody that's even in the remote vicinity of their squad. So they're doing well for themselves, trying to get a little bit of damage onto TSM from where there. You can see Complexity is below as well, able to hold out longer. But is Liquid making a move onto CLG right now?
Let's go ahead and see now. Taking a look here. Liquid just going to be continuing to hold with all three on Red Evo. And my oh my, I think everyone's starting to do the math, and it looks like it'd be a very tough equation for NRG to have gotten anywhere near the KP that they wanted. And I'm not even sure that we saw any on screen for them to even be in the chance of winning this. As more and more teams are eliminated, TSM will continue to pick up points as well. Like we said, we won't make the call. We'll let the tournament admins do that as well. 8 kills was it?
Wow.
For NRG. So we stand corrected. Thank you to our no for Liquid. Thank you very much. That's a big important clarification at this stage of the game as Team Liquid here, like you said, with 8 kills on the board, and now going to continue pushing in. It's a big moment here for Liquid. Keep in mind they were your third place team, excuse me. So trying to make a big rally for them. Complexity playing the low ground here. TSM still going to be playing on height, and now Liquid and CLG on the western side of your screen as well. Liquid now porting in here. 4 squads left. These are your final 4.
Complexity has an opportunity to wrap around while TSM is dealing tons of damage onto Liquid from the angle that they have. Complexity could try and clean up some of these kills coming from the low ground. TSM probably knows that they've rotated that way, but they're not too focused on it right now. And as I say that, Complexity does. They are able to get some of those kills. You can see the bleed out onto reps from Reptar. So Complexity doing very well for themselves after having to drop down low.
They take down TSM, but not before TSM did pick up a few kills. You saw him in the feed against Team Liquid. That is huge. Once again, unofficial results, but a lot of points going for TSM in this last game, and an earlier exit than we expected for NRG. But let's stick on board here with our final 3 squads at the end of the game here. Some nice damage coming out of the flat line of Reptar. He will circle back and once again regroup with Shiny, but gets caught off guard in that rotation, so needs to slow it down. Coming in, though, to the truck. Look at the Mastiff of Monsoon. He's not afraid. Big damage. Has to fly inside. Last shot does not hit, though. Nice little swap. Might give him the opportunity to pop right inside. Some big damage coming in, but also a bombardment. Forces them to just go back into the bubble, pop the bat, reset still just a bit. Absolute chaos here at the edge of this truck. They're actually going to pad out Complexity in standard Complexity form. They fly right around the corner. Right away, they're going to take down Nocturnal, last member of Liquid. That will mean that here, our last 2 squads, Complexity going to go ahead and see what they might be able to do in this final battle. Again, these points do matter for CLG and Complexity. This is your 3rd versus 4th in our final match of the day.
They saw the shots coming out of the solo over on Liquid over there, decided that they would push and take him out as they were the team with the points above them, and they do. They not only get the points, but they obviously get the placement points as well. Now it's down to CLG versus Complexity. Complexity having a much stronger showing here in our final match of the day, which we love to see. But who wins this? Lou is able to deal a ton of damage onto Complexity, and now are they going to be able to follow up on it?
Let's see. Monsoon might be the first one to go down. Yes, indeed. He gets all of his shields wiped. We'll have to see what kind of reset opportunity might be there for him. Shiny and Reptar trying to do whatever they can to hold off the offensive. And who's the first player to drop? It's Reptar. Reptar going to go down Monsoon as well. This should be a CLG victory if they can get this last player. Madness trying to stay alive, but on the rooftop, CLG will be your victor in game number 16. And it's an important win over Liquid because they were in 4th place, Liquid in 3rd place, and it could be the win that catapults them even further in the standings, not just for bragging rights, but for cash as well. But my God, Glitter, an insane battle in terms of the late game between TSM and NRG and Liquid and CLG. Got to catch my breath for a second. We could not have asked for more interesting storylines between our top 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from match number 16.
Honestly, I cannot believe that the entire game NRG just could not catch a break. They were on the back foot trying to struggle for whatever they could, and most of the time it was just for their safety. They couldn't even get themselves in a safe enough spot to be able to get the loot that they needed or the kills that they were trying to secure. Even after the very safe wide rotate, we saw such a strong game out of Liquid this time around, but unfortunately CLG had an even stronger one, and those were the 2 squads that we were also looking at due to their position in the overall leaderboards. I mean, Complexity making the smart call here, pushing up, taking out Liquid. They knew he was a solo and they saw the shots coming out of him, so they wanted to clear that out so there were any extra third-party damage attempts coming in. But no matter what they did, CLG was in a stronger, better position, and they're able to come out on top. So huge congratulations to CLG, because I feel like they kind of ramped up the entire weekend.
And it took them 16 games to really hit full steam. But that's what we do here at the GLL Masters. It's a 16-game set. It's one of the longest sets in professional Apex, right? It tends to be, not just tends to be, has always been a lot longer than the match point format. It lets us see the games play out even longer, where consistency will prevail. Like we talked about, CLG, a team that comes off of a 4th place finish at the ALGS Winter Playoffs. Then they get 5th place in their semifinal. And we wanted to know, are they a top 5 team or are they a top 3 team and beyond? And they answer in game number 16. Points-wise, they certainly are going to be a threat to leapfrog Liquid, but let's not forget they were going up against Liquid in that late game. The question is how much KP was on the board for Liquid as well. And we saw that there were a lot of points on the board for both of those teams. My God, all 4 of our top 4 teams involved in very important storylines in terms of points. None of them exiting early in that game. All of them fighting into not just the final 8, but in the case of Liquid and CLG, into our final 2 as well. A thrilling set of games. I think chat has already maybe done some of the math because they might have caught what teams and players had in terms of KP. But like you and I like to say, we don't make any of the calls here on who a tournament winner is. We'll let the admins do that. We will let the admins do that. We will also let the scoreboards and the final leaderboard do the talking for us. I think we all have an idea of where things are going to be, but we are not in the business of making incorrect calls. Amazing set of games here in day number 2. And I think what you said about CLG applies to really the whole lobby. Everything stepped up. Everything got even closer today in day number 2.
Yeah, and it was nice to see because I think coming out of day one, the question was, can anybody stop NRG? You know, are they beatable? Because we had seen so many point differentials that were massive, and we were like, no one has shut them down yet. Now, coming into today, we had also mentioned though that TSM, they were not quiet in a bad way. They were this steady calm all of day one. They set themselves up for a very, very strong position coming into day two, so that they only had to focus on overcoming NRG. They didn't have to focus on anything else. They had one mission, and it was just do better than NRG, as opposed to maybe having to come back from like a 4th or 5th place position, right?
Right.
So it was a much not easier road, but it was just, I don't know the right way to phrase it. They weren't splitting their focus, right? And we saw how successful they were because of that. Not only did they take advantage of the times where NRG stumbled, but they also did well any other time that they needed to. And this was the TSM that we were looking for yesterday. And good job, everybody. Like, dang.
It really was an amazing performance by all the players. It sounds like we are just right now waiting for the scores. And those are coming in just a moment, being tallied by our station officials and making sure that we have all of the right results from our admins to call the final results here for North America. Like I said, I think we've all done a little bit of mental math, but I can't wait to see that final leaderboard. But in the end, like you said, a very different story in game number 16. And you could say 15 because of how similar those pulls were for NRG and TSM. And I don't think we've ever followed, or I should say I've ever followed in professional Apex, a team on the edge trying to find a way in time after time after time, like we just saw with NRG. That's a staging drop. They go all the way up through Fisher, all the way around into Skyhook North, up into Survey Refinery down south, into Frag East, and then eventually into No Name, just to try to get into an Overlook, kind of Overlook West open area end zone. It's such a difficult route, and it felt like even when they had some opportunities, teams like Phony or Sentinels were still holding tracks, and they were forced to pad into a bubble fight where they get full wiped there by CLG, and you can't even really blame NRG just because of that situation. CLG did so well. Keep in mind, if CLG loses that battle, we don't see them win that game. So that's when you have a team like NRG padding into you, it made it look easy, but it certainly wasn't an easy battle at all. A crazy finish there in games number 15 and 16 between these top 4 squads, and I can't wait to see. The big questions are how many points that NRG was able to get on the board, and also how many points that CLG was able to get, to see if those two spots flip-flop. As a reminder, just in case you just caught the end of that game, going into that game, first place was TSM, second place was NRG, third place Team Liquid, and fourth place, excuse me, I don't know if I misspoke, TSM, NRG, Liquid, and then CLG. A few too many acronyms, too late in the day, making me go a little bit crazy. But that's your top 4, and we'll have to see as we're waiting now on these final scores.
You did great.
I didn't do great, but I appreciate you saying that.
Listen, we're a team, okay? We've been doing this 2 full days. They've been long, and I feel like I'm just here. I'm here to lift you up. You know, we can though talk a little bit also about Liquid, because they were one of those teams that we had called out coming into this finals as someone we had expected a little bit more from. They had a rough semis, and they had barely made it through when they had much stronger quarterfinals. And now coming into the finals, I feel like they just got better and better. And then this final match, to be fair, had they not had that engagement with TSM, had it gone, you know, maybe to CLG instead or something like that, then they could have been the one that came out on top. So huge shout out to Liquid as well. Before we give you guys the matches, we can also just remind you really quickly on the prize pool. What exactly is everybody playing for here? Because don't forget, there is some money on the line, Andy.
Yes, indeed. It's a drum roll, because this first graphic will be your prize pool. It's $100,000 on the line, and as we saw, that battle between these spots is quite different. 15 grand for first, second will take home 7 grand, third 4,000, and fourth 2,500. So those final fights, we can't overstate it. Those were big fights. Those were fights that were worth thousands of dollars in the final prize pool. Let's go ahead and take a look at our final leaderboard here for the GLL Masters Spring North America Finals. It's TSM in the end who closes it out with 172 points. And take a look, NRG will be your second place team, but I think the item that you're looking at, Lauren, here is Team Liquid somehow holding on, beating out CLG 142 to 141. That is your top four: TSM, NRG, Team Liquid, and CLG.
And Sheesh still manages to hold on to their 5th place position. So even though they had a little bit of a rough day for themselves today, they still will go home with some money in their pocket. So congratulations to all of our teams who placed in our top 5 and did win themselves some cash. And congratulations to anybody who even made it into the finals here today, because there were a lot of people that competed to even make it to this point. So shout out to all of you guys. But Andy, 1 point. The amount of times I've seen a BR that actually comes down to 1 point in the end, whether it is for money or placement or something, is insane. One kill could have made the difference. And
in 16 games, but of course, can't take away the top story. TSM there, in the end, it took them 15 games to overtake NRG in the top spot, and heading into game 16, they were up by 1 point. But in the end, TSM closes it out over NRG with a late rally to win the tournament here, the North American portion of the GLL Masters Spring. It's an unbelievable win from TSM. We could not have asked, or like I said, all weekend long, written a better story for them. NRG with a very, very tough route there at the end game. TSM finally getting some Eastern pulls and taking advantage of them. It was an amazing day. Congrats to once again to all of our top teams. Glitter, any final words from you? It was a pleasure casting these games with you.
Definitely a pleasure working with you as well, as always, Brav. But I mean, huge shout out to all of our players. They put on a show. Okay, I think every single game we had an end zone that was just insanity. Sometimes it was so much that it was too much for us to even follow fully, because that's how much chaos was going on. So the players, you guys absolutely killed it this weekend. Thank you so much for making it entertaining for us as casters, because it was a pleasure to be here with all of you. And thank you so much to GLL for having me, because I honestly, working Apex with you again, Andy, it was a blast.
It was a blast. It was great working with you, Lauren. It was great working with the entire GLL team. Like you said, a huge shout out to the players, because not only did they put on an amazing show, but back-to-back 8-game marathons. It's a lot of work just mentally for these teams to be able to put on performances like they did. It was an amazing job. Once again, a huge shout out to the entire GLL team in Sweden. Always amazing working with you, and a huge shout out to all of you on Twitch joining us for these matches. We know you guys enjoyed the action, and we thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the GLL Apex stream. It's been an amazing weekend of Apex, and we can't wait for the next GLL Masters series to come around. For Glitter Explosion, my name is Bravo. We'll see you next time.